Yuan didn't care where this place was or who was here. Anger had clouded his mind. At the command, several students surrounding Xiaoyang immediately rolled up their sleeves and rushed towards Xiaoyang with ferocious looks. Xiaoyang had just fought with Brother Dao and his men and was now in an excited state. These students are not even as good as Brother Dao. So Xiaoyang naturally has nothing to be afraid of. He caught the student's punch and bent his wrist straight down. The next second, screams resounded among the crowd. Xiaoyang did not use heavy force on these people. These students were not as tough and resistant as Brother Dao. Just one punch and a kick and several of them were already squatting on the ground crying. At this time, Fang Jingyuan still looked confused. In his imagination, Xiaoyang should be lying on the ground kneeling and begging for mercy. But why, now it is his men who are lying in all directions, with snot and tears on their faces. What are you going to do? Fang Jingyuan was a little panicked. Of course I'll beat you. Xiaoyang moved his wrist with a calm expression. You dare? Do you know who I am? Fang Jingyuan plucked up his courage and asked by the neck. Fang Jingyuan, the young master of Fang Group, his family is very rich. I'm right. Xiaoyang's tone remained calm. But Fang Jingyuan didn't know how to organize his words. Do you know me and you still dare to hit me? He couldn't believe it. Who is this person? He knows my identity, so why does he dare to hit me? Nonsense, because you smashed my store and sent people to destroy me. I shouldn't have hit you, right? My brother is still in the hospital. So he deserves to be beaten by you? Idiot. As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Jingyuan turned around and ran away. But he could not outrun Xiaoyang. He was quick-handed and quick-eyed, and flew forward and kicked him. Fang Jingyuan fell face down on the ground again. Seeing this, Xiaoyang raised his foot and stepped directly on Fang Jingyuan without any haste. Xiaoyang squatted down slowly, but the force on his feet became stronger and stronger. Fang Jingyuan's white suit had turned dark yellow. He looked in a dishevel and was screaming in agony. Let me go quickly, or I'll make you disappear from this world. Believe it or not, Fang Jingyuan groaned and said with gritted teeth. Xiaoyang shook his head and was about to speak when he heard Zhang Shengzu's voice from behind him. Xiaoyang, stop it now. Xiaoyang turned around and frowned slightly. You can't afford to offend the Fang Group, Zhang Shengzu said. Have you forgotten how Lu Xing was beaten that day? Xiaoyang said inferently without even looking at Zhang Shengzu. Zhang Shengzu was immediately choked by Xiaoyang's words. Things developed so quickly that King Xuantong hadn't even recovered yet. Xiaoyang, she had already understood by now that Xiaoyang had completely offended Fang Jingyuan. She didn't have time to think about why Xiaoyang hit Fang Jingyuan. She was already in a state of confusion. Shengzu. When Fang Jingyuan saw Zhang Shengzu, he felt like he had found a life-saving straw. Hurry, help me stop him, he is a lunatic. Zhang Shengzu frowned slightly, pulled Xiaoyang, and shook his head. Xiaoyang lowered his head and retracted his foot. Fang Jingyuan suddenly forced a strange smile on his face. But the next second, the pair of size 44 feet suddenly hit him in the face. Bang! Fang Jingyuan was already lying on the ground. And this kick made him roll several times on the spot before he stopped. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, along with his two front teeth. What a pity, only 2 teeth were lost. Xiaoyang smiled. As if it was really a pity. Chapter 16 Sing Smashing Cars. Seeing Xiaoyang approaching, Fang Jingyuan had no time to clean up his miserable state. He quickly stepped back several steps and said tremblingly, What else do you want to do? Don't be afraid. This is your car, right? Xiaoyang raised the corners of his mouth slightly and looked at the Ferrari parked aside. You like smashing cars, don't you? You asked someone to smash my car, right? Xiaoyang walked to the side and pulled the trash can beside him. What are you doing? Fang Jingyuan realized something and started scolding hurriedly. I am a fair person, you beat up my brother, so I will beat you up too. You smashed my car, so it's not too much for me to smash your car. As he spoke, Xiaoyang frowned slightly and exerted a little more strength. The trash can is made of iron and welded into the roadside. But at this moment, he felt as if he had endless strength. Under the astonished gaze of everyone around him, he actually pulled out the trash can that was embedded in the ground. Fuck! This strength! Everyone gasped and looked at the uncovered bricks in surprise. Xiaoyang picked up the trash can and smashed it towards the expensive Ferrari. Bang! There was a loud bang. The car door suddenly had a big dent. But even so, Xiaoyang did not stop. He waved again. Everyone looked at Xiaoyang in amazement, watching a luxury car worth millions slowly turn into a pile of scrap metal. In just a short while, the originally luxurious Ferrari sports car had become dilapidated. No matter how you looked at it, it could no longer be seen in its original appearance. Xiaoyang looked at the twisted trash can in his hand with a smile on his face. So this is what it feels like to smash a car. His eyes fell on the brand new Maserati again. Is this your car too? Seeing Fang Jingyuan didn't say a word. Xiao Yang knew what was going on. But in a short while, this Maserati that had just been bought as a love confession gift turned into a pile of scrap metal. Everyone was numb. Even the school security guards just stared at the scene blankly, not daring to say a word, let alone step forward to stop it. Looking at Xiao Yang's condition, they were afraid that after they went up, they would be smashed to pieces by him as if they were a car. Fang Jingyuan stared at his luxury car with a dull look, his face full of anger. But no matter how angry he was, he didn't dare to stand up and organize Xiao Yang unless he wanted to lose a few more teeth. Xiao Yang threw the flattened trash can directly onto the car and turned to look at Fang Jingyuan. It feels really good to smash a car. Fang Jingyuan looked at Xiao Yang with gritted teeth and was speechless for a long time. At the side, King Xuantong had already trotted up and asked worriedly, "Xiao Yang, are you okay?" "I'm fine." King Xuantong glanced at Xiao Yang's hand and found that a cut had appeared on his hand without her knowing when. Xiao Yang was not in a hurry at all. He thought that it was probably scratch when he smashed the car just now. It was nothing serious. "Xiao Yang, what should we do now? You beat people like this," King Xuantong said with a hint of tears in her voice. She is not stupid and knows the consequences of doing so. Even Xiao Yang himself had a frown on his face at this moment. It was indeed impulsive. He let out a long sigh. Perhaps it was because his personality was too gentle in the past. So his sudden outburst of temper seemed a little out of control. But he had no regrets. It was just an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. "Xiao Yang, why don't you run quickly before the police arrive?" King Xuantong looked at the mess and knew that things were getting serious. So she pulled Xiao Yang and urged him. "Now you know you can tell me to run. Why didn't you stop me just now?" Xiao Yang said teasingly with a smile. Zhang Shangzu, on the other hand, looked helpless and sighed. "Who didn't stop you?" Xiao Yang rolled his eyes at Zhang Shangzu. "What's wrong with cooperating? Okay, things have come to this. Why are you running away?" Xiao Yang was not too nervous. He walked in front of the people around him. The next second, the unhappy group of people couldn't help but take a small step back. The corners of Xiao Yang's mouth twitched. "Am I really that scary? I scared away hundreds of people by myself. Who among you has time to help me report to the police station?" Everyone looked confused. "Report to the police station? We also need to take the initiative to report to the police station on your behalf. Headman, you must be the outlaw Shang Sam, right? Look at the people lying all over the ground and the two scrap luxury cars. And you tell me to report to the police station? You are such a law-abiding citizen." Xiao Yang had no intention of running away after beating the man. But at this moment, there was a cool breeze and his body was covered in sweat. It's funny to say, he didn't sweat much after beating the man. And didn't use much strength, but he smashed two cars and almost broke himself into pieces. At this time, Zhang Shangzu came up and said, "I recorded everything just now." Xiao Yang nodded. "What are you going to do now?" Zhang Shangzu frowned. "What else can I do? Just go to the police station." Xiao Yang shook his head, but his expression was as calm as ever. "Xuantong." King Xuantong was still standing aside at this moment, her head buzzing. Her mind was a mess right now, and she couldn't understand why Xiao Yang, who is usually calm, was so impulsive today. Of course, the most important thing is the facts that are on the surface. Xiao Yang injured someone, and this person was a well-known playboy. So she was worried at this moment, and even her eyes were covered with tears. At this time, she still thought that Xiao Yang beat someone because of her. "Why are you crying?" Xiao Yang was speechless. He wanted to reach out to help King Xuantong wipe her tears, but after thinking about it, he took his hand back. "Without, King Xuantong sobbed. At this moment, there was a commotion outside. A patrol car has arrived. Suddenly, people in the three circles inside and outside made way. The next second, several patrolmen rushed over and saw the mess in front of them. Especially the two destroyed luxury cars. If they didn't know better, they would have thought that a car accident had occurred here. "It's you," a patrolman recognized Xiao Yang instantly. "You came at the right time. I found the people who smashed my shop. I was just about to report it to the police station when you came," Xiao Yang said with a smile. Did you beat up all these people?" The other party gasped. "I was the one who beat him. Oh, and I also smashed those two cars. Everyone around is a witness." Xiao Yang smiled without panicking. Several patrolmen were immediately filled with questions. "So what exactly happened?" "Fight. One person beats several people. Besides, even if you did hit him, you don't have to be so arrogant. Just admit it generously without any excuses. I can't do this to you. Take it away, take them all away." After thinking about it, he waved his hand. Xiao Yang stretched out his hand honestly. Clang! A pair of silver bracelets were put on. "Well, the quality is good." As for Fang Jingyuan and his companions, they were sent to the hospital. "I'm a witness, take me with you." Just as they were about to get in the car to go to the police station, Zhang Shangzu stood up. I am also a witness, and I am also a party involved. King Xuantong also hurriedly stood up. No, we will summon you. What the two did not expect was that the police officer who came directly refused. After Xiaoyang left, the two of them looked anxious. Zhang Shangzu, on the other hand, took out his cell phone and slowly made a call. Chapter 70. Can do but can't say. The patrol car left. The dark crowd had not yet dispersed. Everyone witnessed this shocking scene and is still feeling the shock. Damn, that's too cruel. Goddess King's boyfriend is so awesome. He even dares to hit Fang Jingyuan. This is not a question of whether or not you dare to fight, but a question of whether or not you can fight. 7 or 8 people were thrown to the ground by him without even a hair falling off their head. The boys were filled with surprise, with a hint of admiration on their faces. After all, that man doesn't want to have a lot of fighting power. Beating up 7 or 8 people by himself is simply awesome. As for the girls, their focus at this time is obviously different. So handsome, King Xuantong's boyfriend. Yes, if we use his standards, Fang Jingyuan is indeed a bit ugly. This isn't just a little ugly. It's extremely ugly. And when he's fighting, yeah, especially when he's smashing cars, oh my god, he's so handsome. The key is that he doesn't have that kind of muscles. He looks tall and skinny. I didn't expect him to be so good at fighting. In fact, many people have already taken pictures of the scene just now. Originally they wanted to film a scene where a rich man confessed his love and showed off his wealth. But who knew that it turned into a scene where the handsome man beat up the rich man? Many girls replayed the scene they had filmed. That handsome boy took on 7 or 8 people alone, punching and kicking them, and the screen was full of hormones. The most important thing is that there is not a single emotion fluctuation on his face. He is extremely calm for girls. This is a sure kill. No, I want to play it 10 times on loop. I want to lick the screen so badly. Damn it, I'm wet from watching this. Oh my god. How can there be such a handsome boy? Every girl wanted to eat Xiaoyang in the video alive. Of course, the most important thing was to quickly post it on WeChat Moments, forums, and short videos. It only takes a moment. The campus forum exploded. Countless posts about this incident appeared in the forum. And even the forums of other schools were attacked. Chengdu Medical College Gate incident. A tough guy took on 8 people and smashed $2 million luxury cars. It's exposed. The boyfriend of King Xuantong from Chengdu Medical College is actually him. I found a handsome and hard male god. Sisters, come and lick the screen with me. The most exciting plot of the year. A trash can knocked over to luxury cars. Young master of Fang Group. A rich man? I'm targeting rich people. Fang Jingyuan was sent to the hospital immediately. Although Xiaoyang's attack was not gentle, it was only superficial injuries, and at most a few teeth were knocked out. However, next to Fang Jingyuan, a young man in luxurious clothes had a gloomy face, which made people shudder. Brother, you must help me. Help me get revenge. I want that bastard dead. No, there's also that bitch, King Xuantong, that bitch, who actually dared to call me ugly. Perhaps because of his leaky front teeth, Fang Jingyuan hesitated for a long time before the young man could understand what he said. You take good care of your injuries, I will take care of your matter. The young man let out a long sigh. This person was none other than Fang Jingyuan's brother. The real young master of Fang Group, Fang Jingyang. Brother, they are slapping the Fang family in the face, Fang Jingyuan stammered. His face twisted with pain again. Just then, a person walked in from outside and handed a tablet to Fang Jingyang. Master, this is the video of the second young master at the scene at that time. It's been spread all over the internet. Fang Jingyuan took the tablet. Is this the person who hit you? Fang Jingyang frowned. I don't have any impression of this person. He doesn't look like someone's son. Yes, it's him. I think his name is Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang? Fang Jingyang pondered for a moment and continued reading. I ordered people to smash your store, smash your car, and beat up your people. Kill him for me. I'll be responsible if anything happens. Fang Jingyuan's voice came from the tablet. On the screen, his face was full of arrogance. But Fang Jingyang's face darkened and he said coldly, Did you say this? Did you say that? Fang Jingyang's voice was extremely cold. And he looked straight at Fang Jingyuan. Yes, I said it. Bang! A clear voice suddenly resounded in the ward. Fang Jingyuan looked at his brother in surprise. His face had turned red. And his face, which was already half swollen, became even more swollen. A trace of blood overflowed from his mouth. Fang Jingyuan forgot the pain and his face was full of confusion. He didn't understand why his brother, who had always protected him, actually slapped him today. Are you an idiot? Can you say something like this in front of others? Fang Jingyang was furious, and looking at his brother with wounds all over his face. He felt helpless. After waving his hand, the person outside came in again. Right now, I don't want to see this video online anymore. But it has already spread on several school forums. Didn't you hear me clearly? Make this video disappear immediately. Fang Jingyuan said angrily. Yes. The people backed out. Fang Jingyang looked at his brother, who was very disappointed with him, and shook his head. You know, there are some things you can do but can't say. If your affairs affect the Fang group, both you and I will be in trouble. Brother, is it that serious? Fang Jingyuan had never seen his brother lose his temper so badly, so he was scared for the moment and said belatedly, "What do you think? Now in other people's eyes, you are just someone who does whatever he wants outside because you have some money at home. Do you know how many eyes are staring at us outside now?" Fang Jingyang sighed. Just stay here and take good care of your injuries for a while. And don't worry about what's happening outside. I really don't know if you're out of your mind. She's just a woman. At this time, the police station. What a coincidence, it's you again. Xiaoyang glanced at the policeman sitting opposite him. Be serious, the policeman said sternly. Xiaoyang smiled and said, "Where is Fang Jingyuan? Why don't you arrest him? I'm reporting a case. The man who smashed my store a few days ago has been found. It's Fang Jingyuan. Now it's your business. You beat him up like that. Why are you always so arrogant in front of the police?" As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man walked into the interrogation room. He just looked Xiaoyang from top to bottom. "What's up, Captain Li? This is what happened." The patrolman slowly told the man the whole story. The middle-aged man sat down. Suddenly, with a bang, Xiaoyang was startled himself. He saw the man slam the table suddenly. "You are so brave to hurt someone in the street." Chapter 71 Interrogation. Xiaoyang really wanted to say, "Why are you yelling so loudly?" But after thinking about it, I decided to give up. At this time, he was handcuffed and sitting on the interrogation chair. Xiaoyang looked around curiously, looking calm and not frightened by the man's roar. "Name? Xiaoyang. Gender? Female. Aren't you a man?" The man called Captain Li asked angrily. "You know it, but you still ask me." "I told you, but you don't believe it. Then why do you ask so many questions?" Xiaoyang asked back. "I'm warning you, this is the police station. Tell me everything honestly." The man immediately pointed at Xiaoyang, his tone full of warning. "What to confess?" Xiaoyang looked confused. "Tell us how you intentionally hurt people." Captain Li slammed the table and said sternly. Xiaoyang had a blank expression on his face. He now had no good feelings towards the police station in this area. As for the angry look on the face of the policeman in front of him, Xiaoyang didn't take it seriously. This is an old interrogation method used by the police. Even if he has never experienced it, he has seen it a lot on TV. First he slammed the table to calm himself down, and then he made accusations and lies in his words. Xiaoyang leaned back and said slowly, "Intentional injury. Their choice of words is not quite appropriate. If you have time, you can watch the video taken at the scene. I was acting in self-defense. Of course, there are personal grudges involved, but this case can be investigated together with the other case. He smashed my store and injured my people first. Then I went to ask for an explanation. Who knew he would start yelling and killing me? 7 or 8 people surrounded me and wanted to attack me. So I fought back. If I have to say it, it can barely be considered excessive self-defense." Xiaoyang touched his chin, looking stunned. "By the way, speaking of which, I still need to report a crime. My store was smashed 2 days ago. My friend was injured and is in the hospital, and my car was smashed and scrapped. Fang Jingyuan has already admitted this. If you have time, please investigate." After saying that, a smile suddenly appeared on Xiaoyang's face. "I'm talking about your case now." "Yes, this is also my case." "Have you really not done any investigation at all?" Xiaoyang frowned slightly. "Don't smile at me. Be serious. This is the police station. Is it your turn to teach us how to do things?" Captain Li slammed the table again. "I'm serious." Seeing Xiaoyang's expression, Captain Li suddenly widened his eyes and said sternly, "We are now talking about you beating Fang Jingyuan in front of the medical school gate. You said you were acting in self-defense, but the situation at the time was that you continued to assault the other party even though he had no ability to fight back. Do you know what this behavior is? I tell you, this is a horrific case of intentional injury. We can even charge you with intentional murder." As soon as the voice fell, Xiaoyang laughed. "Wow, even intentional murder has been revealed. If that's the case, it should be Fang Jingyuan's deliberate murder. So many people were there at the time and heard him. He said he was going to kill me, and he actually took action. At the time, several students who were related to Fang Jingyuan surrounded me and attacked me. If this is not considered self-defense, then what is? But you beat the guy like that. Don't you have any sense of crime?" Captain Li said with a dark face. "Don't talk for now. If you don't understand, you can think it over carefully. I'm not in a hurry." Xiaoyang was not scared. Instead, he spread out his hands and spoke slowly. First of all, Fang Jingyuan had people smash my store and car, and also beat up my friend. This matter has been concluded, because Fang Jingyuan has already admitted it. Then, I went to argue with him, and he said he wanted to kill me. So they started fighting, and I injured Fang Jingyuan. At this point, Xiaoyang smiled and said, "The whole thing is just that simple. Don't make it too complicated. I have a weak legal consciousness and I don't understand. If you still think I'm committing a crime, please bring Fang Jingyuan here who did the same thing." Xiaoyang spread his hands, leaned back in his chair, and said comfortably, "If possible, have a glass of water. I'm thirsty." The patrolmen looked at each other in bewilderment. They had not expected Xiaoyang to be so difficult to deal with. To be honest, if it were someone else, they could have just done as Xiaoyang said and arrested Fang Jingyuan as well. But he is Fang Jingyuan, the young master of Fang Group. Captain Li frowned and shook his head. "You know a lot." "No, I'm just stating the facts." "Okay, that's it for the interrogation." As soon as he finished speaking, Captain Li suddenly winked. The next second, the two patrolmen nearby suddenly understood. A man slowly walked aside and turned off the camera. The other patrolman turned around and walked out of the interrogation room, closing the door heavily. Bang! "He's young but he's very eloquent." Captain Li suddenly grinned. "But no matter how eloquent you are you harder than my fist?" After saying that, Captain Li took off his outer coat, revealing his muscular body. "How dare you abuse lynching?" Xiaoyang was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the police here had become so dark. "Boy, you also said that you were acting in self-defense. And they were the first to attack. Since it was a fight, how could there be no injuries on the body?" Captain Li looked at Xiaoyang with a smile on his face. Xiaoyang also frowned at this moment and said softly, "So it doesn't matter whether this case is self-defense or intentional injury?" "That's right," the other party smiled. "What's important is not whether you committed intentional injury or self-defense, but that you injured the young master of the Fang Group." Xiaoyang sneered but said nothing more. The other patrolman also reacted immediately, walked towards Xiaoyang, and pushed him down. "Don't blame us. The only thing to blame is that you offended someone you shouldn't have offended." Captain Li shook his head and sighed. Chapter 72 Interrogation Part 2. Xiaoyang looked at the two of them, somewhat surprised. "You really want to hit me?" Captain Li shook his head. "It's not a beating, it's a lesson. Young man, sometimes being too impulsive is not necessarily a good thing. You should always learn from your mistakes." After saying that, he found a pair of boxing gloves from somewhere and put them on his hands. "Don't worry, I promise you won't be injured." Xiaoyang immediately understood that if he put on the gloves, no external injuries would be detected. Furthermore, the police station has the right to detain the person involved for 48 hours. Once these 48 hours are over, even if there is any injury, it can be attributed to a fight. Generally speaking, such things will end up in nothing, and they also have their own set of excuses. The final result is that the person who was beaten can only swallow his anger even if he loses his teeth. Xiaoyang frowned slightly and raised his hand. It was just that the handcuffs restricted his movements, and coupled with the confinement of the interrogation chair, he was almost unable to move. "So, it was the Fang family who instructed you?" Xiaoyang asked without raising his head. "It's rare that you have self-awareness." As he spoke, his fist suddenly fell. Bang! Xiaoyang felt a burning pain on his face, and a trace of blood suddenly flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Xiaoyang spat out a mouthful of blood and looked up at Captain Li. The next moment, Xiaoyang's veins bulged and he tried his best to break free from the confinement of the interrogation chair. Xiaoyang's face was covered with beads of sweat and his eyes were filled with anger under his furrowed brows. Something seemed to collapse at this moment. Xiaoyang clenched his fists, and the next second, the interrogation chair creaked. However, Xiaoyang was unable to move. He is not strong enough to do this. Another punch fell. Xiaoyang groaned and put more strength into his fists. Seeing that Xiaoyang didn't say a word, Captain Li couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. He's a real man, but sometimes these things are worthless in the face of power. He shook his head and punched again. But at this moment, a loud noise was heard underfoot. Bang! Blood oozed from Xiaoyang's arm. The interrogation chair is broken. Xiaoyang managed to break free. The only price I had to pay was an arm covered in scars. Xiaoyang no longer cared about the scratches on his arm. After breaking free from the interrogation chair, Xiaoyang suddenly stood up and glared at Captain Li. Captain Li's fist was still waving in the air. He looked toward Xiaoyang, but met Xiaoyang's gaze. An extremely sharp gaze. There were bloodshot eyes, but also a hint of determination. Captain Li didn't know why, but he didn't dare to let his fist fall straight down after it was raised in the air. He was immediately frightened back to steps by Xiaoyang's beast-like eyes. Looking at the mess on the ground, his eyes were full of astonishment. Although this interrogation chair is not made of fine steel, it is made of iron pipes to hold the prisoner. But Xiao Yang managed to break free from the iron pipe and it broke into pieces. Xiao Yang didn't say anything nonsense the moment he stood up. His arms were already bent. An elbow strike suddenly and swiftly hit Captain Li. Wing Chun emphasizes speed, accuracy and ruthlessness. And all the strikes are aimed at the opponent's vital points. However, at the moment when he was about to hit the opponent's throat, Xiao Yang deviated from the direction and aimed at the opponent's chest. Bang! A muffled sound. The next second, Captain Li's huge body retreated backwards. There was a sudden sharp pain in my chest. He couldn't help but half squat on the ground, opening his mouth wide and breathing deeply. The dull feeling in his chest made him feel suffocated. At this moment, he was holding his chest in embarrassment, his face full of pain. At this time, the young patrolman nearby finally reacted. He was really shocked by the fact that Xiao Yang broke free from the interrogation chair. After all, everything happened in a flash when Captain Li half crouched on the ground. He finally came to his senses and reached for his waist. The next second, a baton appeared in his hand. Stop! He scolded out of habit. Xiao Yang didn't even turn his head. Idiot! The next second, Xiao Yang's face pressed against the interrogation chair that he had just broken free from. Use a little more force. Xiao Yang kicked the interrogation chair away and threw it towards the young policeman. Bang! The iron chair instantly hit his legs. The screams immediately spread throughout the interrogation room. The young policeman grimaced in pain. His legs and feet suddenly lost strength and he fell to one knee on the ground. It's hard for me to refuse such a great gift. Xiao Yang said this calmly. But he took a step forward and put one foot on the young patrolman's hand, added a bit more strength. Suddenly, the young patrolman's face was filled with pain. His facial features were twisted together, and he looked at Xiao Yang with a ferocious face in surprise. How dare you hit the police? Xiao Yang showed a bewildered look and said calmly. No, when did I become a patrolman? He pointed to the camera that had been turned off and glanced at the closed door of the interrogation room. The meaning is obvious. I just beat you, so what? You were the ones who closed the camera and the door. The reason for turning off the camera and the door was originally because we didn't want to leave any evidence of torture. But who would have thought that Xiao Yang was such a good fighter? At this time, Captain Li had recovered. There is still a slight heaviness in my chest. Xiao Yang shook the silver bracelet on his hand and said slowly, I am a weak college student wearing handcuffs and sitting on an interrogation chair. How can I fight to professionally trained police officers alone? Don't you agree? He glanced at Captain Li. Suddenly he raised his foot and kicked. Bang! Once again. Captain Li, who had just stood up, immediately grinned. Same position, different force. This time, Xiao Yang's force was much lighter, but his eyes went dark and he felt an extremely heavy feeling in his chest. Xiao Yang retracted his foot and said with a grim smile, Are you qualified to be patrol officers? No one answered him because both of them were in so much pain that they could hardly speak. The young policeman lifted up his trouser legs, only to see that his calves were covered in bruises from being hit by the interrogation chair. Xiao Yan calmly moved the interrogation chair back slightly and sat back down. You two, do you want to continue the interrogation? He looked at the two of them inferently. If it weren't for the mess at the scene, he would have looked like an honest man, as if what happened just now had nothing to do with him. The two of them gasped for breath. After a long pause, he looked at Xiao Yang. I don't know when he put his hand back into the interrogation chair. Of course, the iron pipe that originally imprisoned the arm was still rotten at this time. You. Captain Li's face was filled with anger. He took off his boxing gloves and pulled out the baton from his waist. You're dead. His ferocious face was distorted like a mad beast. Xiao Yang still looked at the other person calmly. At this moment, the door of the interrogation room suddenly opened. What are you doing? Chapter 73 Zhang Yichen. Chang. Director Shang. At the door of the interrogation room, a man dressed in high-class police uniform walked in. He looked at the mess on the ground and frowned slightly. What's going on? Director Shang, this kid is resisting the law violently and beating up law enforcement officers. Captain Li stood up immediately, with beads of sweat on his face. As for the baton in his hand, he had already put it behind his back. Yes, Chief Shang, look, as he said this, only to see blood stains on his legs. At this moment, before Director Shang could speak, a young man walked in again. The man narrowed his eyes, pushed his thick glasses, and said slowly, a weak and powerless college student beat up to professionally trained policemen. Oh, and there's this interrogation chair. As patrol officers, don't you find this ironic? As he spoke, the man walked up to Xiao Yang and slowly said, My name is Zhang Yichen, the chief lawyer of Chen Shi Law Firm. Mr. Xiao, are you okay? Not bad. Xiao Yang was a little confused, wondering how this person named Zhang Yichen would appear. Lawyer. Have you ever found a lawyer? Before Xiao Yang could ask, he saw a person walking in from outside. It's Zhang Shangzu. Xiao Yang immediately understood that Zhang Yichen must be the one Zhang Shangzu had brought here. However, his case is still a bit troublesome after all. It is an indisputable fact that he injured someone in public. At this time, Zhang Yichen also noticed the blood on Xiao Yang's arm. He lifted Xiao Yang's hand and looked at several people. The blood is still flowing, and it happened in the interrogation room. Director Shang, there are serious problems with your police station. Is this a violent interrogation? As he spoke, Zhang Yichen took out his cell phone from his pocket and calmly started filming the scene. Excuse me, how did you get this wound on your arm? Zhang Yichen pointed his camera at Xiao Yang's arm, and then at his face. Xiao Yang didn't say anything, but just looked at the two patrolmen with some embarrassment. Zhang Yichen was still very satisfied with Xiao Yang's performance, and he pointed at the interrogation camera that had been turned off and asked, "Who allowed you to turn off the camera during the interrogation? Are you afraid of leaving evidence of torture?" You. Captain Li was already confused. Zhang Yichen came in and started talking non-stop, accusing others of him with every sentence. No, the scene before us is complete with both witnesses and physical evidence. Director Shang, don't listen to what he says, it was obviously us who were beat. As he said that, Captain Li took off his clothes, revealing a purple and blue patch on his chest. The young patrolman also quickly revealed the wound on his leg. And at this time, Zhang Yichen had already taken the phone back and put it back in his pocket. He shook his head and said, "My client was handcuffed and sitting on the interrogation chair. What could he use to beat up to policemen? The cameras were not turned on during the enforcement process. Is this the enforcement style of the police station?" Director Zhang, I now seriously suspect that there are serious problems with your law enforcement process. And you are trying to slander my client by self-harming. The two patrolmen were stunned. Self-harm and slander. Is there something wrong with my fucking brain? It was obviously this guy who beat us. Okay? He is a super good fighter. Okay? How could you say he was so? Whose chicken is so strong? Director Zhang, if this is true, I will suggest to my client that I reserve the right to sue you for unfair law enforcement. In addition, I will take Mr. Xiao to get his injuries examined immediately. After the words fell, Director Shank quickly smiled and said, No, Mr. Zhang, you misunderstood. This is definitely not the style of our patrol station. Whether it is or not, the court has the final say. After that, Zhang Yichen looked at Xiao Yang with a serious face and said, Mr. Xiao, do you want to sue them? Xiao Yang was a little confused. He only had some legal knowledge, but seeing Zhang Yichen talking so non-stop and making the top leader of the police station smile repeatedly, this was beyond his understanding. Seeing this, he felt at ease. Looking at the two of them, Xiao Yang frowned slightly, thought for a moment, and shook his head, forget it. But I will reserve the right to sue them. Zhang Yichen nodded and turned to look at Director Shang. Excuse me, can I take Mr. Xiao away now? You have the right to detain Mr. Xiao for 48 hours. No, Mr. Xiao can leave at any time. Director Shang smiled and said slowly, in fact, the two patrolmen are non-staff members of our patrol station. They are just temporary workers, their affairs have little to do with our patrol station. Is that so? Zhang Yichen smiled. But what they are wearing are not temporary workers' clothes. Suddenly, the two patrolmen were stunned. Oh my god. Are we temporary workers? Captain Li, in particular, was extremely regretful at this point. He shouldn't have answered the call from the Fang family and gotten involved in this mess. It took him 5 or 6 years to climb to the position of captain. From what they said, it seemed like they wanted to take off his clothes. Director Shang, Captain Li quickly looked at Director Shang. But the other party didn't even look at it. Captain Li's eyes were suddenly filled with death. He never expected that his bright future would end here. On this side, Zhang Yichen brought Xiao Yang out of the police station, with the police station's top leader accompanying him. There was naturally no problem at all in handling the formalities. After leaving the police station, Xiao Yang breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't expect that it only took more than an hour from the time he went in to the time he came out. At this time, Zhang Shengzu also followed behind him and patted Zhang Yichen on the shoulder. For Thunkel, thank you. Xiao Yang looked at the two of them in surprise. Zhang Yichen looks to be only in his 20s, but he is actually Zhang Shengzu's uncle. It's a small matter. Zhang Yichen smiled and looked at Xiao Yang. Unlike his serious and stern attitude just now, he said with a carefree smile, Of course you actually beat up Fang Jingyuan, damn it. I've been annoyed with him for a long time. Xiao Yang, is this still the same eloquent lawyer just now? But this matter is much easier to handle than I thought. Xiao Yang, did you really beat up those two policemen? Still in handcuffs? Xiao Yang nodded. Suddenly, a gleam of light flashed in Zhang Yichen's eyes. Is it so fierce? Xiao Yang was a little uncomfortable with Zhang Yichen's transformation and was slightly stunned. Awesome, Zhang Yichen gave a thumbs up. But soon, a little sadness appeared on his face again. It's easy to get you out of the police station. But after all, you have offended the Fang family. Zhang Shengzu also shook his head, feeling melancholy about this. Anyway, don't tell my dad. He will definitely be very angry. Zhang Shengzu thought for a while and said to Zhang Yichen. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yichen's cell phone rang. He picked it up and smiled bitterly. No need, he already knows. Chapter 74 Fang Zhang Marriage. At this time, in an office of the police station. Bang! A teacup shattered on the ground, splashing all over Captain Li. I said, you are also an old patrolman. You have been a patrolman for so many years. How come you don't have any sense of smell at all? But at that time, the Fang family. What do you know? Director Shang interrupted Captain Li directly. You also know that this is the Fang family's business. How dare you beat Fang Jingyuan in public? How dare you get involved in such a matter? It would be fine if you just arrested him, but you actually wanted to interrogate him violently. Do you think you can stir the water here? Any fish in it can bite you to death? I don't know how you became the captain. Director Shang looked disappointed. I've read the case files. There are a lot of problems here. A top-of-the-line Phaeton worth more than 2 million was smashed. And the storefront must have cost several million. A student who can come up with so much money at once dares to offend the Fang family. Do you think you can touch their background? Director Shang knocked on the table and looked up at Captain Li. Captain Li was immediately sweating profusely. Originally, Director Shang didn't say anything because he felt that there was still room for maneuver in this matter. But when he mentioned the importance of this case, Captain Li was already panicked and couldn't speak clearly. The Fang family, who are they? Everyone in Jiangdu knows very well. Anyone who dares to offend Taisui is definitely not someone you can afford to offend. His heart suddenly sank to the extreme, but he still held on to a glimmer of hope and said, that was Fang Jingyang who called me to teach him a lesson. I don't know. Ew. Director Shang sighed and said helplessly. You think this is the same as before, right? Do you know who the lawyer who just came here is? Captain Li shook his head. Zhang Yichen is the fourth child of the Zhang family. He is Fang Jingyang's elder and the most famous lawyer in Jiangdu. He has personally intervened. I believe the Zhang family is also involved. How many lives do you have to play in the center of this vortex between the Fang and Zhang families? As soon as he finished speaking, Captain Li turned pale. Zhang family. Another one that you can't afford to offend. Well, they won't bother with a small person like me about this matter. Right? Captain Li took a breath and felt a little numb. Now that things have come to this point, we can only give in. From now on, you are suspended from work and are required to reflect on your actions. Director Shang waved his hand. Captain Li suddenly took several steps back like a wilted chick. Suspension for review is not just a review. If he is lucky, he could be reinstated, but reinstatement is easier said than done. The most important thing is that his career path would come to an end and he would not be able to make any further progress. What did you say? Zhang Yichen got the person out. Fang Jingyang was extremely surprised at this time. He originally thought that someone had just hit his brother and slapped the Fang family. But when he heard Zhang Yichen appear, he thought that things might not be that simple. The Zhang family and the Fang family are the most famous business families in Jiangdu. However, compared to the Fang family, the Zhang family has only been in power for more than 10 years. In terms of foundation, there is still a big gap between them and the Fang family. But the Fang family would not easily offend the Zhang family. However, in recent years, the Zhang family seemed to have some financial problems, and the frequent selling of stocks also made the Fang family realize this. Later, the Fang family began to take action against the Zhang family in the stock market, and the two families could be said to be fighting in full swing. But these matters were quickly resolved. A marriage between wealthy families. The Fang family immediately accepted the Zhang family's goodwill. The most important thing is that Fang Jingyang is also very satisfied with this, because the person he is about to marry is Zhang Yan, the eldest daughter of the Zhang family. Zhang Yan was the girl he had been pursuing since childhood. Therefore, during this period, the Zhang family had entered a honeymoon period and were almost always friendly towards her. But, how could Xiao Yang, who beat his own brother, be related to the Zhang family? Fang Jingyang was puzzled. After thinking about it, he picked up the phone and made a call. The person who answered the phone was Zhang Yan's father, Zhang Yiming, the head of the Zhang family. It's Jing Yang. How come you have time to call me today? Zhang Yiming's voice came. Smiling, as if he didn't realize anything. Uncle John, I just came to call and ask, do you know Xiao Yang? When the voice fell, Zhang Yiming was stunned. I know it very well. It was him who kidnapped his daughter for several days and brought her home. In fact, after bringing Zhang Yan back, he had been confining Zhang Yan to her home. not allowing her to contact anyone outside. He also had someone erase Zhang Yan's whereabouts for those few days. After all, the Zhang family's marriage is imminent, and the Fang family cannot know about this matter. But Fang Jingyang called suddenly. What does this mean? He knows. Zhang Yiming frowned slightly. No one knew what Zhang Yan and Xiao Yang did during those days. What would happen if Fang Jingyang knew? NTR before marriage? Zhang Yiming let out a long sigh and said, I've heard of this name before. What's wrong? Fang Jingyang also frowned slightly at this moment. Have you heard of it? In other words, the Zhang family was not deeply involved in this matter. At least Zhang Yiming did not know all about it. He pondered for a moment before slowly saying, This man beat up my brother. Zhang Yiming breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that it was not Zhang Yan's fault. Zhang Yiming was afraid that the Fang family would know about Zhang Yan's affairs. This was already an act of putting an air of health on the other party. If it was just a matter of Xiao Yang beating someone up, and it would be fine, that was his business and had nothing to do with my Zhang family. I don't know about that Xiao Yang. I don't have a good impression of him. I haven't even seen him. I've just heard of the name. Zhang Yiming directly ignored Xiao Yang. I've only heard of this name, and I don't know anything else. Hearing this, Fang Jingyang also breathed a sigh of relief. But he still frowned and said, after Jingyuan was beaten, Xiao Yang was controlled by the police. That's good. As long as the person is caught. Zhang Yiming nodded repeatedly. But the next second, Fang Jingyang's words made Zhang Yiming numb. But Zhang Yichen got the person out. Of this? Zhang Yiming just felt numb. What was going on? Fourth brother, what are you doing? I really don't know about this matter. I have to ask the fourth brother. Zhang Yiming let out a long sigh and cleared himself from the matter. To be honest, I have a bad impression of this Xiao Yang. I don't know how he knows Lao Si. I guess Lao Si was fooled by him. Fang Jingyang agreed. It seems that it has little to do with the Zhang family. It is just the personal behavior of Zhang Lao Si. At this moment, Zhang Yiming's voice came again. Jingyang, let's choose a time to finalize the matter between you and Shaiqian as soon as possible. Now that you say this, I'm not sleepy anymore. Fang Jingyang's expression brightened and he smiled. Chapter 75 Zhang Sisters. Zhang Family. Zhang Yichen and Zhang Shengzu stood straight in front of Zhang Yiming. Tell me, what's going on? What's going on, brother? I'm a lawyer, and it's normal to take on a business. Zhang Yichen waved his hand. Fourth brother, don't play dumb with me. That's the Fang family's business, not a trivial matter. Zhang Yiming frowned. It's the Fang family again. Brother, why should we be afraid of them, even though they are wealthy and powerful? They can't pose any threat to us. Zhang Yichen frowned. But the next second, Zhang Yiming scolded. What do you know? Are you out of your mind? Our Zhang family has only been in business for a dozen years. But the Fang family has a history of 100 years. At this point, he shook his head again and said, besides, Shaiqian is going to marry into the Fang family soon. If you offend the Fang family at this time, won't you make Shaiqian uncomfortable? Brother, you are too naive. Even if the Fang family is not offended, will Shaiqian be at ease if she marries him? Zhang Yichen shook his head and smiled bitterly, saying, Shaiqian doesn't like Fang Jingyang at all. At this point, Zhang Shengzu was also stunned for a moment, biting her lip and said, yes, I don't like Fang Jingyang. Speaking of this, Zhang Yiming suddenly became furious. Yes, you don't like Fang Jingyang, I admit it. The point is, it would have been fine if you just ran away, but you also cheated on her. His head hurts whenever he thinks of this. The key point is that this cannot be avoided without involving Xiao Yang. He glanced at Zhang Shengzu, suddenly realized something, and asked quickly, Xiaozu, does this have anything to do with you? Zhang Shengzu thought about it and said helplessly, I asked my fourth uncle to save Xiao Yang. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yiming almost fainted. Even after many years of ups and downs in the business world, this sentence almost broke his stable state of mind. Xiaozu, tell me the truth, what is your relationship with Xiao Yang? He asked hurriedly, his voice even more severe than before. This Xiao Yang, it's fine that he kidnapped his eldest daughter, but now his youngest daughter is also related to him. It doesn't matter. He is the boss and I am the employee. Zhang Shengzu said calmly. Zhang Yiming looked at Zhang Shengzu twice again. And then he felt relieved. The biggest difference between Zhang Shengzu and Zhang Yan is that her mind is much simpler than Zhang Yan's. For things like this, she can tell at a glance whether someone is lying or not. How come he is the boss? Why are you working for someone else? I, Zhang Yiming's daughter, have to work for someone else? Zhang Yiming asked with a frown. I'm doing an internship. Zhang Shengzu said. Why are you doing an internship with him? Because the salary there is high. Zhang Shengzu still had a calm expression. That makes sense. Zhang Yichen secretly gave a thumbs up to his little niece. Zhang Yiming looked at the two of them and suddenly felt a headache. One is his little daughter who has been well-behaved and sensible since childhood, and he couldn't bear to scold her. The other one is his own younger brother, who is young and has always been indulged by him moreover. Zhang Yichen is also famous and has his own career outside. So basically nothing he says or scolds him about will go in one ear and out the other. Side. Zhang Yiming waved his hand and asked the two to quickly leave his sight. After leaving Zhang Yiming's study, the two of them finally breathed a sigh of relief. Why does brother care so much about Xiaoyang? Zhang Yichen shook his head in confusion. I don't know either, I just met Xiaoyang. Zhang Shengzu thought for a while and said, there's something strange. At this time, Zhang Yiming took a sip of tea and finally suppressed his anger a little. Xiaoyang, it's this Xiaoyang again. Fortunately, Xiaozu is obedient and has nothing to do with him. Otherwise, Zhang Yiming felt angry just thinking about it. If the two sisters had any relationship with Xiaoyang, then the Zhang family would be completely disgraced. After thinking about it, he made another phone call. Are there any moves from the Fang family? No. Zhang Yiming breathed a sigh of relief and said, have you found out who is buying our company's shares? Not yet, but I feel like it shouldn't be the Fang family. Not the Fang family. Zhang Yiming's face was filled with astonishment. If it wasn't the Fang family, who else in Jiangdu had such financial resources to directly acquire so many shares of their company? On the other side, Zhang Shengzu did not leave the Zhang family with Zhang Yichen, but ran to her sister's room. Sister. At this time, Zhang Yan was sitting aside, not as lively as before, and no one knew what she was thinking about. Seeing Zhang Shengzu come in, Zhang Yan smiled and said, Xiaozu, you're here. Sister. You've lost weight. It's okay, why do you want to go home today? Zhang Yan was naturally very happy to have someone to accompany her. She took Zhang Shengzu's hand and started chatting. I was called back to be scolded. Oh no, what did you do? He never scolds you, Zhang Yan said with some gloating. But she didn't call him dad, she just said he. As for me, I asked my fourth uncle to save someone, and then he got very angry. What do you mean? Zhang Yan looked confused. At this time, Zhang Shengzu laughed and said, sister, let me tell you something that is very satisfying. Fang Jingyuan was beaten. Zhang Yan was stunned. Fang Jingyuan? He must be Fang Jingyang's younger brother. Yes, that's him. Let me tell you, he liked a girl, and then Zhang Shengzu began to tell the story and recounted what had happened. So your boss beat him up, Zhang Yan said in surprise. But his face was immediately filled with smiles no matter who of the two brothers of the Fang family got beaten. It was a happy thing neither of them was a good person. Yes, the boss is a super fighter, he beat down Fang Jingyuan and several others by himself. By the way, there was also that group of thugs called Brother Dao. Oh my god, I get a little scared just thinking about them. They looked ferocious, but the boss took care of them all by himself. After that, he let them call the ambulance themselves. So cool, Zhang Shengzu said repeatedly. Really, Xiaozu? Do you like your boss? Zhang Yan suddenly said. Zhang Shengzu immediately shook his head. I just think he's a good fighter, but too impulsive. I don't like guys like that. Zhang Yan nodded thoughtfully. And a figure appeared in her mind again. But speaking of it, he beat Fang Jingyuan. The Fang family will definitely not let it go. You should tell your boss to be careful. Yeah, Zhang Shengzu nodded repeatedly. To be honest, she just felt that Xiaoyang was too impulsive. It would be fine if he had just beaten up Brother Dao and his gang. But Fang Jingyuan was a member of the Fang family after all. So Xiaoyang would probably not have a peaceful life during this period. Speaking of which, sister, you are going to marry into the Fang family. Speaking of this, the two sisters' faces were full of melancholy. Chapter 76 to million isn't a lot. After coming out of the police station, Xiaoyang called King Xuantong immediately. King Xuantong was relieved to hear that Xiaoyang was fine. But she also told Xiaoyang another piece of news. The video of him beating Fang Jingyuan has spread to forums of various schools. In response to this, Xiaoyang just frowned slightly and didn't take it seriously. But at this moment, in a certain girl's dormitory, this was not the case. Lin Q is dressing up carefully at this moment. Now that my relatives have left, it's time to continue my journey of expressing my feelings. Just then, several close friends suddenly ran in from outside the door. What's wrong? Why are you so tired and out of breath? Lin Qiu looked at Li Shaikan and others and said casually. Something happened, Lin Qiu, something happened to your Xiaoyang. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Qiu's heart skipped a beat and the eyebrow pencil in his hand stopped immediately. What happened? She asked quickly. You'll know if you look at this. It's all over the internet. Lin Qiu took the phone that Li Xiaoyan handed over. This is a forum post from Zhangde University of Finance and Economics. The title of this post, Xiaoyang, a wealthy and infatuated man, is furious for his beloved, but the heroine is someone else. Lin Qiu widened his eyes and quickly clicked in. But when she clicked on it, free numbers suddenly appeared on the web page. 404. Several people looked at each other in surprise. Ah, this. Also, there are videos and other posts too. Li Shikaun took the phone and walked out. But after searching through the forum, she found that all the posts about this incident had disappeared. It's been deleted. What exactly happened? Lin Qiyu asked anxiously. Fortunately, a girl nearby stood up and said, fortunately, I had the foresight to download it in advance. She held her head high, her face full of pride. Give it to you. Li Shikaun grabbed the phone. After a moment, the video was finally opened. This isn't Xiaoyang. Lin Qiyu looked at the man in the white suit in the video and said slowly, Xiaoyang isn't that ugly. Several girlfriends' mouths twitched suddenly. What he said was true, but why did it feel so weird? Especially after watching the entire video, they all agreed very much at this point. Yes, how can this person compare with Xiaoyang? Just keep watching. Xiaoyang will appear later. Lin Qiyu continued watching, but soon she recognized the heroine in the video. Bing Xuantong. Hey, Shuo, do you know her? Lin Qiyu nodded. After a long confession. When the Maserati appeared, the girls watching in the video started to exclaim. Lin Qiyu didn't feel anything but just shook her head and said, superficial. King Xuantong will definitely not agree. The women nearby were stunned. What does it mean? Are you still an old prophet? In fact, subconsciously, Lin Qiyu had already regarded King Xuantong as his love rival. In her opinion, her love rival would not have such a strong taste. After meeting Xiaoyang, who would still like someone like Fang Jingyuan? Sure enough, very quickly, words, you are too ugly, came out of King Xuantong's mouth. Several girls were dumbfounded. Oh my goodness, I finally get it. It turns out that you all use Xiaoyang as a template. Right? Those who don't have Xiaoyang's looks are all treated as ugly. Right? But at this time, Lin Qiyu's brows finally frowned. In a corner of the video, a figure appeared. Although the focus of the video had not yet shifted to Xiaoyang, the sharp-eyed Lin Qiyu still grabbed Xiaoyang's cheek at the first moment. She said you were too ugly. Are you hard of hearing or are you deaf? Xiaoyang is on stage. But the next second, Xiaoyang kicked Fang Jingyuan. Is he angry because King Xuantong was confessed to by someone else? Lin Qiyu was extremely surprised. What's going on? Xiaoyang had a cold expression with a hint of anger. Lin Qiyu had never seen Xiaoyang so angry before. She suddenly didn't know what to do. Her heart was a little depressed for a moment. She couldn't help but wonder, if someone confessed to her like this, would Xiaoyang be angry? At this moment, the scene in the video is still going on. She saw several people surrounding Xiaoyang, and her heart suddenly tightened. Nothing will happen to Xiaoyang, right? At this moment, he was no longer thinking about King Xuantong, but was worried about Xiaoyang's situation. Seeing this, the women couldn't help but shook their heads. You underestimate Xiaoyang too much. To be honest, Xiaoyang is so handsome, I even want to lick the screen, said the girl who secretly downloaded the video with a silly look on her face. Lin Qiyu was confused. From what they said, Xiaoyang is okay. Next, she finally understood why Xiaoyang was fine. With punches and kicks, he was unable to defeat the students and his face was filled with relief. But soon, she also noticed the conversation between several people. This guy named Fang Jingyuan beat up Xiaoyang's friend and smashed his car? She quickly rewound the video and turned up the volume. Several people suddenly became quiet and listened carefully. Originally, there was some noise around them and the sound was not very clear. So they did not listen carefully, but after Lin Qiyu said this, they all pricked up their ears immediately. Really? Lin Qiyu's complexion immediately looked much better. It wasn't because of King Xuantong, but because Fang Jingyuan took the initiative to cause trouble. He beat up his friends, smashed the store, and destroyed the car. That friend must be Lu Xing. She understood immediately and groaned. I said, King Xuantong, how is it possible that Xiaoyang doesn't like King Xuantong? After understanding the truth of the matter, Lin Qiyu's face suddenly became much happier. Continue reading below. When they saw the car smashing scene, several girls were also shocked. Oh my god, that's a Maserati. $1 million luxury car. And that Ferrari. Xiaoyang actually smashed it. No, Xiaoyang smashed it like that. Can he afford to pay for it? Those two cars together cost at least $2 million. The girls were all shocked. They had always thought that Xiaoyang was gentle. But in this video, Xiaoyang was extremely violent. But this makes it more charming. Good at fighting, tall and handsome. He is simply the perfect male god. However, the video ended with Xiaoyang being taken away by the police. Lin Qiyu immediately became worried and asked, did Xiaoyang break the law? Several girls looked at each other. Fighting in the street and damaging other people's property. It should be illegal. Lin Qiyu's face suddenly turned pale. No, I want to go find him. Lin Qiyu made a decision right away and planned to go out directly. Wait, Shuo, what are you doing? You just go to find him like this. Do you think you can rescue him, or what do you want to do? Li Shaikan hurriedly grabbed Lin Qiu. She didn't know what to do, and her face was suddenly filled with anxiety. Or you can give him a call, someone said. He's in the police station. How can he possibly get through on the phone? Give it a try. Lin Qiu bit her lip, thought about it, and finally dialed the phone. Is it Qiu? Xiao Yang's voice came. Lin Qiu's expression was suddenly filled with surprise. Seikosuio Yang, are you okay? With a hint of sobs. Xiao Yang seemed to have heard it, and asked seriously, what's wrong with you? Are you crying? What happened? Lin Qiu's face was immediately covered with tears. And she said with a sobbing tone, you were arrested by the police station? Oh, that I'm out, Xiao Yang said easily, but a warm feeling also passed through his heart. This little girl really cares about herself. Okay. Stop crying, it's okay, don't worry. Lin Qiu nodded repeatedly. Well, I watched the video. They said the 2 cars you smashed were very expensive. Do you have to pay for it? Xiao Yang, do you have money to pay? If not, I can help you. My family is very rich. After he finished speaking, Xiao Yang was confused. What does this mean? Several girlfriends standing by were also stunned for a moment. Xiao Yu, is your family so rich? Lin Qiu was stunned for a moment. Didn't you say that it was only 2 million? It seems. Not a lot. Chapter 77 School Disciplinary Action. Lin Qiu was relieved to know that Xiao Yang was fine. After the phone call was hung up, everyone looked at Lin Qiu in amazement. Xiao Yu, is your family so rich? It's okay, Lin Qiu said, a little confused. She didn't really understand, but as long as she had enough food and drink, 2 million didn't seem like a lot when she heard her dad talk about business. It seemed like the sums were tens of millions or more. Xiao Yang was also a little confused. Lin Qiu's phone call was quite heartwarming, but the last part made me choke. 2 million is not much. Even for Xiao Yang, who has the system, it is difficult to say this now. However, he didn't have time to think about whether Lin Qiu was a wealthy woman or not. The most urgent task now was to deal with the Fang family's affairs. After thinking for a long time, Xiao Yang still had no clue. Before this, Fang Jingyuan, the title of the young master of the Fang group, was just a title in his mind. But now that I think about it carefully, the Fang family is indeed quite powerful. Now that they have reached the police station, I'm afraid the Fang family won't let it go. Therefore, the real thing is to complete the system's tasks first and get the rewards. I am the only one who is richer than the Fang family. So do I still need to be afraid of them? After a while, Xiao Yang made a decision. Xingyang self-service food store opens. Without Lu Xing, he would have to take care of many matters of the restaurant himself. After thinking about it, Xiao Yan first went to the hospital to see Lu Xing for a while, and learned from him what the food store would do next and the many things that needed attention. After asking another student to help look after Lu Xing, Xiao Yang returned to school. But as soon as he stepped into the school gate, the phone rang. Xiao Yang. Counselor. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. It was a call from the counselor. You came out of the police station? The counselor sighed and said, come to my office. Xiao Yang had no choice but to go to the counselor's office first. At this time, the counselor frowned slightly. On his desk, there was an A4 paper placed upright. Just take a look. Xiao Yang took it, and at first glance, he was shocked by the words on the paper. Notice on the punishment of Xiao Yang, a student in the first class of the economics department of the School of Economics of Zhongde University of Finance and Economics. Punishment. He was stunned. It was about the fight you had in front of the medical school. In fact, it was only a few hours since the fight, and Xiao Yang didn't expect the school to act so quickly. He hurriedly read on, and after finishing he was completely stunned. So serious? Xiao Yang frowned, obviously in disbelief. You, the counselor couldn't bear to look at Xiao Yang, raised his hand, thought for a while, and then sighed. Go back first, the announcement has been finalized. If nothing unexpected happens, the whole school will be officially notified tomorrow. By then, you may have to pack your things. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. His eyes staggered. Good. Xiao Yang nodded. Xiao Yang. I was your age too. Young man, sometimes being impulsive is a good thing. But sometimes it can lead to bad things. You are no longer a child. When doing anything, think more like an adult to avoid offending someone you shouldn't offend. The counselor suddenly spoke up. Someone who shouldn't be offended. Xiao Yang breathed a sigh of relief. The Fang family. He smiled, turned around and said, thank you. Back to the dormitory. At this time, Li Ji and others in the dormitory cheered when they saw Xiao Yang. Fuck, Lao Xiao, you are so awesome. Lao Xiao, tell me quickly. Where did you learn Kung Fu? It's so damn cool, absolutely amazing. As they spoke, several people waved their fists, imitating the movements that Xiao Yang made in the video. Oh my god, I have to say, Lao Xiao, you are my idol. When I see that video now, I can't help but lick the screen. You are a role model for men. Seeing this, Xiaoyang laughed heartily. What kind of kung fu is that? It's because they are too weak to fight. You are too modest, old Xiao. You can't call this kung fu. You're so strong that you can even grab that trash can. Damn, it makes my blood boil. Speaking of which, that medical school girl seems to be having an affair with you. You're not cheating on me at the same time, are you? Having said this, several people immediately gathered around. Old Xiao, although the girl from the medical school is also very beautiful, I still think Lin Qiu is better. Indeed, I never get tired of watching Lin Qiu. Xiaoyang glanced at the few people and couldn't help but smile bitterly. What are you talking about? How could I be playing the timing? Lin Qiu, King Xuantong, and I are just normal friends. Okay? Normal friendship. Fuck, you can actually say that. Generally speaking, if they claim to be friends but are still flirting with each other, they will all be treated as scumbags. Really? Xiaoyang scratched his head. That's not right, I rejected Lin Qiu, and you are all here. Get out, Xiaoyang waved his hands. Too lazy to explain to these guys. By the way, Lao Xiao, I saw in the video that you seemed to be taken away by the police. How come you came out so soon? Because I was fine. It was just a fight. Xiaoyang smiled and didn't explain anything. After all, what happened in the police station was just horrifying if it was told out loud. That's good, I thought you would be locked up for a few days. I was thinking about whether I should bring my brothers to see you. Li Ji laughed. Since everything is fine, that's great. I suggest that we go to the old place tonight. Several people immediately raised their hands in agreement. By the way, those cars and stuff, damn, look at how brave you were in smashing them. Lao Xiao, you're not a well-hidden rich second generation. Are you? I heard that the guy you beat up is from a wealthy and powerful family. Yes. Several people immediately started asking again. They are not children anymore and they know the consequences of Xiaoyang's actions. If he is not a rich second generation, the consequences would be unbearable for ordinary people. It's okay, everything has been handled. Xiaoyang waved his hand. Sure, Lao Xiao, you are a hidden talent. I'll be hanging out with you from now on. Several people started chatting with each other. After a while, Xiaoyang returned to his seat, took a look, and picked up everything on the table. When everyone calmed down and said they wanted to go out and have fun, Xiaoyang interrupted them and said, "Brothers, let me tell you something." "Speak. Show your cards now, right?" Several people burst into laughter. "You think too much." Xiaoyang smiled and rolled his eyes at Li Ji. His expression became more serious. And then he slowly said, "I was expelled from school." Chapter 78. Good luck in opening. The voice fell. Xiaoyang's voice was not loud, but it was clearly heard by everyone. The whole place was silent. And the cheers just now disappeared at this moment. Everyone was stunned, staring at Xiaoyang blankly, but the smile on his face that had not yet faded from the laughter that had just broken out. "Old Xiao, what did you say?" Li Ji asked in disbelief and with a hint of doubt in his tone. "I said I was expelled from school," Xiaoyang said softly. His tone and expression were somewhat indifferent. This time, everyone heard it clearly. Time passed slowly, and for several seconds, no one made a sound. The expressions on their faces gradually froze. How could this happen? Li Ji was the first to speak. "Old Xiao, you have little education, so don't lie to me." Someone else frowned. The corners of Xiaoyang's mouth slightly raised, revealing a smile. However, everyone could see that Xiaoyang's smile was a little forced. "I'm not lying to you, the school should announce it to everyone tomorrow." He let out a long sigh and said slowly. Several people stared at each other. When did the school become so strict? Yeah, the last time those guys from the sports department got into a fight. It wasn't this serious. No, didn't the counselor say anything? Suddenly, they didn't know what to say, and their voices gradually became lower. They knew that Xiaoyang usually wouldn't joke about such things, so it was probably true. But she still couldn't accept it in her heart. She couldn't help but pat Xiaoyang's shoulder and teased him. "You are such a good liar, how is it possible?" Seeing that Xiaoyang didn't say anything, the few of them confirmed it. "It's true." "No, why?" "Yeah. I'm already a junior now and will graduate soon. Those 3 years of study were not in vain." Li Ji was silent for a while. Suddenly he raised his foot and kicked a chair beside him. Old. Clang. The chair was kicked away and fell to the ground with a loud noise. If it were a normal situation, there would probably be a lot of bad words from others. But this time, no one said anything and everyone was silent. "Fine. It's okay, it's just a bachelor's degree. What society values nowadays is real talent and knowledge." Yes, with Lao Xiao's strength, he doesn't need this piece of waste paper. Millions of college students graduate every year, but few can find jobs with their diplomas. That's right. I have a fellow villager who used to study computer science and is now very successful in sales. What he learned in college has nothing to do with his job. Lao Xiao is destined to be a boss. Who told you that being a boss requires a diploma? That makes sense. Several people were talking to each other, all speaking with a smile. Xiaoyang couldn't help but chuckle. He knew that what they said was to comfort him, and he couldn't help but pat them on the shoulders, only to feel his eyes getting a little red. In fact, after walking out of the counselor's office, Xiaoyang also thought a lot. Indeed, with the existence of the system, he might not really need this diploma. But he knew that the Feng family must be behind this matter. Otherwise the school would not have made a decision so quickly. Therefore Xiaoyang felt very unwilling at this moment. Looking at the campus that he was about to leave, Xiaoyang still felt a little reluctant after having stayed here for 3 years. But he didn't regret it. What he regretted was that he didn't go too far. Feng family. Xiaoyang seemed to be thinking about something. After a moment, he collected his thoughts and said, "Okay, let's stop talking about those nonsense tonight. I won't go home until I'm drunk." "Don't go home until you're drunk." Several people followed the instructions with smiles on their faces. But in fact, everyone felt a little heavy in their hearts. "Let's call Lao Liu and the others, and go out and play together." After thinking for a while, Xiaoyang said, "Okay." Someone left the dormitory and went to the next dormitory to call someone. During these 3 years of college life, Xiaoyang had good interpersonal relationships. When he called, many people came and filled up the dormitory. "Everyone counts, brothers today. It's my treat." Xiaoyang waved his hand. Boss Xiao is generous. Some people cheer and some people are worried. But now they all know that Xiaoyang might be leaving. Most of the students who are good at playing have arrived. The group also walked out of the dormitory under the leadership of Xiaoyang. At this time, Xiaoyang's mood was not so heavy. Just fire him. In the past 3 years, I have met so many good brothers. And it is not a loss. I must not let my family know about this. Otherwise my parents will jump up and beat me up. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and took out his cell phone. He suddenly had an idea. There are so many people. Why go to the old place? Why not just go directly to Xingyang's self-service food restaurant? He quickly opened the WeChat group and the employee group of the gourmet restaurant. "All staff, whoever is free, please come to our store. We are opening today." As soon as the message was sent, many people responded. In fact, after the last incident, Xiaoyang gave some money to everyone present so that they could rest first. Although he was happy to get the money, he didn't do anything and always felt guilty towards Xiaoyang. So when Xiaoyang sent out the message, they were so happy that they all replied one by one. "I'm free. I'll be right there. Here I come." It was Zhang Shangzhu who also sent a message directly, saying that he would come over immediately. Xiaoyang was relieved immediately and announced to everyone, "Brothers, I opened a store nearby. Let's consider it as the opening day today. Come and support me." "Fuck, Lao Xiao, you are kidding. You own a shop." Everyone was a little unconvinced. But when they arrived and saw the renovated store, they finally believed it. Xiaoyang really opened a store outside. And it was a gourmet food store. Although the store had been smashed and looted by Feng Jingyuan and his gang, Xiaoyang had someone clean up the store again in the past 2 days. The house has already been fully renovated, so it doesn't take much time to do this. As for the ingredients, there is no problem with them. The ingredients in the big freezer in the back kitchen are so good that they are almost ready. At this time, several girls had also come over, led by Zhang Shangzhu. Xiaoyang took out the key and opened the food store, while the others stared at Zhang Shangzhu and his group. What a beautiful young lady. In addition to Zhang Shangzhu, there are several other good-looking girls. They are all employees of the food store. However, the brothers don't know this. Although they are all very aggressive, they don't dare to approach them and chat with them. Until they walked in front of Xiaoyang. "Boss, they are all here." Xiaoyang was a little surprised that all these employees were here. "The boss has spoken, how dare we not come?" several girls said with a smile. "Okay, then we'll open today." Chapter 79. I am a barbecue genius. There was no grand opening ceremony. The chairs and tables were all new, and everyone consciously helped Xiaoyang and the others move the tables and chairs outside and set up the umbrella. The lights and wiring are all set up. In just a short while, everything outside was arranged. Turn on the light. The next second, the big words Xingyang self-service food restaurant in front of the store lit up. It was getting dark, but it is indeed very lively here. All the ingredients were taken out. There were 3 tables of people in total, with beer, meat skewers and secret seasonings, and a charcoal grill in front of them. Zhang Shangzhu and the other girls wore custom-made black and white clothes with brown aprons, looking neat and tidy. Zhang Shangzhu was a little nervous, but the other girls held their heads high and had smiles on their faces. They have all gotten used to part-time jobs, but Zhang Shangzu is a little nervous. After all, she is a rich girl and it will take some time for her to adapt to the change in identity. Xiaoyang stood in the middle. A red-colored step. Xiaoyang took it and cut it open easily the next second. There was thunderous applause. Good luck with your grand opening. Old Xiao, congratulations on your prosperity. May you be happy and prosperous. Everyone cheered. Xiaoyang smiled and asked someone to take a picture of the scene with their mobile phone. At this time, a girl suddenly said, "By the way, we can post it on WeChat Moments. Maybe there will be a lot of customers tonight." Yes. It would be best if you could post it on the forum in addition to your moments. If people knew there was a pretty waitress like Xiaozu here, they would rush here like crazy. Xiaoyang nodded. That's fine. Of course, except for Xiaoyang, all the brothers present also took out their mobile phones and posted photos on their moments in forums. Okay. Let's get high. Xiaoyang came to Li Ji's table and poured a glass of wine. Brothers. Suddenly, everyone raised their glasses and stood up. Even Zhang Shangzu, who never drinks, couldn't help but pour a glass of wine and raised it up. Cheers. Dry. Everyone was no longer restrained and started their self-service barbecue. In fact, self-service barbecue is not common, especially charcoal barbecue, which is even rarer. Everyone has eaten barbecue and has seen it grilled in other restaurants. But this is the first time I bake it myself. Especially those like Li Ji and others who like to play have already started. It's a good idea, damn. It tastes better when you grill the meat yourself. I haven't grilled skewers myself yet. I'll give it a try. Maybe I can learn a skill and make a living in the future. Everyone laughed. No matter how quiet a man is, he actually likes to be active. When they were young, they could have fun playing with even a piece of mud. As for self-service barbecue, it was even more interesting to them. Everyone started grilling skewers and some even started competing with each other. No, Lao Yu, is this how you grill skewers at home? Please take care of it. It's all burnt. What about your mom? This is called burnt with a hint of yellow, crispy and tasty. You will never be able to learn this technique in your lifetime. For a moment, everyone was immersed in the joy of barbecue, chatting, grilling, and having a great time. Xiaoyang also enjoyed it. But for some reason, Zhang Shangzu and a few other girls always came close to him when the food was done and then sneaked away. After eating, let yourself continue to bake. Speaking of which, Xiaoyang does have a talent for food in comparison. Although Li Ji and his friends roast the food deliciously, the appearance is far inferior to Xiaoyang's. Everyone was having a great time, when suddenly, a series of footsteps were heard. Is this it? Xingyang's self-service. Yes, this is it. Xiaoyang and others looked over and immediately gasped. Why are there so many people? They're not here to smash up the store. He was a little dazed. At this time, everyone also saw Xiaoyang, Zhang Shangzu and others in the crowd. Fuck, it's true. Ziqiusui Zhang is really working as a waiter here. This is too outrageous. Oh my god, I thought it was photoshopped. Damn, it's really Zhang Shangzu. Brothers, the goddess is so beautiful, I'm going to reserve a seat. Xiaoyang and his group then realized that these people were coming for Zhang Shangzu. I have to say, in the opening photo, when Zhang Shangzu's face was turned towards the forum, any male creature would be lying if he didn't feel moved at all. Especially the students from the business school, when they saw Zhang Shangzu, they lead their brothers and rushed over without stopping. My wife is working as a waitress. Damn it, my wife is serving other people. In addition, some boys who were dating at the moment, after seeing the news, immediately said to their female companions, "Bunny, let's eat skewers today, okay?" When Xiaoyang saw these people, he immediately understood. Wow, it looks like Zhang Shangzu's auspicious opening effect has been triggered. All of them sat down. Xiaoyang, as the boss, naturally couldn't sit still any longer and had to stand up to greet the guests. Zhang Shangzu and the others didn't even bother to eat the skewers and hurried back to their posts to work. In fact, it was proved that these people were not here to eat skewers, but to see Zhang Shangzu after they came in. All eyes were on Zhang Shangzu. For a store, this is not good for the long-term development of business. But Xiaoyang knew that his secret barbecue recipe would conquer them. The charcoal grill and meat skewers were placed in front of everyone. Only then did they remember that this was a self-service food restaurant. The theme is barbecue. Suddenly everyone became curious. And then seeing that Li Ji and his group were having a lot of fun, they started to grill as well, no longer paying attention to Zhang Shangzu. You can also help yourself with barbecue. I'm a little worried that I won't bake it well. Try it, I think I actually have a talent for food. I also began to follow Li Ji's example and got busy, gradually beginning to smile. Look at my fish tofu. It's so interesting. How can it expand like this? I'm a little panicked. I'm afraid it will explode, someone said excitedly. Looking at him, he didn't look like he was afraid of the tofu exploding. This kidney is so burnt that it bleeds. Oh my god. Look at my cooking skills, this is what it means to be the king of skewers. As time went by, everyone started to grill happily. And the rich aroma of barbecue immediately filled the air. Come on, look at what I'm baking, take a picture for me. I'm going to post it on WeChat Moments and tell my mom that I've grown up and can cook for myself. Together. There are so many balls are in. We here to see Principal John? Let's eat the skewers first. When you're full, you'll think about sex. You haven't even eaten enough, what are you talking about? Can you please stop spoiling my fun? Slowly everything was baked. Sprinkled with the secret ingredients prepared by Xiaoyang. The aroma of the skewers becomes more intense, and the appearance becomes both beautiful and delicious due to the chemical reaction. Damn, it smells so good. Did I bake this? Some people ate the skewers of meat they had grilled themselves. Fuck, it turns out I'm a barbecue genius. Damn, it's delicious. Come on, guys, try my barbecued skewers. The brother's face was immediately filled with pride. And he sent out what he had grilled. One bite and it's sweet and refreshing. Fuck, this feels so good. Oh my god, if you have something, try mine. I think mine is not bad either. For a moment, the entire store was busy inside and outside, with laughter and joy everywhere. Chapter 80, Profitable Food. Time passed slowly, and everyone enjoyed the food more and more. At this moment, people of all kinds kept coming into the store. Almost all of them were college students from nearby. Some of them came for Zhangshangzu. Some were called over by their brothers. Smelling the fragrance in the air, some people can't help but feel hungry even if they have just finished eating. This barbecue smells so good. No, do they bake all this themselves? Fuck, why am I so hungry all of a sudden after I just finished eating? People flocked into the store. Zhangshangzu stood at the cashier counter with a smile on her face. There are only 6 or 7 employees in the store. All of them girls. There is no choice but for Xiaoyang to participate in the work. Boss, help me get 20 more kebags. Another plate of fish tofu. Here's some kidney. A fish. For a moment, the whole place was filled with shouting. Xiaoyang didn't expect that he would be too busy to handle this. However, since it is a self-service format, many people go to get the ingredients themselves, which is actually not a big deal. The store was booming and was already full of people inside and outside. Seeing this scene, Xiaoyang breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that today's opening was a complete success. After a while, some other students passing by also stopped. At this moment, it is only 8 or 9 o'clock, which is the beginning of the barbecue life. People stopped one after another. What is this, a new store? Why are there so many people? It looks like a self-service barbecue restaurant. I just checked my moments and my brother said the food tastes really good. Is this true or false? Really? Check your own moments. Maybe someone has posted it. Then go try it. More groups of people came into the store. Didn't this just open? Why are there so many people here? Aren't they all agents? There are so many people. Please ask one to show me. There are more and more people. Xiaoyang had no choice but to put out all the tables and chairs. Outside the open-air store, tables and chairs are connected together, which is spectacular. Looking to the side, there were plates piled up like a mountain, and Xiaoyang's face was also full of smiles. But here, there were so many people that there was no room for everyone to sit down. Li Ji and his companions felt a little embarrassed when they saw this. Xiaoyang said he would treat them to dinner, but it would be inappropriate for them to eat here all the time. Everyone finished eating consciously, cleaned up the table, and piled the plates aside. When some people saw this scene, they were stunned. What a high standard! Do you have to clean up after eating skewers outside now? But soon, Li Ji and his group started to busy themselves around, and people only then realized, oh, it turned out that they were helping out in the store. Isn't that just a proxy? Oh shit. You really asked for help. I was fooled. Hey, why did I get fooled? It's so delicious. Why did I get fooled? With the addition of Li Ji and others, the girls felt much more relaxed. By 11 o'clock, there were fewer people. Xiaoyang asked several students on campus to go back. Li Ji and the others were naturally exhausted, so they said hello to Xiaoyang and went back to the dormitory. The remaining free students are seniors who rent houses outside, but they are not in a hurry to leave. In addition, Zhang Shangzu was still in the store at this moment. At this time, her hands never stopped, calculating the income and so on. There were also beads of sweat on his forehead. Xiaoyang took out a soda from the freezer, opened it and placed it in front of Zhang Shangzu. How is it, are you tired? Zhang Shangzu looked up and said with a slight smile. Of course I'm tired. I didn't expect that today, the first day of opening, would have such a large number of customers. For self-service barbecue, the price is calculated based on the number of people. The more people there are, the more money you can make. He looked at Zhang Shangzu and asked, how many customers are there? 2,326 people. Zhang Shengzhu held up her chin and spoke slowly. So many. Although Xiao Yang had been there the whole time, he didn't expect so many people to come. Yes, Zhang Shengzhu smiled. Business was booming, so she was naturally happy for Xiao Yang. But at this time she had a question, that is, how Xiao Yang's barbecue was made. And it tasted much better than other barbecue restaurants. The boys who had come to see Zhang Shengzhu were so busy eating the skewers that they staggered around, arms and shoulders, forgetting their original purpose of coming to visit the school. Today's turnover is 90,714 yuan, Zhang Shengzhu said slowly. So much. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. Because it is a new store. They are already offering discounts, from 50 yuan per person to 39 yuan per person. If business continues to be so hot, this number will only grow. And the wealth created by this store will be incredibly astonishing. Excluding the staff's salaries, ingredients and other costs, the profit is still shockingly high. Okay, Xiaozhu. You should go back and rest first, it's getting late. Xiao Yang glanced outside and felt a little worried again. Let me take you back to school. Okay, Zhang Shengzhu nodded in agreement. The business school was not far from here. Xiao Yang asked someone to watch the store while he and Zhang Shengzhu strolled on the street. Xiaozhu, how do you feel today? Very good, Zhang Shengzhu smiled. She felt that her life was fulfilling. That's good. I was afraid that you would feel wronged, Xiao Yang smiled. In fact, Xiao Yang could tell at a glance that Zhang Shengzhu was not from an ordinary family, but a young lady with a wealthy family background. And she is so beautiful. It is really not easy for her to work like this in such a noisy shop. It can be seen that she does not have any princess syndrome that a rich girl would suffer from. By the way, I haven't thanked you properly for what happened in the police station today, Xiao Yang said worriedly. You also know that the Fang family is not easy to mess with. So why did you help me? Aren't you afraid of offending the Fang family? I'm worried my dad even scolded me, Zhang Shengzhu pouted. Just a scolding, Xiao Yang said with a smile. It looked like Zhang Shengzhu shouldn't be in any trouble. So he didn't have to worry about it. And what does your uncle say? I seem to have heard that his lawyer fees are very high. Forget it, forget it, forget it. You, Ray, welcome you, Ray, my boss after all. I'm afraid you'll deduct my wages. The two were talking and laughing. When he arrived at the school gate, Xiao Yang felt relieved. After sending the person in, he returned to the store. The store's computer records the spending of customers coming into the store. Xiao Yang calculated that, excluding the costs, today's profit was as high as more than 60,000 yuan. And this is because of the opening discount. Damn, it's a huge profit. If we keep going like this, we can complete the task in less than 3 months. Xiao Yang sighed. After tidying up, Xiao Yang closed the shop. His main customers are college students, and he doesn't do business till late, closing on time at 12 o'clock. But now, I can't go back to the dormitory. Xiao Yang thought about it and decided to stay in a nearby hotel for one night. Just then, a car drove over. Someone got out of the car. Xiao Yang looked over and it seemed like he was looking for him. Our boss wants to see you, the other party said. Xiao Yang took a look and smiled. Who is your boss? Fang Jingyang. Chapter 81. Catching an adulterer? Fang Jingyang? Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment, but soon recovered. It's not his fault. In fact, when he heard the name Fang Jingyuan, he didn't know that this person was the famous second young master of the Fang group. Who is he too, Fang Jingyuan? He asked after hesitating. The other party was obviously stunned. In this Jiangdu city, there is actually someone who doesn't know Fang Jingyang's name. Boy, you beat up our Fang family's second young master, and now you want to insult our Fang family's eldest young master. The other party's voice was filled with a hint of anger. He's Fang Jingyuan's brother, Xiao Yang snorted coldly. Is he here to avenge his brother? He shook his head. Sorry, I'm busy. After saying that, Xiao Yang turned around and wanted to leave. After a busy day, to be honest, I still feel a little tired. Especially my arms. After coming out of the police station, Xiao Yang went to the hospital to treat his wound casually. Also, because I worked as a waiter this afternoon, my arm is still aching slightly. The other party obviously didn't expect Xiao Yang to be so disrespectful to the eldest young master of the Fang family, and immediately wanted to go up and arrest him. Xiao Yang frowned slightly, and naturally realized the hand that wanted to grab him. But he just turned his head and raised his hand quickly. The next second, Xiao Yang grasped the opponent's wrist tightly in his hand. What, you want to fight? Xiao Yang added a little more strength. The next second, beads of sweat appeared on the opponent's forehead. As Xiao Yang's strength increased, he grimaced in pain and could hardly stand. It hurts, it hurts. Xiao Yang snorted coldly and shook his hand. The other party immediately took several steps back, clutching his purple-blue wrist and taking several breaths. Xiao Yang didn't even look at him again. He was just a small follower and he was too lazy to bother with him. Originally, because of the incident at the barbecue restaurant, I was in a good mood, but when I heard the names of Fang Jingyang and Fang Jingyuan, I felt even more angry. After 3 years at the University of Finance and Economics, he was about to graduate, but now he was expelled from the school. Even though Xiao Yang had a good attitude, he was full of resentment at the moment. "Wait, you!" the other party shouted quickly. "What? Do you want to be beaten again?" Xiao Yang said impatiently. No, the other party waved his hands quickly. At this moment, his wrist was still aching slightly, so he didn't dare to fight with Xiao Yang. The eldest young master said that if you go to the hospital right now and apologize to the second young master, we can forget about the past. Apologize? Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. Then he chuckled. Idiot. After cursing, Xiao Yang turned away. At this time, in the hospital, Fang Jingyuan was lying on the hospital bed, and next to him was his brother Fang Jingyang. When he comes, I will beat him up severely and make him kowtow and admit his fault. Yes, record the video and show it to King Xuantong. Let her know that she was blind to fall in love with that big idiot. Fang Jingyang frowned and said, Don't mention King Xuantong all the time. Be a little more promising, she's just a woman. After hearing this, Fang Jingyuan nodded quickly. Yeah, I get it's he, as just a woman. Sooner or later, I will let her know how powerful I am. As he was talking, someone walked in from outside the ward. Where are the people? Fang Jingyang asked coldly. He didn't come. What did you say? Xiao Yang didn't come. Did I ask you to invite him? Fang Jingyuan's face suddenly twisted and he asked harshly. Catch him here. Why the hell am I keeping you here for? Fang Jingyuan was extremely angry at this moment. While he was sending someone to bring Xiao Yang over, he had already thought of various ways to insult and torture Xiao Yang. But now you tell me that no one came. Fang Jingyang glanced at Fang Jingyuan, somewhat dissatisfied with his brother's crazy mood. But he didn't say anything. Instead he looked at the person who came. I just asked you to bring someone here, but you can't even do this? I'm sorry, young master, I can't beat him. The other party was terrified and explained hurriedly. I can't beat him, aren't you a special forces soldier? How can you not beat a college student? Before Fang Jingyang could speak, Fang Jingyuan jumped up. I useless thing. Fang Jingyang cursed and kicked him. The man didn't even try to avoid the attack and was kicked hard. What did he say? Fang Jingyuan asked again. He said, What did you say? He said. The man looked up at the two brothers, paused for a long time, and then said, Idiot? Bang! A crisp sound was heard. Fang Jingyang withdrew his hand, and a red slap mark immediately appeared on the man's face. Xiao Yang said so, he replied weakly. Fang Jingyang's face was full of anger. This time, even he himself couldn't help himself. Zhongdu does not allow such an awesome person to exist. The next morning, downstairs of the boys' dormitory, a beautiful figure appeared downstairs. It's still early and the weather is a bit cool. Lin Qiyu was wearing a white coat and she walked into the boys' dormitory with her hands curled up like a little white rabbit. Godmother, here I come. It's Qiyu, the dormitory manager said with a smile on her face. This is a gift for you. I know you work hard, the weather is cold and the climate is dry, which is not good for your skin. Please pay attention to moisturizing. Lin Qiyu took out a bottle of moisturizing cream and handed it to the dormitory manager. The other party immediately smiled and said, Qiyu, you are thoughtful, but I can't have this thing, it looks quite expensive. It doesn't matter, you are my godmother after all. After bribing the dormitory manager, Lin Qiyu went straight to Xiao Yang's dormitory. The dormitory corridors were suddenly filled with crowds of people. Damn it, the goddess is looking for Xiao Yang again. Damn it, did Xiao Yang save the Milky Way in his previous life? How could my wife like him so much? I really want to kill Xiao Yang right now. Go ahead and do it, Haven. You seen the video of the fight outside the medical school? I'm afraid even 10 of you together wouldn't be a match for Xiao Yang. Everyone was talking, sighing, and wailing, but they still made way for Lin Qiyu to pass. Xiao Yang. Lin Qiyu knocked on Xiao Yang's dormitory door. Soon, the door opened and everyone saw Lin Qiyu. They immediately put on their clothes and folded their quilts neatly. Where's Xiao Yang? Lin Qiyu looked at the empty bed and asked curiously. Didn't Xiao Yang tell you? Li Ji was a little surprised. What are you talking about? Lin Qiyu was stunned. He was expelled from school. After a pause, Li Ji finally told the story. As the voice fell, Lin Qiyu's face suddenly turned pale. What's going on? Lin Qiyu asked hurriedly. It's about the fight in front of the medical school. Xiao Yang said the school should announce it today. It's so serious. Lin Qiyu's face was full of disbelief. She quickly took out her cell phone, found Xiao Yang and called him. Xiao Yang, where are you? Lin Qiyu asked hurriedly as Xiao Yang answered the phone. She was extremely worried about Xiao Yang at this moment. After all, for any student, academic study is one of the most important things in life. Think about it, if you study in college for 3 years and then are suddenly expelled from school, and all those 10 years of study would be wasted. How miserable I would be. Lin Qiu's eyes suddenly became a little blurry, as if the same thing happened to herself. Xiao Yang was still confused at this time. I had a tiring day yesterday. The beds in this hotel are so comfortable that my bones felt soft when I woke up. Xiao Yang, where are you? I'm in the hotel. Xiao Yang's mind was still a little unclear, and he responded casually. Which hotel? Lin Qiu continued to ask. Silver what? Silver. Xiao Yang thought about it. But his phone suddenly turned off at this moment. The battery is out. Xiao Yang rubbed his eyes. Never mind, just cover your head and continue sleeping. On the other side, Lin Qiu was confused. What's going on? Countless strange scenes suddenly appeared in her mind. She turned her head to look at Li Ji and the others, frowned slightly and asked, Did you drink yesterday? Yes. Several people nodded. Xiao Yang drank it too? Yeah. Yesterday Xiao Yang opened his business with great success. So of course he had to drink some wine. Lin Qiu's face suddenly turned grim. Expelled from school, drinking and getting drunk. He also suddenly hung up the phone. Could something have happened? She suddenly became a little nervous. And the image of Xiao Yang's lonely back suddenly appeared in her mind. He was holding a bottle of wine and was drunk on the street. Thinking of this, she quickly asked. Silver Moon Resort Hotel. Li Ji immediately slapped his thigh and said. Are you sure it's this? Yes, it's the one with the word silver around here. It's just past the food street, turn left at the traffic light. Lin Qiu immediately understood what was going on and immediately ran downstairs from the dormitory building. The cold wind blew so hard that it hurt her face. But at this moment, Lin Qiu didn't care at all, and kept muttering, Nothing can happen. Xiao Yang, nothing can happen to you. Isn't it just being fired? Don't get into trouble. After praying countless times in her heart, Lin Qiu was exhausted and out of breath, but she did not stop for a moment. She ran straight to the hotel as fast as the wind. This also made people on campus curious. Why did Colonel Lin get up so early for a morning run? The girls couldn't help but sigh. No wonder she is so beautiful and has a good figure. It would be strange if she doesn't have a good figure when she gets up so early in the morning to run in such weather. After running all the way to the Silver Moon Resort Hotel, Lin Qiu ran straight to the counter, gasping for breath. His face pale. Are you checking in or looking for someone? A receptionist asked quickly. Looking for someone. Lin Qiu said, panting tiredly. Xiao Yang. Was this person the one who checked in yesterday? Lin Qiu asked. I'm sorry miss, I can't give you the guest information. But, Lin Qiu's face was full of anxiety and he didn't know what to say for a moment. Seeing Lin Qiu's appearance, the lady at the counter suddenly felt a little distressed. She looked around and whispered, Who are you to this Mr. Xiao Yang? I'm his girlfriend, Lin Qiu replied immediately. The other party immediately understood and looked at Lin Qiu thoughtfully. To be honest, she has been working in the hotel for such a long time. In fact, she often encounters men and women who come to catch cheating. But she is the first one as beautiful as Lin Qiu. As such a beautiful girl at home, he actually came to the hotel to book a room? Seeing the lady at the counter looking absent-minded, Lin Qiu immediately said, I have something urgent to do. Really I have to find him. As she spoke, Lin Qiu's eyes became blurry again and tears were about to flow out. Another poor man. Scumbag. Men, none of them are good. He is not satisfied with having such a girl at home. And he even cheats on her. After thinking about it, she decided to help Lin Qiu. Let me help you take a look. Okay, thank you, please, it's really urgent. Lin Qiu clasped her hands together and said with tears in her eyes. Seeing this scene, the lady at the counter was really a little overwhelmed. Mainly because Lin Qiu looked so cute and pitiful. So lovable. She is so beautiful, she wouldn't lie. The lady at the counter thought for a moment and slid the mouse on the computer to look for the customer's information. According to normal procedures, if you want to find someone, you can call the guest room to talk to the guest. To catch an adulterer, the key is to catch him red-handed in bed. How can we alert the enemy? Found it. Xiao Yang, 21 years old, right? Yes. Lin Qiu nodded repeatedly and stood on tiptoe to put her head into the counter. Sure enough, after seeing the housing information, Lin Qiu also confirmed it. It's on the 7th floor, room 7103. 7th floor. 7th floor, Lin Qiu murmured, and immediately wanted to rush upstairs, etc. What if something really happens to Xiao Yang and he can open the door? After all, he even hung up his own phone. Like cutting your wrists in the bathroom. Or Lin Qiu's imagination ran wild, and countless scenarios flashed through his mind. Miss, can you lend me the spare room card? Lin Qiyu turned her head and blinked. What? No, no, the other party shook his head repeatedly. How about this, I'll leave my ID card with you. As he said that, Lin Qiyu took out his ID card. Seeing Lin Qiyu so anxious, the other party let out a lone sigh, took Lin Qiyu's ID card, took a look at it, and scanned it with the computer. The ID card is authentic and valid. Alright. But don't be impulsive. Remember, when you encounter a problem, communicate well first and think about how to solve it. If it doesn't work, call the police. Don't do anything stupid. Well, thank you. Lin Qiyu took the room card and immediately ran to the elevator, while continuing to pray in her heart, hoping that nothing would happen to Xiaoyang. The lady at the counter looked at Lin Qiyu's back and couldn't help but sigh. Men are all pigs. Such a beautiful girl actually cheated on him. If it were me, I would just do it. As he spoke, the banana he was holding for breakfast was broken into 2 pieces. Chapter 82 Elevator Horror. At this moment, Xiaoyang was still asleep and had no idea that Lin Qiyu had already imagined a bunch of plots in his mind and walked out the door. When he reached the door of the room, Lin Qiyu let out a long sigh and prepared himself mentally. With a click, the door opened. Lin Qiyu glanced at the room and walked in. Then, the corner of her mouth twitched, and she was unable to recover for a while. Xiaoyang was lying on the bed with half of his head covered. After a long while, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, I think I'm overthinking. No, I was overthinking it because I was worried about Xiaoyang. Lin Qiyu bit her red lip slightly and tiptoed, afraid of waking Xiaoyang up. She walked out of the room, patted her chest, and looked much more relaxed. Damn it, I had to worry about him for a while, but he was still sleeping. Lin Qiyu cursed under his breath. After thinking for a while, she turned back to her room, closed the door gently, and then tiptoed back to the bed. Xiaoyang's breathing was steady at this moment and he had fallen into a deep sleep. Lin Qiyu looked at Xiaoyang, who was sleeping quietly at this time, and immediately sat aside, holding his chin and watching. So handsome. If Li Shikai and others were here, they would definitely be frightened by Lin Qiyu's silly face. A prestigious financial university and a cool goddess. At this moment, she was staring at a boy with a silly look on her face. The most important thing was that she drooling. In fact, Xiaoyang originally had a handsome appearance, and with the added charm value from the system, his appearance and charm increased dramatically. In addition, the physical fitness pill also improved Xiaoyang's personal charm a lot. In addition to the improved physical fitness, the whole person is also much more energetic than before. At this moment, he looks neat and tidy, a typical sunny boy. Lin Qiyu watched patiently, with a smile always on his face. She touched the saliva that was about to overflow, and suddenly had a bold idea. Whether it is a boy or a girl, this world is all about looks. Boys like pretty girls, and girls also like handsome boys. Lin Qiyu's face was flushed at this moment. She hesitated for a moment, and suddenly her mind became active. Run to one side, take off your shoes and... He crawled into Xiaoyang's bed. It's so warm. Lin Qiyu ran all the way here and her little face was frozen. After getting into the bed, she naturally felt much warmer. She couldn't help but sniff. It seemed as if the air was full of Xiaoyang's scent. Xiaoyang would never have thought that Lin Qiyu would be so bold as to run into his bed. He continued to sleep peacefully, unaware that there was another person in his bed. I'll leave after sleeping for a while. I must not let Xiaoyang find out. Lin Qiyu thought secretly and buried his head in the quilt. Fortunately, Xiaoyang didn't have the habit of sleeping naked, and he was wearing a t-shirt, which was why Lin Qiyu dared to sleep in. At this moment, her eyes blinked as she looked at Xiaoyang. As Xiaoyang's breathing rose and fell, the little girl also followed suit, trying to synchronize her breathing. I don't know how she found pleasure in it. Her face was always full of smiles. But at this moment, Xiaoyang suddenly turned around. Hot air came, and Xiaoyang's breath blew directly on Lin Qiyu's face. At this moment, Lin Qiyu was stunned and his mind went blank. Xiaoyang's face was very close to her, but he had his eyes closed while she had her eyes open. Lin Qiyu was so frightened that she held her breath and closed her eyes like a frightened little rabbit. Don't wake up. Don't wake up. Lin Qiyu slowly slowed down her breathing rhythm and kept praying in her heart. But her breathing became lighter, and her heart continued to beat violently. Looking at Xiaoyang's face, she felt her heart beating faster and faster. Suddenly an arm drooped down. Lin Qiyu's eyes suddenly widened. Her face turned hot and flushed. Xiaoyang, hug me. Xiaoyang's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a smile. At this moment, Lin Qiyu's heart calmed down. She couldn't help but start studying Xiaoyang's cheek. Aesthetics is personal, but beauty has standards. The front face should have 3 parts and 5 eyes. And the side face should have 4 highs and 3 lows. And this, Xiaoyang almost perfectly meets. Her eyes were tightly closed and her eyelashes were trembling slightly. From the inside out, she is definitely a beauty. This beauty not only refers to girls, but boys as well. Lin Qiu suddenly had an idea. I wonder what it would be like if Xiaoyang wore women's clothes. In his mind, Xiaoyang began to be dressed up by Lin Qiu. If Xiaoyang knew what Lin Qiu was thinking at this moment, he would probably vomit 3 liters of blood. From Lolita skirt to Queen Qiangzam, to ancient-style gauze. Xiaoyang himself didn't know that he could wear so many clothes. As for Lin Qiu, she went straight from the inside out. As if she had started some kind of happy dress-up game in her mind. Find an opportunity to let Xiaoyang wear women's clothes. Lin Qiu's expression brightened. Xiaoyang, you really satisfy all my fantasies of the Prince Charming. Lin Qiu was filled with emotion. Infatuation. Handsome. A gentle and modest gentleman. Brave and decisive. In fight, can protect himself, and has a full sense of security. Almost all the notes agreeing with the idea of a perfect man were also posted on Xiaoyang by Lin Qiu. Maybe it was because the bed was too comfortable, or maybe Lin Qiu had a sense of dependence and security in Xiaoyang's bed. Unconsciously, she felt her eyelids getting heavy. But after a while, Lin Qiu's eyes were already closed. Time passes slowly. At this moment, there were only the slight breathing sounds of 2 people in the room. I don't know how long it took. Xiaoyang yawned drowsily. This pillow is so comfortable. Xiaoyang hugged the pillow hanging on him again, and couldn't help rubbing it. Yeah, very comfortable. Suddenly he seemed to realize something. A stream of hot air sprayed on his face, and Xiaoyang could also feel a slight breathing sound and fragrance. He suddenly opened his eyes. Before he could utter the word trash, Xiaoyang swallowed it back. I must be dreaming. This is too outrageous. Xiaoyang rubbed his eyes, trying to wake himself up. But this didn't seem to be a dream. Everything was so real. He could even feel the softness on his chest and the fragrance of the girl. Looking at Lin Qiu, who was hanging on him like an octopus, Xiaoyang's mind went blank at this moment. Isn't this a hotel? Why is Lin Qiu here? I checked into a hotel with Lin Qiu. Or have I traveled through time and space to the future? And this is some strange warning? Countless possibilities suddenly emerged in Xiaoyang's mind. But none of them matched the current scenario. He swallowed, feeling a little uneasy in some places. Actually, Lin Qiu doesn't seem to be very young. But it be that there is a cushion? Xiaoyang couldn't help but think of some strange things in his mind. But he didn't dare to explore these secrets and could only watch Lin Qiu. If I wake up, I will probably be dead. It shouldn't be. Of course. Xiaoyang turned his head away, trying to cover his ears and steal the bell, and closed his eyes. I don't know anything, I'm still sleeping. His hands stopped moving, and he just hugged Lin Qiu. The main thing is that I don't dare to move. What if Lin Qiu wakes up when this happens? At this moment, Xiaoyang dared not move and could only close his eyes. Lin Qiu is still the same. But at this moment, the legs climbed up restlessly. Time is passing slowly again. Xiaoyang had no intention of sleeping at all at this moment. Suddenly a clear voice rang out in Xiaoyang's mind. Task, Lin Qiu's special request. Task introduction. Lin Qiu wants to see Xiaoyang in women's clothing. Task reward. Business opportunity card 1. Note, randomly obtain high-quality business opportunities. Women's clothing. Oh shit. Xiaoyang was shocked by this task. Fortunately, he knew what was going on, otherwise he would have jumped up. Turtle. Women's clothing. Lin Qiu, what the hell are you thinking about? Is this a task that a human could come up with? Xiaoyang was extremely depressed at the moment. But considering the embarrassing situation, he decided not to jump up. Therefore, no matter how outrageous the mission is, Xiaoyang can only maintain one posture at this moment. Continue pretending to sleep. I don't know how long it took, but it seemed like Lin Qiu's eyelashes moved. However, Xiaoyang was not sure he could only compete with Lin Qiu in endurance. Basically, whoever woke up first would be socially dead. In fact, Lin Qiu had already woken up at this moment. She was already in a state of confusion at this point. She originally wanted to lie down for a while, look at Xiaoyang, and then sneak away before Xiaoyang woke up. But who knew that Xiaoyang's bed was so warm, so comfortable, and so safe? I actually fell asleep. The most important thing is, he actually got himself hung on Xiaoyang. In fact, Lin Qiu has had a habit of sleeping since she was a child. She used to sleep with a doll in her arms when she was young. And when she grew up, she also had various dolls and pillows. So I always liked to sleep with something in my arms. So, without realizing it, she was hugging Xiaoyang tightly like an octopus. Is Xiaoyang awake? Why hasn't Lin Qiu woken up yet? Each of them had their own thoughts and neither dared to move. However, for Xiaoyang, this was too hard to endure. No one is worried, but as long as he is a man, he will probably have some thoughts in his mind. Of course, under normal circumstances, if you have something on your mind, just bear with it and it will pass. But this scene was too much of a test for Xiaoyang. Which cadre can withstand such a test? Finally, suddenly a voice was heard in the air. Lin Qiu's mouth twitched. At the most important moment, she was betrayed by her own belly. They both opened their eyes at the same time, staring at each other. For a moment, a different smell filled the air. The faces of both of them turned red at the same time. But at this moment, no one moved, as if they were still pretending to be asleep. Xiaoyang still hugged Lin Qiu, and Lin Qiu was still holding Xiaoyang. Their legs were entangled and their eyes met. Xiaoyang looked at the girl, feeling her breathing, and for a moment he was tempted. His hands inadvertently added some strength and he hugged her tighter. Lin Qiu looked at Xiaoyang, her face flushed and her expression hot. Suddenly, both of them couldn't help but lean their faces towards each other. Just at this moment, there was a sudden knock on the door. "Excuse me, is the guest here?" In an instant, the two of them separated at the same time. Xiaoyang heard the noise outside the door and quickly took a look at his clothes. "Fortunately, I was dressed neatly. It's just that some parts haven't settled down yet." He hurried to the door. "Here I am." "Okay sir, it's already 10 minutes past the checkout time. If you don't want to stay here any longer, please pack up your belongings as soon as possible." Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and quickly replied, Okay. There was no movement outside the door. Only then did Xiaoyang turn around and glance at Lin Qiu. The latter turned his face away, but his ears were covered with small red spots and his neck was also flushed. Suddenly Xiaoyang couldn't help but laugh. Lin Qiu stuck out her tongue with a hint of joy on her face. In fact, Xiaoyang himself didn't know why he was laughing. If he had to give a reason, it would probably be helplessness. He didn't know why these girls all like to crawl into other people's beds. Lin Qiu actually also learned this skill. He didn't even understand how this girl got into the hotel room. Is it so unsafe to stay in a hotel now? Okay, you must be hungry. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh, looked at the sun outside, and combined with what the hotel staff just said, it should be past 12 o'clock now. Lin Qiu nodded obediently and said nothing. After a moment, she jumped to Xiaoyang, took his arm and smiled. "You." Xiaoyang helplessly poked Lin Qiu's forehead with his finger. The latter smiled innocently, lowered his head and looked shy. Xiaoyang didn't bring anything with him, so he didn't need to pack anything. The two of them walked out of the room and got into the elevator. Wait. Suddenly a voice came. Xiaoyang opened the elevator. "I saw a middle-aged man and a young foreign woman walking in arm in arm." "Thank you, brother." The other party gave a kind smile. Xiaoyang also laughed back. "It's my duty." But at this moment, Xiaoyang discovered that the little girl Lin Qiu had sneaked up behind him. "Katerina, I'm going to take you to meet my daughter today." "Really?" The woman named Catalina suddenly became excited. But soon, she looked a little disappointed again, and said with a thick foreign accent, "But will your daughter accept me?" "Yes." "Really?" Catalina's face was full of excitement. "Don't worry. My daughter is very well behaved. She is in a nearby school. Now it's time for dinner, we can go see her together," said the man with a smile. "Yeah." Catalina nodded repeatedly, then frowned and asked, "Man, what should I call your daughter?" The man thought for a moment and said, "Her name is Lin Qiu. Just call her Xiaoyi." The voice fell. In the elevator, Xiaoyang stood there in shock, his face twitching. Isn't this a coincidence, isn't this? Now, a girl also named Lin Qiu is right behind me. Xiaoyang was confused at this time. I was in the hotel elevator with a girl and I ran into her father. What to do? This is a damn life-threatening question. Elevator horror. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and reached out to move Lin Qiu further in. Chapter 83 Safety Measures. The elevator reached the first floor. Xiaoyang and Lin Qiu were both in perfect harmony. They waited until the man and woman got out of the elevator before they walked out. At this moment, Lin Qiu was still huddled behind Xiaoyang. But half of her little head exposed, her black eyes were moving around as she looked around. "It's okay, I can't see you." Xiaoyang patted Lin Qiu's little head and couldn't help laughing. "How come it's like having an affair?" The two walked to the hotel lobby. At this moment, Lin Qiu's father had already walked out of the door. Lin Qiu finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, a voice came from behind. Beauty. At this moment, Lin Qiu and Xiaoyang's eyes were focused on the man and his wife. And they didn't pay any attention at all. MSL Lin Qiulin. The sound got louder. Xiaoyang and Lin Qiu both turned around and found that it was the young lady who they had mortgaged their ID cards to this morning who came over. Just at this moment, two men walked in from the door. "I say, you are really something, women just like to lose things." He cursed in a low voice, but was suddenly stunned. "Xiaoyu. Dad." Lin Qiu lowered his head, not daring to raise it. Xiaoyang was also petrified at this moment, feeling extremely panicked. 10 minutes later. In a coffee shop. Now the four looked at each other. Xiaoyang sat there, feeling quite uncomfortable looking at the man in front of him. He felt a little numb. Although nothing real happened between him and Lin Qiyu. They were caught by her father when they came out of the hotel together. If there is any definition of social death, that's probably it. On the side, Lin Qiyu was also holding Xiaoyang's arm, biting her red lips lightly, her black eyes rolling around in a dim way, not knowing what she was thinking. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lin Hanwen, and I'm Lin Qiyu's father. It wasn't as angry as I had imagined. Before sitting down, Xiaoyang must have imagined the anger of having his cabbages pushed away. But at this moment, Lin Hanwen was looking at the two of them with a smile. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh, then quickly stood up, bent down and stretched out his hand. Hello uncle, my name is Xiaoyang. That's a good name. Lin Hanwen smiled and shook hands. Dad, why are you here? Lin Qiyu also mustered up the courage to look at Lin Hanwen at this moment. I just came back from the United States. The domestic economic situation is relatively good now. I plan to return to the country to develop and come to see you by the way. Lin Hanwen forced a smile. Xiaoyang was a little surprised. What kind of father-daughter relationship is this? Lin Hanwen hugged his female companion, glanced at Lin Qiyu with a smile, and introduced her. My daughter Lin Qiyu, pretty, isn't she? Beautiful. Katrina, my girlfriend, will probably be Mrs. Lin in a few days. Lin Hanwen continued to introduce her with a hearty smile. Hello, Lin Qiyu smiled, as if he was used to it. Hello, Shuo. Katrina is only a few years older than you. If we call her aunt, she'll sound old. If we call her sister, the generations will be messed up. Lin Hanwen smiled as he thought for a moment. So, Shuo, we should just call her Katharina. We are very casual and just have fun. Right, dear? As he said this, Lin Hanwen looked at Katharina with deep affection. After he finished speaking, Xiaoyang was confused. This? He thought that he was caught by Lin Hanwen. But looking at this scene, it seemed that Lin Qiyu caught Lin Hanwen. It seems that at this moment, no one thinks about the hotel. We are going to take wedding photos in today's Shuoi. You have been here all the time. Do you have any good recommendations for wedding photos? Xiaoyang, who was standing aside, seemed to feel a little confused. Why does the plot feel a bit confusing? The father asked his daughter to help him find a place to take wedding photos. Katrina also said, Harry always said that he would take me back to where he grew up. He said that he couldn't forget his hometown even after wandering around. So we decided to come back and have the wedding here. Yes, it's still better in China, Lin Hanwen said with a smile. At this moment, Lin Qiyu was not so reserved anymore. He grinned with his little tiger teeth showing and held up his cup of coffee. Dad, congratulations on finding true love. Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment. The daughter congratulated her father and wished him to find true love? Why does the painting style feel a bit weird? Xiaoyang let out a long sigh. He had to admit that he still didn't understand the relationship between this father and daughter. But after thinking about it, he decided to do the same as Lin Qiyu and hold up his coffee cup. Congratulations to Uncle Lin for finding true love. Thank you. Lin Hanwen smiled and took a sip of coffee, saying, but let's not finish this coffee. At this point, Lin Hanwen suddenly looked at Xiaoyang and said with a smile, Xiaoyang, is there anyone in your family who has been divorced? Such as grandparents, parents? When the voice fell, Xiaoyang was stunned. This opening was something he had never thought of and was indeed a bit tricky. Lin Qiyu was also in tears and laughed while holding Xiaoyang's hand, whispering, my parents divorced when I was very young, so I am more sensitive to this. As she spoke, she rolled her eyes at Lin Hanwen and said, Dad, can you please ask some normal questions? Lin Hanwen smiled and said, Xiaoyang, don't get me wrong, our family situation is rather special, and I tend to be quite straightforward. It's okay. Xiaoyang laughed repeatedly. At the same time, I felt a lot of emotions in my heart. I didn't expect that Lin Qiyu's family situation would be like this. Seeing that she was so cute and generous, I thought she came from a very happy family, but I didn't expect such a thing to happen. Xiaoyang had no intention of lying, so he smiled and replied, no, my family is fine, there's nothing like that. Lin Hanwen also smiled and said, it's best if there is no one. But you, Shuoi, you haven't even gotten married yet. But you're already turning your elbow outward. No way. Lin Qiyu's voice was as small as a mosquito. Although she said this, her eyes were full of joy. Xiaoyang, how old are you? 21, Xiaoyang said with a smile. He is the same age as Shuoi. Lin Hanwen said thoughtfully. Yeah, we're in the same grade at school. How long have you been dating? Xiaoyang was stunned. How long have you been dating? Have you ever dated Lin Qiyu? Lin Qiyu glared at Lin Hanwen. Don't get me wrong. I just want to know how you have come to this point. He glanced at the hotel across the street. The words fell. We are all adults, so we naturally know what Lin Hanwen means. For a moment, Lin Qiu's face was covered with blood, making her look extremely cute. Xiaoyang waved his hands quickly. Uncle Lin, you misunderstood, we are not dating? After the words fell, Lin Hanwen was shocked. Not dating? Misunderstanding. It's all misunderstanding. Xiaoyang found that he couldn't explain it clearly. We came out of the hotel together, so there could be no misunderstanding. Well, Xiaoyang held his forehead with his hand, feeling a little confused. This is really beyond any argument. What he didn't expect was that Lin Hanwen just frowned. Are all you young people like this now? You're more open than the United States. Xiaoyang was stunned again. No, Uncle Lin, we haven't reached that stage yet. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and explained quickly. Lin Hanwen glanced at Lin Qiu. Lin Qiu just nodded shyly. Forget it, you young people all have your own ideas. But remember, you are still in school, you must take safety measures. Understand? And safety measures. Xiaoyang was petrified again. Lin Qiu hugged Xiaoyang's arm and murmured, Dad, what are you talking about? I'm doing this for your own good. Lin Hanwen sighed. Xiaoyang was suddenly speechless. Alright. After chatting for a while, there was no sign of displeasure on Lin Hanwen's face. This has refreshed Xiaoyang's three views. When they were almost done talking, Lin Hanwen looked at Lin Qiu and said, Shuo, Dad will settle down in Jiangdu from now on if you want to see him. Just come directly. Okay, Lin Qiu nodded. By the way, I have a meeting to attend this afternoon, you guys can have your fun. I'm leaving first. As he said that, Lin Hanwen was about to stand up, but he thought about it and looked at Lin Qiu again. By the way, Shuoi, don't tell your mother about my return. Yeah, Lin Qiu nodded. By the way, are you short of money recently? How about Daddy give you some change? Your mother's money is someone else's. After all. No need, Dad. I have money. Lin Qiu pouted. It's okay, Dad makes money for you anyway. Lin Hanwen fiddled with his phone and said with a smile. I've transferred 5 million to you, tell Dad when you're done. Okay, Lin Qiu nodded. This scene also stunned Xiaoyang. 5 million. Small change. Oh my god, Lin Qiu is really a little rich woman. No, this is not a small amount if you have your own system. You will be exhausted from fiddling with all kinds of things. But it's only around a few thousand. Lin Qiu's change. A dozen of it is worth several million? Lin Hanwen is gone. From beginning to end, the scene that Xiaoyang imagined never occurred. For example, an irritable old father would be furious when his little jacket was worn by someone else. Lin Qiu looked at Xiaoyang with a smile and said helplessly, My father is like this. Really? Xiaoyang was still a little confused. Well, my parents divorced when I was a kid, and my dad went abroad. So I lived with my mom. Maybe it's because Dad has been abroad for too long. So his personality is a little weird, Lin Qiu said slowly. It's indeed a bit strange, Xiaoyang agreed. At this point, Lin Qiu suddenly remembered something and looked at Xiaoyang and said, By the way, Xiaoyang, did they ask you to pay for the car you smashed yesterday? How much does it cost? Tell me and I can help you. My father just gave me 5 million. Xiaoyang waved his hands quickly and said with a smile, Don't worry, I have taken care of all those things. Besides, that's the money your father gave you. What are you thinking? Do you really want to support me? Is that okay? Originally, Xiaoyang was just joking, but who would have thought that Lin Qiu's expression suddenly brightened after hearing it? And she looked at Xiaoyang with wide eyes. Xiaoyang covered his head and felt a little dizzy. Does Lin Qiu really want to keep me as a supporter or what? The key is that this soft rice not only looks delicious, it seems to taste even better. What are you thinking about? Xiaoyang knocked on Lin Qiu's little head with a smile. The latter covered his head and said cutely, I'm serious. Xiaoyang, I'm still very rich. My father often gives me change. And I have saved a lot of money. It's enough for us to do nothing and eat, drink and have fun for the rest of our lives. Xiaoyang was speechless. And Lin Qiu opened his phone and took a look at the text message that had just arrived. A series of numbers. Xiaoyang was directly hit. This balance. 10 million? It seems to be more than that. It must be in billions. Small change. He gasped immediately. Is this the rich woman? At this moment, a pop-up window suddenly popped up on Lin Qiu's phone. Lin Qiu took a look and saw that it was a voice. There was nothing blocking the view at the moment, so she just turned on the external speaker. Be sure to take safety measures and don't become a mother too early. The voice belongs to Lin Hanwen. Xiaoyang immediately looked away. I didn't hear anything. Lin Qiu's cheeks turned red all the way to her ears. She took out her cell phone and quickly called. Dad. We really didn't do anything. After a while, another voice message came. Okay, I get it, but if Xiaoyang strongly requests it, You must also take safety measures, remember? I see. This time, Lin Qiyu simply stopped typing and sent a voice message directly. At this time, Xiao Yang pretended to be daydreaming and looked at the scenery around him. Turning back, I saw that Lin Qiyu's face was extremely red. Xiao Yang. What's wrong? Xiao Yang pretended to know nothing. If you don't take safety measures in the future, I will beat you to death. Lin Qiyu hugged Xiao Yang's arm tightly, bit her lips slightly, and her cheeks were like ripe peaches. Xiao Yang was slightly stunned. And then the corner of his mouth twitched. Why the safety measures? I didn't understand. Stop talking nonsense. Am I that kind of person? If. It would definitely be best to go straight to the point. But if you insist. Anyway, I finally got through this mission of being caught by my father-in-law in the hotel safely. No, damn it, how could he be the father-in-law? Xiao Yang wanted to smash his head to pieces to figure out what was inside and why he thought of this. Lin Qiyu looked at Xiao Yang in a daze and couldn't help but hum and whispered. Bah, what? Just listen to me. I don't want a baby. How come it's a baby? Xiao Yang felt like his head was a mess like paste. He quickly stopped the topic and rubbed Lin Qiyu's little head. Okay, let's eat something and go back to school now. Yeah, Lin Qiyu nodded obediently with a sweet smile on her face. Chapter 80 for the villa is occupied. After sending Lin Qiyu back, Xiao Yang returned to the dormitory. It wasn't until after lunch that the school notice came out. In addition to the midday broadcast, the disciplinary notice was also posted on the bulletin board. Dismissed. Fuck, Xiao Yang was fired. No way. Xiao Yang is quite famous in the school. Many people know him and also know that there is something unclear between Lin Qiyu and Xiao Yang. Although they said that they would never forgive Xiao Yang for stealing their wife. In fact, Xiao Yang was famous for his good relationships with people. And everyone was just lip service. Seeing this announcement, many people were stunned. In addition, the girls also felt regretful. Xiao Yang's performance in yesterday's video was so outstanding that many girls secretly downloaded the video and licked the screen in their beds at night. After all, in addition to being handsome, Xiao Yang's fighting ability is enough to charm everyone. Some of the boys regarded Xiao Yang as a role model. And they were actually sad to see this announcement. Damn it, the most powerful man in the University of Finance and Economics was fired. So, isn't it the same as if our school has been taken away by people from outside the school? Append on. It's fine that someone from the same school seduced my goddess. But now he's an outsider, one IMA. At this time, the same thing happened in Lin Qiyu's dormitory. All the girlfriends immediately asked about Xiao Yang's situation. Xiao Yu, what's going on with Xiao Yang? Yeah, how can a school be like this? They expel you just like that. Didn't you go to see Xiao Yang this morning? How is he doing? Is he feeling very uncomfortable? Of course. It's hard for everyone. I'm already a junior in college and will graduate soon. All my previous efforts have been wasted and my education level will remain at the level of high school. Xiao Yu, you were gone for so long today you went to comfort Xiao Yang, right? How is he now? The women asked one after another. Perhaps because of Lin Qiyu, the girls around Lin Qiyu are now becoming more and more fond of Xiao Yang. Especially after yesterday's video and the song Sunny Day. If it weren't for Lin Qiyu's brilliance, they knew there was no chance. Otherwise they would probably be the ones running into the boys' dormitory every day. Lin Qiyu pouted. To comfort. But who knew that while comforting her, they ended up falling into the same bed? Thinking of this, Lin Qiyu's face suddenly turned red. Xiao Yang's bed is so comfortable that I can sleep soundly even if I'm not sleepy. No, Shiwo, you're blushing like a bubble teapot. Is Xiao Yang feeling very uncomfortable now? What will he do after he drops out of school? Will he go back to his hometown or something? The girls asked one after another. Xiao Yang, he's fine. Perhaps because she saw that Xiao Yang was in good condition today. Lin Qiyu's face was also full of joy. It would be strange if it's okay. Maybe he feels okay because you are with him, he probably doesn't want you to see him sad. Li Shaikan added. Yeah? Lin Qiyu was slightly stunned. Thinking of how Xiao Yang always smiled when he saw her and liked to rub her little head. Lin Qiyu couldn't help but add a lot of images to her mind. Maybe. It's okay, he's in good condition now. Lin Qiyu waved his hand. I thought secretly in my heart. I think the good condition is definitely fake. After all, how can you find a job when you go out with only a high school diploma? If he can't find a job, I can support him. Lin Qiyu thought for a while and said with his chin in his hand. The girls looked at Lin Qiyu. There was no words for a moment. Excuse me. Goodbye. Good fellows, I worried about you and you fed me dog food. Seeing the girls' attitudes, Lin Qiyu couldn't help but giggle. I don't know if the money is enough. If it's not, I should ask my dad for more change next time. Lin Qiyu thought to himself. I just wonder how Lin Hanwen would feel if he knew that the change he gave to Lin Qiyu was saved by Lin Qiyu to support Xiao Yang. At this time, Xiao Yang was packing clothes and belongings in the dormitory. After all, I have lived in the dormitory for 3 years, so I still feel a little reluctant to leave. Old Xiao, come and see us when you have time. Don't worry, I'm just nearby. And the food store is still open over there, Xiao Yang said with a smile. But brother. Several people patted Xiao Yang on the shoulder. Boys, aren't that pretentious? After packing his things, Xiao Yang walked out of the dormitory directly, pulling his suitcase and carrying his backpack. Fortunately, there was a big villa for the mission. Naturally, Xiao Yang didn't need to think about where to live. After returning to Jiangdu, Xiao Yang had not had time to see his big villa. Now he could move in directly. Master Yuan Lu Xingfu Community. Xiao Yang got on a taxi. This place is not far away. Xiao Yang took a car and arrived at the destination in just over 10 minutes. Just by looking at it from the outside, Xiao Yang couldn't help but sigh. Almost all the houses inside are small single-family villas. There are no tall buildings nearby. There is a lake not far away. And there are lush trees and green willows nearby, creating a pleasant scenery. Rich people still know how to have fun. No matter what I am like now, I can barely be considered a rich man. Xiao Yang smiled. The security guard of the community did not make things difficult for Xiao Yang. After Xiao Yang took out the property certificate, he respectfully invited him in and pointed out the area where the villa was located. Xiao Yang was just walking leisurely. Almost all the cars passing by are luxury cars. That's it. Xiao Yang arrived outside a villa, took a close look at the house number, and confirmed it with the property certificate repeatedly. This is it. This is a 4-story villa in European style. In addition to the villa, there is also a small courtyard with 2 lush green trees planted in the courtyard. There is also a swing and a rocking chair under the trees. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. I didn't expect it to be decorated so exquisitely. He was just about to go in when a burst of laughter came from the room. Xiao Yang shielded the sunlight with his hands and looked over, only to see someone walking around in the house through the floor-to-ceiling window. Did I take the wrong path? Xiao Yang was a little surprised. He glanced at the property certificate in his hand. There is no problem at all. Just then, someone came over. Who are you? You can enter here casually. The man looked at Xiao Yang suspiciously, but his attitude was still respectful. After all, this is a wealthy area. Especially young people like this, who might have a strong background and are not easy to mess with. Seeing that the visitor was quite respectful, Xiao Yang smiled and said, "Hello, I'm the owner of this place." The other party was obviously stunned. "Are you the owner of Villa B23? Villa B23 is the villa in front of you." Xiao Yang nodded. "That's right." Just as he was speaking, at this moment, a car came rushing over and stopped directly in front of the door. "Who are you?" A man in his 30s got out of the car. But before he could say anything, he saw the middle-aged man push the door open and walked in. Xiao Yang was stunned. He was just about to follow in to see what was going on. But he was unexpectedly kicked out by the other party. This is a restricted area for the crew, no outsiders allowed. The crew's important area. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. His face suddenly darkened. "What did you say? As the owner of this house? How come I don't know about this crappy crew area?" Xiao Yang was furious and his voice became heavier. But who knew that the middle-aged man didn't even look at him, but waved his hand and said disaffably, "Young man, stop it. You can chase stars, but you have to wait until the filming is over. Okay, let's go back first." As he said that, he wanted to close the door. "I'll say it again, I'm the owner of this place." Xiao Yang held the door with one hand, his voice becoming a little deeper. "Why are you making such a fuss? If you don't get out of here, I'll call security. Go ahead and scream." Xiao Yang's face was gloomy. He pushed the other person away and walked into the house on his own. After walking into the house, Xiao Yang discovered that there were many people in the house, some of whom were holding a lot of filming equipment. The floor was covered with footprints, and Xiao Yang's face became increasingly gloomy. When he walked in, he saw that many of the wooden stairs were damaged, and various furniture and supplies were also destroyed. The kitchen was in a mess. "System, is this my house?" Xiao Yang's face became increasingly ugly. Confirmed. This is the host reward house. Transferring photos of the host's original house. At this moment, everyone in the villa was still full of doubts. Who is this? Is he the special guest invited by the director of this episode? No, but he looks very handsome. I haven't seen him before. Did he just debut? I don't think so. Look how ugly his face is. Maybe he's here to cause trouble. I hope there won't be any trouble. At this time, a middle-aged man with a big belly also came over. When he heard the discussions around him, his face looked extremely ugly. He quickly stepped forward to stop Xiao Yang and scolded him. "Who are you? Who let you in? This is a filming site. Did they let you come here to make trouble? What crew are you in charge of?" Xiao Yang looked at the other person with a gloomy face. I'm the director of this crew. After saying that, he looked outside. Xiaoxiang, where the hell are you? Here I come. Someone ran over. This was the person who had just stopped Xiaoyang at the door. You don't want to do this anymore, right? Let anyone in. Yes, yes. Xiaoxiang nodded quickly and looked at Xiaoyang. Get out of here and don't make trouble here. As soon as he finished speaking, the people came over. What did you say? Xiaoyang laughed instead of getting angry. Today really broadened my horizons. It's my own house. But someone wants to kick me out. You came here to cause trouble, didn't you? Throw him out. Suddenly two people reached out to Xiaoyang from the left and right, trying to subdue him. Xiaoyang did take a half step back and dodged it. I'm the owner of this place. Do you know what you are doing? Xiaoyang's face became even angrier. Are you the owner of this place? The director was stunned and looked at Xiaoxiang on the side in confusion. What's going on? Director Li, we rented this villa through formal channels. If this guy is really the owner, how could he not know about this? Judging from his appearance, he must be here to make trouble. Xiaoxiang said with embarrassment. Hearing this, Xiaoyang shook his head and said, I don't know who rented this house to you, but I have never rented this house. After hearing what Xiaoyang said, Director Li's face became much gloomier. He glanced at Xiaoxiang standing beside him. I'll give you 5 minutes to solve it. If you can't solve it, and you have to go and explain it to Mr. Fang in person. Xiaoxiang nodded repeatedly, but seeing that Xiaoyang still didn't move, his patience was exhausted. He raised his eyes and gestured. On the side, a few more people came up and surrounded Xiaoyang. Do you want to get out of here on your own, or do we throw you out? Seeing this, Xiaoyang sneered and said, I originally thought that if you could tell me what's going on, it would be fine. But now, it seems I don't need to waste my breath. Seeing Xiaoyang still like this, Xiaoxiang waved his hand and said, throw this kid out? Suddenly several people rushed towards Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang knew that it was no longer possible to reason with them. So he kicked the person who was rushing towards him. Bang! Suddenly, a person who was coming towards him was kicked far away. Xiaoyang had no intention of stopping there. He rushed forward with a punch. A punch was as fast as the wind in just a moment. The opponent only felt a glance, and the next second, he felt a sharp pain in his chest, and the whole person was knocked away like a kite with a broken string. Xiaoyang retracted his body, no longer planning to hold back. One punch and one move take only a few moves. The few people who originally wanted to throw him out all lay on the ground shouting. Everyone was stunned by this scene. These people are not ordinary people. They are all from the martial arts industry and have some martial arts skills. In addition to being stand-ins, they also occasionally ensure the safety of the crew and serve as the crew's thugs. But who would have thought? Such a small number of people were all knocked to the ground in just a few seconds. When I looked again, I couldn't even stand up. At this time, Xiaoxiang on the side was numb. The director was also stunned. Logically speaking, as a director in the entertainment industry, he should know something. For example, some celebrities do have kung fu skills. But this is so dazzling that all the kung fu stars seem so weak. He doesn't need any wires, he can kick someone 4 or 5 meters away with one kick. And those male and female stars were obviously frightened as well. Originally, he was waiting to see Xiaoyang make a fool of himself. But at this moment, he was stunned and didn't dare to say a word. Do you still think I'm being unreasonable? Xiaoyang glanced at everyone. What on earth are you going to do? The director was angry and frightened. But he had no choice but to ask. I've made it very clear what I'm going to do. Report to the police station, the director said coldly. The assistant at the side immediately took out the mobile phone. He glanced at Xiaoyang, but found that the other party was not panicking at all. Hurry up and report, I'll be waiting, Xiaoyang said. Walking to the door, closing it, and slowly saying, no one can leave until someone from the police station comes. As soon as the words fell, everyone was stunned. No one wants to leave? What the hell? They panicked and wanted to say some harsh words. But when they saw the martial artist from the crew still lying on the ground, they gave up immediately. Chapter 85 Damage Value. Xiaoyang took a chair and sat directly at the door. He frowned slightly and looked around. This is my first house. But I didn't expect it to be ruined like this by these so-called stars. He asked the system to display the photos of his house, and looked through them one by one, but his brows became more and more furrowed. Are these wines originally in this house? Xiaoyang asked the system. In the photo, bottles of expensive-looking wine are neatly placed on the wine rack. Confirmed, yes, all the items in the photo were originally accessories given to the house by the system. Can you give me a list? Xiaoyang thought about it and put forward his request to the system. Host, please wait. Although Xiaoyang's system was not very reliable when issuing tasks, its efficiency is now surprisingly fast. By the time Xiaoyang came to his senses, the system had already made a list. These are all things that were originally delivered with the house. As for the origin, Xiaoyang doesn't need to care about it. The things sent by the system will have a legitimate channel and there will not be any clues. Simmons mattress imported from the United States. Reference price 50,000 yuan. Ladder made from South China Sea pineapple. Producing Fira red wine in 1982. Lantan imported lighting. The more Xiaoyang looked around, the more shocked he became. He originally thought it was just a villa. But now I see that this is not just a villa. Everything here can be said to be something that an ordinary person may have to work hard all his life to afford. Just these dozen bottles of red wine are already sky prices. But when Xiaoyang took a quick glance just now, he found that half of the wine rack was empty. Then he looked at the tables in front of those male and female stars, and saw empty bottles lying across them. That's all. The key point is that a lot of alcohol was spilled on the table. And there was a strong smell of alcohol on the ground. Upon closer inspection, one bottle was smashed directly onto the ground. Besides that, this table. It is also of great value. If the house here is the most expensive mansion in Zhengdu, and the things in this house are enough to buy two more such mansions. While Xiaoyang was surprised, his face was also full of anger. Although he is not a heavy drinker, he likes to drink. After so much time, it was ruined by this group of people. Looking at the way this filming was done, Xiaoyang had already imagined the scene in his mind. This crew used their own wine to film the show. Just smash it if you say so. He was already quite angry, and when he looked at this group of people who were still sitting there quietly, as if they were really waiting for the police station to come and administer justice, Xiaoyang suddenly became furious. He thought about it, took out his phone and made a call. Hello? Are you fourth Uncle Zhang? I'm Xiaoyang. Although Zhang Yichen was only a few years older than Xiaoyang still maintained some respect after all. He was the elder and he was the one who rescued him from the police station yesterday. Xiaoyang, what's the matter? Uncle, a group of thieves broke into my house and damaged a lot of my things. Oh, but I'm a lawyer, not a policeman. Not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He thought that what Xiaoyang was talking about was a small matter of a group of thieves breaking into a house. If that was the case, what did it have to do with him as a lawyer? He was neither a detective nor a patrol officer. The key is that the value of the things I damaged should be over 100 million. And now these people are under my control. Zhang Yichen wanted to say something, but after hearing Xiaoyang talk about the value of these things, he immediately asked without saying anything, "Where are you?" "No, B23, Xingfu Community," Xiaoyang said. "Xingfu Community. Okay, I'll be there right away, I live here too." Xiaoyang was a little surprised. This was quite a coincidence. At this moment, everything Xiaoyang said naturally fell into the ears of everyone without missing a word. At this moment, the director was so frightened by Xiaoyang's words that he broke out in a cold sweat. "Value. Hundreds of millions." He gasped, his face full of disbelief. He glanced at Xiaoyang and scanned him from beginning to end. "No, that's impossible, he must be bluffing me. How could this kid be the owner of this villa when he is dressed like this? Besides, even if it was true, how could I have damaged things worth hundreds of millions?" Xiaoyang hung up the phone and looked at the few people with a somewhat cold expression. At this time, the director's eyelids were twitching violently. Although in the entertainment industry, hundreds of millions don't seem to be too much. But that is not his money. For example, this TV series that he produced himself is said to have cost hundreds of millions of dollars. But in fact, there is not that much money, and all the money belongs to the investors and has nothing to do with me. At this moment, a voice was heard outside. Xiaoyang looked over and saw a luxury sports car stopped. A young man got out of the car. It was Zhang Yichen. Xiaoyang opened the door and gestured quickly. "Here it comes." At this time, Zhang Yichen was also a little surprised. He thought Xiaoyang was just an ordinary family, but he didn't expect that he lived in Xingfu Community. Moreover, this villa was in the most luxurious area and not everyone could afford it. In other words, even if you have money, you cannot afford it. These houses are only available to people with a certain status. Zhang Yichen put on gold-rimmed glasses and his face looked calm. "Xiaoyang, what happened?" Zhang Yichen just entered the room and was suddenly startled. "So many people. What are you doing? Are you having a party?" Xiaoyang didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and explained, "What kind of crew are these? I wasn't at home during this period. And they broke into my house, saying they were filming a TV series. I came in and they chased me away, they even sent people to throw me out." Xiaoyang looked at the martial artists who had been helped up but were still groaning on the bed. The director, including all the crew members, were stunned for a moment. "What the fuck? Aren't you hitting us?" But what he said seemed to be right. "I did send people to throw him out, but they didn't throw him out. Instead, you knocked us all down." Zhang Yichen was stunned when he saw the dozens of people coming. "You mean, you have them all under control?" "I guess so." Xiaoyang took a look and in his opinion, even if dozens of people came up together, they probably wouldn't be able to hurt a single hair on his head. Seeing Xiaoyang chatting with the young man, the director's mind became active. He didn't know Xiaoyang's identity, but he knew that if he angered Xiaoyang, he would probably end up like these martial artists. But this young man looks like someone who is easy to talk to. He is well-mannered and at least a polite person. He quickly went up to her, smiled and stretched out his hand, saying, "Hello, I'm a director. This is my crew. I guess you must have heard of my name. My name is Xu Fushen." Xu Fushen? Hello. Xu Fushen felt relieved when he saw Zhang Yichen being so understanding. He smiled and said, "I don't know if this young man is the owner of this villa, but we rented this villa through formal channels for filming. Is there any misunderstanding here?" "Really?" Zhang Yichen retracted his gaze, still with a smile on his face. But Xu Fushen felt that there was something wrong with this smile. "Let's not talk about whether it's a misunderstanding or not. First of all, where is your lease contract? Oh, and who did you rent the house from? Is the contract legal? What does the person who signed the contract have to do with the house? We'll do it one by one," Zhang Yichen said with a smile. "Who are you?" Hearing Zhang Yichen's words, Xu Fushen knew that this person was up to no good, and asked hurriedly, "I'm a lawyer, my name is Zhang Yichen. Mr. Xiaoyang, the owner of this house, is my client." Zhang Yichen. Xu Fushen's face suddenly changed. He may not know who Xiaoyang is, but he has heard of Zhang Yichen, the most famous lawyer in the entire Jie province. It can be said that if you can't win the lawsuit that Zhang Yichen helps you here, then basically no one can help you. The most important thing is that Zhang Yichen is not just a lawyer. Their entire Zhang family also has significant influence in Jiangdu City and even Jie province. And being able to invite Zhang Yichen to sue, and this young man might really be the owner of the house, and a very powerful owner at that. Xu Fushen was a little dazed at the moment. He glared at Xiaoshang, then hurriedly trotted towards Xiaoyang. He was calm and composed just now, but now his face was full of smiles. He looked at Xiaoyang in a flattering manner and said, "I don't know what you call me, there must be some misunderstanding here." "Misunderstanding?" Xiaoyang glanced at him inferently. "Yes, it must be a misunderstanding," Xu Fushen nodded repeatedly. Xiaoyang smiled, glanced at the wine cabinet, and walked over. "Do you know what kind of wine these are? Are you telling me now that it's a misunderstanding?" Xiaoyang picked up a bottle of wine, and looked at it with some regret. Xu Fushen was stunned. The stars also looked at the red wine in their glasses in confusion. What wine? It seemed to taste okay, but it wasn't an expensive bar, and they couldn't afford to pay for the tens of thousands of dollars a bottle. However, Zhang Yichen also came over at this moment, took the red wine from Xiaoyang's hand and started to look at it. This wine? Zhang Yichen's pupils suddenly dilated, filled with astonishment. This is the real 1980 to Lafite, and it is the best quality one produced by the Bordeaux winery. It is a red wine that is in short supply on the market, Zhang Yichen said in astonishment. He is also a wine lover. In fact, many of the 1980 to Lafite wines on the market are fake. Some are even Lafite, but the year is wrong. But the wine in this bottle is definitely the most perfect Lafite. Lafite of the same year is also divided into different quality levels. The batch on this wine cabinet is definitely the best quality and most expensive Lafite. On the side, Xu Fushen was also stunned. 1980 to Lafite. Even if you have never eaten pork, you have always seen a pig run. Lafite of this year is expensive to begin with, and according to Zhang Yichen, it is the most expensive on the market, and it has a price that cannot be ignored. And they used 3 bottles of red wine just to smash them on the ground. There are also some open for celebrities to drink and have fun. Xiaoyang shook his head, looked at the broken bottle on the ground, picked up a piece of it, and handed it to Zhang Yichen. "This is the limited edition from 1978. You can't buy it even if you have money." Zhang Yichen looked astonished. He was a wine lover, and he was stunned when he saw the broken wine bottle on the ground. At that time, the entire winery produced only 2 cases of this wine, which is 24 bottles. There may be less than 3 bottles of this wine left in the world now. Last time at the auction in Kyoto, Boss Ma bought this bottle of wine for 16 million. Zhang Yichen's voice was a little sarcastic if you pay attention. You can see the blue veins bulging on his neck. 16 million might be a piece of cake for him. But what's important is not the money, but the wine. Every bottle you drink is one less, and there may only be 2 or 3 bottles left in the world. It was actually used by these actors to film a movie and then thrown directly to the ground. Even if Xiaoyang didn't say it now, he wanted to let these people know how heavy the law is. When Xu Fushen heard Zhang Yichen's words, he almost fainted. 16 million bottles of wine. Maybe there is only 1 bottle of this kind of wine. But what about the 1980 to wine? All in all, they smashed and drank 7 or 8 bottles of wine that were used for the photo shoot. Hundreds of millions of investments are nothing compared to these wines. He looked pale and was trembling a little. The stars were also shocked at this moment. A male star who smashed the wine with his own hands during the filming now had his eyes wide open with disbelief on his face. If there hadn't been someone supporting him, he would have fainted on the spot. At this time, Zhang Yichen glared at everyone. Oh shit! Such a good wine. Zhao Yang, don't say anything. I will help you send these beasts in jail even if you don't pay me this time. He patted Xiao Yang's shoulder. As soon as he finished speaking, Xu Fushen's legs suddenly went weak. When someone says this, he may think that they are talking nonsense. But Zhang Yichen said so. Action. At this moment, his face looked extremely ugly and his lips were pale. He no longer had the majesty of the great director before. Xiao Yang nodded and continued, of course, it's not just the wine, but also the furniture. Pineapples from the South China Sea. Xiao Yang began slowly. A list also appeared in his hand. This was materialized by the system, and he only needed to read it. Every time Xiao Yang said something, Xu Fushen's legs shook. These things all have one thing in common. Expensive. Of course, but there is another word, rare. Some things, once gone, are really gone. In just a moment, he almost fell to his knees. And those stars are all numb at this moment. When Xiao Yang talked about the sofa and the chairs, no one dared to sit down and stood up straight, for fear of bumping into something. At this moment, Xiao Yang also gently touched the wine cabinet. The next second, a remote control appeared in his hand. He pressed a key, and suddenly, there was a sound all around. And several cameras appeared all around at the same time. This is a hidden camera. I have enough evidence for everything you damaged in this room. Originally, Xu Fushen still had hope. After all, he checked the whole house, fearing that some camera might expose the crew's filming during the filming of the TV series. But who knew that there were some hidden cameras here? For a moment, his heart was filled with despair. Zhang Yichen also nodded, still looking gentle and elegant. But in Xu Fushen's opinion, Zhang Yichen at this time was a devil. He waved his hand and said to everyone with a smile, by the way, please protect the scene and don't move. Wait for the police to come. Everything here is evidence. Chapter Itexus, hit it off and discussed the Fang family. At this moment, inside the house, everyone was like this, not daring to move. If possible, they didn't even want to step on this expensive wooden floor. I originally thought that this mansion was luxurious enough. But who knew that the things in it were much more valuable than the house itself? At this time, Zhang Yichen looked at Xiao Yang and became a little curious. Xiao Yang? Who is he? There is no wealthy family with the surname Xiao in Jie province. Zhang Yichen was too lazy to think about things he couldn't figure out. No wonder people dare to hit Fang Jingyuan. Outside, the patrol car honked. At this time, Xu Fushen had already knelt on the ground with lifeless eyes. He never thought that his bright career as a director might be ruined today. A policeman walked in at this moment and looked at the mess on the ground. Who reported the case? After he finished speaking, the patrolman looked around, but no one stood up. It was quiet everywhere. And no one was talking. Except for two young men whispering in front of the wine cabinet. Everyone else had a sloppy face. What happened? A policeman walked up to Xu Fushen and asked. You reported the case? Is this house yours? What's going on? But at this time, Xu Fushen did not even respond to the patrolman. His expression suddenly brightened, and he hurriedly ran towards Xiao Yang. Can you discuss this with me? We didn't know about these things beforehand. We are innocent. The two patrolmen looked at everything in front of them in surprise, but the look of confusion on their faces. What's going on? At this time, Xiao Yang looked at Xu Fushen with indifference, shook his head, and said, you touch my house, I can ignore it. But you touched my things. This house has been ruined inside and out by you. And the wine, Zhang Yichen added. What he feels most regrettable now is those bottles of wine. Even the Zhang family only hid 2 bottles, but unfortunately the eldest brother kept a close eye on him and didn't let him have any chance to touch the wine. Can't we discuss it further? Xu Fushen's face was full of despair. There's nothing to talk about, just wait for the court summons. When the voice fell, Xu Fushen was stunned. His face suddenly darkened. And his legs did not weaken anymore. He stood up immediately and said fiercely, don't push me too far. My crew is the crew of Fang Group. This community is also the property of Fang Group. You have to think clearly. If you touch me, you are competing with Fang Group. There was no other choice. Xu Fushen had to reveal his last trump card. He didn't know whether Fang Jingyang would take care of him. But this house, including the investment from the crew, were all provided by Fang Jingyang. If he doesn't care, all the money will be wasted. The Fang Group is deeply rooted in Chengdu City. He doesn't believe that Fang Jingyang will just ignore it. Fang Group? Xiao Yang was surprised. Fang Jingyang. Fang Jingyuan? He frowned slightly and asked in a deep voice. That's right, if you dare to touch me, you are going against the Fang family. Do you know the power of the Fang family? Zhu Fushen thought that Xiao Yang was a little scared when he heard about the Fang group. He became much more energetic and his legs were no longer weak. He immediately raised his head and snorted coldly. The two patrolmen behind were also obviously stunned when they heard the Fang group. They looked at each other, walked in unison, and took half a step back. This is not something they can get stuck into. I heard that just yesterday. A captain of a patrol team in the University City area suffered a serious setback because of this incident. He was dismissed from his post and had to go back to raise pigs. The stars also looked a little better at this moment. Yes, the Fang family is behind us. This is the crew of Fang Group. No matter how you look at it, we are now part of the Fang Group. Do you still dare to touch anyone from the Fang family? For a moment, everyone became more energetic although they didn't dare to sit down. They still dared to hold on to the sofa. But what no one expected was a crisp sound startled everyone immediately, and they all stared with their eyes wide open, unable to believe what was happening before their eyes. Pa pa pa. A clear slap mark suddenly appeared on Zhu Fushen's face, irritating the eyes of everyone present. Zhu Fushen also didn't recover. I was actually beaten. Still a slap in the face. Turns out it's the Fang family's dog. Xiao Yang sneered. I was quite satisfied with this house. But how can it be the Fang family's property? Xiao Yang shook his head. He looked at Zhu Fushen, his expression startled. Be careful with your words next time. I'm not always so good-tempered. Xiao Yang wiped his hands in disgust. This guy occupied his villa and even used the Fang family to threaten him. Am I usually too kind? Zhang Yichen on the side said nothing. As if he had expected this result. He even dared to be Fang Jingyuan. What's more, it's a dog under your feet. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, Zhu Fushen looked shocked and dared not move. What is he talking about? A dog from the Fang family? And from the words, does it seem like he is disdainful of the other person's family? In Zhengdu, there are actually people who look down on the other family. The stars were so shocked that they secretly took their hands off the table. They were all spoiled, and after standing for just a while, they already had backaches and could not even stand straight. But they didn't dare sit down for fear of getting bumped. Since it's the Fang family, Xiao Yang rolled his eyes and then looked at Zhang Yichen. For Thunkel, are you afraid of the Fang family? Afraid? Zhang Yichen laughed immediately. Would I be afraid of the Fang family? I'm afraid of my elder brother. Seeing Xiao Yang's weird smile, Zhang Yichen suddenly understood. Does he want to use this excuse to play tricks on the Fang family now? I think the Fang family is annoying. Xiao Yang glanced at Zhang Yichen and said softly. What a coincidence, me too. Zhang Yichen smiled meaningfully. The two of them didn't say anything else. Xiao Yang found a chair and sat down, while Zhang Yichen strode forward. Okay, now let's talk about some serious business. Director Xu, right? Don't be too nervous, come and sit down. Zhang Yichen had a smile on his face, and he still looked so gentle and harmless. Zhu Fushen had a bewildered look on his face, as if he had forgotten the pain on his face. He looked a little dazed, and was pulled aside by Zhang Yichen to sit down. Xiao Yang looked over here with no expression on his face. He wanted to see if Zhang Yichen could help him make a fuss. Maybe it won't have any impact on the Fang family. But his purpose is to discuss the Fang family. Otherwise, you will be treated as a soft persimmon. Okay, now let's sort these things out. Just now you said there was a misunderstanding. Well, I'm a lawyer and I value evidence the most, so I'll trust you for once. Since it's a misunderstanding, then the question is, how did you get in here? Or, is the rental contract you mentioned before still there? Zhang Yichen's voice was no longer as strong, and Zhu Fushen also breathed a sigh of relief. His expression no longer so flustered. He glanced at Zhang Yichen, thought for a moment, and quickly called out to someone not far away. Xiao Zhang. A man named Xiao Shang hurried over and stood there trembling with fear. This is my assistant director, Xiao Zhang. At this point, Zhu Fushen also hurriedly said, where's the contract? The lease contract. Hey, Xiao Shang nodded, jogged back, found his bag, and took out the documents. This is our lease contract with Xingfu Community. Xiao Shang took out the document. The lease contract for Xingfu Community. Zhang Yichen's mouth corners suddenly raised. What qualifications does Xingfu Community have to sign a lease contract with you? Can they rent out the owner's things at will? Zhang Yichen's voice suddenly turned cold. He took the document and took a look at it. Sure enough, this official seal is indeed the seal of Xingfu Community. And behind this happy community is the Fang Group. With this, the Fang Group can really be disgusted. Seeing that Zhang Yichen's voice had become much deeper, the two of them began to tremble again. In Zhengdu, Zhang Yichen is well known, and can even be said to be a judge of life and death. Some people joked that when Zhang Yichen was on the other side, the lawyers on their side would tremble in fear, and they might even be sent to jail along with him. There is another saying, that is, Of course, these are all jokes, but it is not difficult to see how top-notch Zhang Yichen's business ability is in this industry. Seeing the two of them like this, Zhang Yichen suddenly smiled again. Don't worry, you have the Fang family behind you as the eldest young master of the Fang group. We have to give you some face. At this moment, the two of them looked brightened. But thinking of Xiao Yang's attitude just now, they became hesitant again. Okay, I roughly understand. In fact, most of the responsibility here should be attributed to the unauthorized leasing of houses by owners in Xingfu community. You two don't need to worry too much. Zhang Yichen patted the two men on the shoulders and then looked at the two patrolmen. If you two are free, could you please summon the person in charge of the happiness community for us? The two patrolmen were stunned for a moment. In fact, they only said the sentences after they got here. As the names appeared one after another, they were already a little numb. I couldn't do anything about it, so I just watched from the side. So when Zhang Yichen's gaze fell on the two of them, they were obviously startled. The next second, they nodded quickly. We are free, we are free. Trouble, Zhang Yichen is still as elegant and gentle as ever. But in fact, except Xiao Yang, everyone here has labeled him as a devil. Okay, let's do this. You call Fang Jingyang and tell him. Just tell him a name, Xiao Yang. He should be here soon. With him here, you don't have to worry too much, Zhang Yichen comforted. Zhu Fushen nodded thoughtfully. That seems to be the case. After all, young Master Fang is one of the most influential figures in Zhongdu City. If he can't save himself, he's doomed. Let's try our best. This is the only straw we have left. Zhu Fushen immediately took out his cell phone, found Fang Jingyang's number and called him. Hello? Fang Jingyang's voice came. Zhu Fushen immediately seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw, and hurriedly said, Mr. Fang, it's me, I'm Xu Fushen, Director Xu. Xu Fushen, Fang Jingyang thought for a while before he remembered. I remember, you're the director of the company, right? You want to talk to me about something? Fang Jingyang asked with a frown. Something's going on. Then speak quickly and don't waste my time. Fang Jingyang said coldly. Yes, Mr. Fang, it's like this. Our crew, Xu Fushen began to talk about what was happening here. Fang Jingyang seemed a little impatient. He said coldly. You called me for such a small matter. Do you know how many things I have to deal with? If you can't even handle this, what's the point of the company supporting you? After saying that, Fang Jingyang immediately wanted to hang up the phone. Hearing Fang Jingyang's words, Xu Fushen hurriedly said. Wait, Mr. Fang, this villa belongs to Xiao Yang. What? Sure enough, Fang Jingyang finally stopped when he heard the word, Xiao Yang. Repeat what you said to me again. Fang Jingyang's voice became much louder. The villa we filmed was rented from Xingfu community, which is also one of the company's service areas. Then when we were filming, a man came into the villa and detained us all. His name is Xiao Yang. Xu Fushen quickly recounted the incident briefly. Xiao Yang, Fang Jingyang looked cold and handsome. Oh, and Xiao Yang also called Zhang Yichen here. Zhang Yichen is here too. Fang Jingyang was stunned. Location, he asked directly. No, B23, Xingfu community. Fang Jingyang hung up the phone immediately, his face full of gloom. This old man Zhang Yiming is lying to me. Is Xiao Yang really related to the Zheng family? What exactly do they want to do? Is Xiao Yang a member of the Zheng family? Fang Jingyang muttered to himself. But his legs did not stop. He walked out of the office directly and asked his secretary to arrange a car and people. On the way, Fang Jingyang frowned. He really couldn't think of any reason why the Zheng family would go against him. After all, the two families are about to get married. And the date has been set, 1 month later. It can be said that 1 month later, the Fang and Zhang families became relatives. But Zhang Yiming, why did he let Xiao Yang and Zhang Yichen always cause trouble? I can't figure it out. I just can't figure it out. But the Fang family is not afraid of the Zheng family. No matter how powerful the Zheng family is, they are no match for the Fang family. Fang Jingyang is sure of this. Forget it, there's no need to think so much. In the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy or trick is useless. Fang Jingyang simply stopped thinking about it. Anyway, he has decided to marry Zhang Yan. Here, two patrolmen also brought over the person in charge of the Xingfu community, a middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses. When he saw the mess in the house, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. But when he thought of his background, he felt a little relieved. Looking at Xu Fushen, he felt a little strange. But he didn't say much, but extended his hand to Zhang Yichen first. Hello, Mr. Zhang. I am the general manager of Xingfu community. My name is Chen Ke. As the general manager of Xingfu community, he naturally knew Zhang Yichen, and Zhang Yichen was also one of the owners of Xingfu community. After looking around the scene, Zhang Yichen was the only one who met the criteria for being an owner of the Xingfu community. Chapter 87, Abandoned in Pawns. Zhang Yichen just extended his hand symbolically. The other party didn't seem to be clear about what was happening at the moment, and had a smile on his face. Of course, even if he knew what it was, he probably wouldn't be able to show a bad face in front of Zhang Yichen. After all, Zhang Yichen was the one who could send him in. Mr. Zhang, such a big event. Manager Chen Ke looked at Zhang Yichen. Of course I called you here for something, and it's not a small matter. When the voice fell, Chen Ke was stunned. When he came here just now, he felt that B23 was a little familiar, but now when he saw the people present, he finally reacted. Zhang Yichen waved the lease contract in front of Chen Ke and said in a deep voice, I want to ask you, has this villa been sold? Chen Ke paused, and after hearing Zhang Yichen's tone, he immediately put away his smile. Sold? Okay, now that it's sold, what qualifications do you have to rent out the house? Zhang Yichen looked at Chen Ke and got straight to the point. He pointed at Xu Fushen and the others and said, to them, this is already a fraud. And for my landlord, what crime do you think is appropriate? As soon as he finished speaking, beads of sweat suddenly appeared on Chen Ke's forehead. Zhang Yichen's reputation as a living devil is well known in Jiangdu City. When he says he is guilty, there is no doubt that he is definitely guilty. Even if there is none, there will be one in court. For a moment, Chen Ke didn't know how to answer. First of all, you have no right to rent out the owner's rent without permission. Secondly, as the person in charge of the community, you should protect the owner's personal property and personal safety, but you are stealing from him. Zhang Yichen began a long speech. When Zhang Yichen spoke out the legal provisions one by one, the other party's legs suddenly went limp. Xiao Yang watched their performance in silence. He looked at the other people at the moment, and saw that Xu Fushen had an ugly look on his face. As for those male and female stars, they are not much better. I didn't dare to sit down, nor did I dare to squat. After standing for so long, I just felt sore in my waist and back. Us like a student standing in military training is punishment. The only difference between them and students is that they can do some small movements. But that's all. But after a while, finally, two cars stopped outside. A young man in a black suit got out of the car. Then, several people got out of the other vehicles and followed the young man closely. Xiao Yang was sitting in the living room and could see outside clearly through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I guess this must be Fang Jingyang. The smile flashed in Xiao Yang's eyes. Didn't you want me to see you yesterday? Okay, now it's your turn to come and see me. Now that the real culprit has arrived, Zhang Yichen no longer tortures Chen Ke, Xu Fushen and the others. After exchanging a glance with Xiao Yang, Zhang Yichen walked straight towards the door. Fang Jingyang is taller than Fang Jingyuan. Unlike Fang Jingyuan, Fang Jingyang doesn't look that ostentatious. Perhaps it is because he took over the company's business at a young age. So Fang Jingyang looks more capable, their appearance is similar. Inside the house, the moment Shank and Xu Fushen saw Fang Jingyang, they finally felt relieved. Master Fang is here. Then these are not problems. What fraud, what illegal leasing of other people's houses? They are all small things. At least that's what Xu Fushen and Shanke thought. There was even a female star who acted like a little fangler when she saw Fang Jingyang from afar, waving her hands and posing wildly, trying to make him look at her with a higher regard. It's a pity that at this moment, Fang Jingyang's attention was all on Xiao Yang and Zhang Yichen. But the moment he stepped into the room, Fang Jingyang put on a friendly smile and walked towards Zhang Yichen. Furthunkel, why are you here? Although the age difference between the two was not big, Fang Jingyang still called him Furthunkel. This is the seniority. And if the two families successfully marry, they should call each other this way. Xiao Yang was not in a hurry and still sat there. At this time, Fang Jingyang naturally ignored Xiao Yang, and continued to laugh with Zhang Yichen. Why is Furthunkel here today? How did he offend you? Provoke me. Zhang Yichen smiled. That's not the case. I have a client who was wronged by you. Justice? Fang Jingyang looked at Xiao Yang and his expression suddenly turned cold. Zhang Yichen knew what he was thinking, but he still smiled and said, yes, let me introduce you, this is my client, Xiao Yang. As he spoke, he covered his face with his hands and whispered, peak customers, you can't afford to offend them. After the words fell, Fang Jingyang was stunned. VIP customer? Can't afford to offend? Is this something the fourth son of the Zhang family could say? In fact, although the Fang family is famous, and the two brothers Fang Jingyang and Fang Jingyuan can be regarded as the best playboys in Jiangdu City, they are still slightly inferior to Zhang Yichen. In the Zhang family, the two eldest daughters are secondary. Zhang Yichen is the person that everyone is most reluctant to mess with. Not to mention that Zhang Yichen himself has outstanding abilities, and his status in the Zhang family cannot be underestimated. First of all, Zhang Yichen is the youngest son of the Zhang family. Although he is the fourth child, he is the only male in the Zhang family except Zhang Yiming. The second and third children of the Zhang family died in childhood. So the fourth child grew up in almost everyone's love and care. Even Zhang Yiming rarely blames his younger brother. In addition, Zhang Yiming is old and has no energy to have children. Both children are girls. It can be said that Zhang Yichen is the only source of life for the Zhang family. Anyone who dares to touch Zhang Yichen would be in danger of killing the Zhang family. The Fang family has a large family, a large business, and many big trees. Something can happen to Fang Jingyuan, or even Fang Jingyang, but the Fang family still has a bunch of young men queuing up behind them. So in terms of value, he is really not as valuable as Zhang Yichen. But it was such a living devil who actually said that there were VIP customers that he couldn't afford to offend. Which surprised Fang Jingyang a little. He still knew Zhang Yichen's character. In Jiangdu City, at least there is no one he cannot afford to offend. Even himself, he can touch him a few times for no reason. For example, about what happened yesterday, he could only ask Zhang Yiming. Fang Jingyang frowned slightly. Zhang Yichen did not answer, but instead looked serious. Let me introduce you, this is my client, Xiao Yang. He is also the owner of No. B23 in Xingfu community. Fang Jingyang frowned slightly. He originally thought that Xiao Yang was just a peasant, but he turned out to be the owner of the Xingfu community. This Xingfu community is a high-end residential area developed by the Fang family. He naturally knows how expensive the housing prices here are. Those who can afford to buy a house here at least have money. Therefore Xiao Yang's identity is really worth pondering. Are you Fang Jingyang, Fang Jingyuan's brother? Xiao Yang said coldly. I thought that if we meet, it should be in front of my brother. I promised him that you would kneel down and apologize in front of him. Fang Jingyang also replied coldly. At this moment, he no longer thought about Xiao Yang's identity. This is Jiangdu. No matter what Xiao Yang's identity is, he has to be dressed up. Then you will be disappointed. Xiao Yang shook his head. Suddenly he frowned and held his chest as if he was enduring something. This made Zhang Yichen stunned, and he quickly patted him on the back. What's wrong? It's okay. Xiao Yang waved his hand and said slowly, that's right, I thought Fang Jingyuan was ugly enough. But I didn't expect his brother to be just as ugly. It makes me a little sick. The voice fell. Xiao Yang had a sarcastic look on his face. The others were obviously choked by Xiao Yang's words. What did he say just now? Those celebrities were also dumbfounded, feeling as if they had heard it wrong. They seemed to be saying that Mr. Fang was too ugly and disgusting. As soon as the words fell, everyone else consciously moved away from the male star. If you know it, how dare you say it out loud? At the same time, they also looked at Xiao Yang. They really couldn't figure out why Xiao Yang dared to speak to the young master of Fang Group in that way. Isn't he afraid of death? Zhang Yichen, who was standing aside, secretly gave Xiao Yang a thumbs up. What the hell? So fierce. What Xiao Yang didn't expect was that Fang Jingyang actually held back. Although there was some displeasure on his face, that was all. Vulgar taste, he shook his head. Okay, I want to know what's going on here. Okay, now that the real boss is here, we can't just do nothing. Xiao Yang smiled. I don't have the time to go into detail with you. The current situation is that your company's Xingfu community has violated my rights and interests and illegally rented my house without authorization. Also, your crew illegally entered my house and caused serious damage to the structure of my rental, which also contained a lot of valuable property. Here I have a list. This is a list of all the belongings in my house. We can compare them one by one. Your company will be responsible for all these losses. Xiao Yan said slowly, then looked at Zhang Yichen. That's right, Mr. Fang. First of all, both the company where your crew is located and Fang's real estate where Xingfu community is located are subsidiaries of your Fang Group. So, we have the right to sue the Fang Group. Zhang Yichen began to speak slowly. Fang Jingyang was stunned for a moment. Sue? Sue the Fang Group? He must have heard it right. In Jiangdu City, suing the Fang Group? This is just like the lawsuit with a certain penguin in Shenzhen. Nanshan Pizza Hut. The ones who are hitting the hammer are all my people. What gives you the right? Although Zhang Yichen's professional level is indeed high, his Fang Group is not afraid of him. Seeing Fang Jingyang's expression, Zhang Yichen continued, we have roughly confirmed that the damaged property at the scene is worth more than 130 million. In addition, there is a bottle of 1978 Lafite. My client believes that this is a rare and extremely precious bottle of wine. Its actual value far exceeds the market value. When Fang Jingyang heard this number, he was also shocked. 130 million. Are you kidding me? But when the list was handed to him, he realized that there was no exaggeration. If you really count it, it might be more than that. What do you mean? Fang Jingyang put the list down. As for the authenticity of these things, he didn't need to verify it. There were plenty of people to verify it. He looked straight at Xiaoyang and Zhang Yichen, wanting to see what they were trying to do. At this time, Zhang Yichen also wanted to know what Xiaoyang was going to do. In fact, he now had no idea what Xiaoyang was going to do to disgust Fang Jingyang. To be honest, if it was a normal way, it would probably not cause any substantial harm to Jingyang. More than 100 million yuan, the Fang family, who is wealthy and powerful, can easily come up with this amount of money. At most, it's only 200 million. It's nothing. I just want you to come and see how I deal with your Fang family. Xiaoyang smiled. Ah, Zhang Yichen was stunned. He didn't expect this result at all. That's it? Fang Jingyang was also stunned. Isn't that enough? Xiaoyang was stunned. Do you think I care about these people? Fang Jingyang actually laughed. Yes, he didn't care about Xu Fushen and Shanke. The contract was signed with Xingfu community and it was Xu Fushen who broke into the villa. At worst, he would sacrifice Shanke and Xu Fushen. But what's the point of sacrificing them and respecting them? Boring. Fang Jingyang immediately shook his head. At this moment, Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment and looked at Fang Jingyang with a puzzled look on his face. No, aren't these all your people? So what if they are my people? They are just dogs of the Fang family. Fang Jingyang laughed. He originally thought that these two people had lured him here and that they had some big tricks waiting for him. That's the result. An unknown director and a manager. At worst, I can just argue with them and pay them some money. Just like this, are you worthy enough for me, the eldest son of the Fang family, to come here in person? The voice fell. Xiaoyang was stunned. His face full of disbelief. Zhang Yichen was stunned. Xiaoyang was so disgusting to others, show could he be called disgusting? The Fang family has plenty of people, so if these two people are lost, then so be it. Fang Jingyang won't feel any pain at all if they are sent to prison for life. What do you want to do? Shanke and Xu Fushen were also stunned. They originally thought that the eldest son of the Fang family could save them. But who could have imagined that Fang Jingyang wouldn't even say a word? In fact, Fang Jingyang really didn't want to make trouble here. Xiaoyang's financial list, lease contract, including the cameras here, are almost ironclad evidence. People can be saved. But this will drag the Fang group into it. By then, one move will affect the entire body, and it is very likely that the Fang group will be involved in unnecessary trouble. As for the two people, just let them be lost. Fang Jingyang calculated this very clearly. The money must be compensated and the person will definitely be sent to jail. There is no way to change this. How about this, Fang Jingyang? As long as you apologize to me, I will let this matter go. How about it? Xiaoyang suddenly laughed. What did you say? Fang Jingyang was stunned for a moment, his expression cold. Just apologize and call me Brother Yang, and I won't bother about it. Think about it, if you apologize, you can save these people and save a lot of money. Isn't this a good deal? Do you think I will apologize to you for two dogs? Fang Jingyang snorted coldly. But what he didn't notice was that at this moment, Xu Fushen seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw. He rushed to Fang Jingyang like crazy and hugged his trouser legs. Master Fang, I beg you, please save me. Just apologize. Get out of here. Fang Jingyang's face was full of disgust. Save me, Master Fang. I don't want to go to jail. Get out of here. Someone, pull him away from me. Fang Jingyang's face was immediately filled with disgust. Xu Fushen's face was full of anger. Fang Jingyang, you can save my life by just apologizing. What's wrong with you apologizing? Fine, you want me to die, right? If I die, I'll take someone with me. What did you say? Fang Jingyang's face was suddenly filled with anger. But at this moment, a ray of light flashed by. Xu Fushen just took a leap. Fang Jingyang's face was full of astonishment, but he couldn't dodge at such a close distance. The next second, a dark blast fragments lashed across Fang Jingyang's abdomen. A stream of blood immediately dyed Fang Jingyang's white shirt red. Fang Jingyang stared at Xu Fushen in amazement, his face full of disbelief. Fortunately, the people nearby reacted in time, and a group of people rushed forward and pushed Xu Fushen to the ground. On the side, Xiaoyang's mouth corners slightly raised. Chapter 88. I don't want to be a scumbag. It's because the Fang family is pushing me too far. No one expected that Xu Fushen would suddenly rise up. The broken glass in his hand was the expensive Lafite that had been smashed. At this moment, everyone was stunned. The severe pain in his abdomen made Fang Jingyang unable to help but take several steps back. He first glanced at the subdued Xu Fushen, then at Xiaoyang, his eyes full of anger. But at this moment he had no time to express his hatred. Several of his men hurriedly lifted him up and hurried out of the house. Zhang Yichen was still in shock as he looked at the scene in front of him. He glanced at Xiaoyang, who didn't say a word. As for Xu Fushen, he was also restrained by Fang Jingyuan's men at this moment. But Xu Fushen was still struggling, and kept saying, Why don't you save me? Zhang Yichen frowned slightly. And the two patrolmen present finally had something to do. Except for Xu Fushen, these stars naturally had to go to the police station. At this moment, everyone was filled with panic. Xu Fushen's appearance was also shocking. Everyone knew that he was dead. He was bound to go to prison. And besides, if he had offended the Fang family would not let him live in peace in there. The two patrolmen called for another patrol car, which was enough to take all the people here. As for Zhang Yichen and Xiao Yang, they naturally did not dare to take them away. After searching various objects at the scene for evidence and asking a few questions, they all left Xiao Yang's house. Looking at the messy house, Xiao Yang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The evidence collection here has basically been completed. And I can also find someone to clean it up, although there are many places that are worn out. It will definitely be no problem for people to live in. At this time, Zhang Yichen looked at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang walked towards the wine cabinet and said with emotion, "These wines." But after thinking about it, I decided not to continue. The main reason was that I had never drunk such expensive wine. Now I became interested. It's really wasted by these bastards. A 1987 wine was used to smash it during filming. Zhang Yichen also felt sorry. Xiao Yang took a bottle from the wine cabinet. "Have a drink?" Zhang Yichen's expression suddenly brightened, and he became interested. "Drink? Of course you have to drink it. A 1980 Tulifite is the best quality and you must drink it." Before Xiao Yang could speak, Zhang Yichen had already taken the wine from Xiao Yang, looked in the wine cabinet and found the decanter and wine glass. Next, there is a set of skilled techniques for opening and sobering up the wine. This really opened Xiao Yang's eyes. He rarely drank red wine. And even if he did, it was only the kind that cost dozens of dollars in the supermarket, which was naturally not as good as the best wine in the world. Fortunately, Zhang Yichen opened the wine, otherwise I might have been embarrassed. "It takes some time to sober up," Zhang Yichen said slowly. "I didn't expect that you would discuss Fang Jingyang in this way." Xiao Yang was a little stunned. "What method?" Zhang Yichen was stunned. I soon realized it. From Xu Fushen's perspective, Fang Jingyang was just the person who could have extended a hand to save others but chose to turn around and walk away. But what are the roles of Xiao Yang and Zhang Yichen? It was the one who pushed him into the abyss. How could this possibly order the other party around? Then why do you feel Xu Fushen will take action? Zhang Yichen asked, puzzled. Lie. "Feel? Before Fang Jingyang came. Do you remember that Xu Fushen once threatened me? When the relationship is at odds, this kind of person will stab you even if he dies. When I asked Fang Jingyang to come, I saw hope in his eyes. During the waiting time, Xu Fushen's mood was unstable." "Then what?" Zhang Yichen continued to ask. "I saw him hide the glass fragments." Xiao Yang's mouth corners slightly raised. He secretly hid the glass fragments for only these few purposes. One, or stab you and me, the two who sent him in. A second is to take advantage of the opportunity to escape while you are in the patrol car. Third, the other party Jingyang took action. How do you know he will attack Fang Jingyang? Zhang Yichen asked with a frown. "If you attack me suddenly, it will be a big loss. With me here, he can't attack you or me." Xiao Yang smiled. "Actually, I'm just guessing it doesn't cost anything anyway. Think about it, even though we two were the ones who pushed him into the abyss. I gave him hope, and that hope was that Fang Jingyang would save him. In times of despair, hope emerges. But this hope was severely shattered by Fang Jingyang." Zhang Yichen suddenly realized. Xiao Yang smiled and continued. "In fact, if Xu Fushen is as you and I guessed, then it would really disgust Fang Jingyang. If Xu Fushen doesn't have the courage, or if I guessed wrong, it doesn't matter, there's no loss anyway." Zhang Yichen smiled. But he didn't expect Xiao Yang to say that. "Indeed. This matter mainly depends on Xu Fushen. It doesn't matter whether he can do it or not. After all, Xiao Yang will not suffer any loss. This time." Fang Jingyang was not only disgusted, but Xiao Yang was not involved yet. The lawsuit would continue, and the damaged items would be compensated. The Fang group would not put the blame on Xiao Yang for the injury. This is a human being. It was clearly Usta who sent Xu Fushen in jail. But what he resented most was that Fang Jingyang didn't lend a hand to save him. Zhang Yichen said with emotion. Xiao Yang nodded. "This is actually the case. What people hate the most is not the person who really hurt them, but the person who did not help them." After saying this, I was sober for quite a while. The wine fell into the glass. Zhang Yichen swirled the red wine in the glass, then slowly took a sip. Xiao Yang followed suit and took a sip slowly. But soon, his brows frowned. The wine is bitter and has a very strong oak flavor. But soon, he felt the wine going down his throat, smooth and silky, with rich layers, a very balanced sweetness and acidity. A unique style and endless aftertaste. What a great wine! Zhang Yichen's face was full of enjoyment. A 1982 Lafite is of the best quality, and is considered one of the world's top wines. A sip of this will cost you upwards of 5 figures. Xiao Yang also nodded, although it was difficult for him to taste the light red wine at first. After drinking it now, he could already taste the aftertaste in his mouth. It seems that Thunkel is also a wine lover. Xiao Yang smiled. Zhang Yichen took another sip. At this moment he closed his eyes and sat back on the sofa, with a look of enjoyment on his face. That's all my hobby, Zhang Yichen said with a smile. But this wine, drink less. Xiao Yang felt okay. The feeling this wine gave him was just one word: expensive. Of course it took a long time, but it lacked the pleasure of drinking. By the way, Thunkel has helped me twice in the past 2 days. I would like to know what his charging standard is, Xiao Yang said. Lawyers, especially top lawyers like Zhang Yichen, must charge sky fees. I'm not short of money. You are Xiaozu's friend, and I also like to cheat the Fang family. So I won't charge you any money. Zhang Yichen smiled, and poured another glass of wine and said with a smile, or, Thunkel, you can bring 2 bottles of wine. Xiao Yang said with a bright look. It's not that he doesn't like drinking Lafite. It's mainly because he himself doesn't know how to drink it. Seeing Zhang Yichen enjoying it so much, he might as well do him a favor. After all, he might have to trouble him in the future. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yichen's expression brightened. That's what you said. It looked as if she was afraid that Xiao Yang would go back on his word. Seeing this, Xiao Yang smiled and said, of course. Okay. Zhang Yichen smiled and shook the bottle of wine that had just been half filled. I think we shouldn't drink too much today. Drinking is bad for your health. This bottle has been opened anyway, so why not give it to me too? Xiao Yang was speechless, but he still smiled and let Zhang Yichen talk. Okay, let's stop here for today. Zhang Yichen smiled and quickly sealed the half-drunk wine with a cork. Even though the wine is opened, the taste is still a little off. But for Zhang Yichen, they are all minor problems. He found a piece of clothing, took 2 bottles of wine from the wine cabinet, and put them all in his clothes. This is to keep the wine at room temperature. Once you leave the door, the temperature outside will easily cause the red wine to deteriorate. After wrapping the package, Zhang Yichen said hello to Xiao Yang and left in a cloud of dust. Xiao Yang also found some people to clean up the house. And then he went out. The store will be open as usual in the afternoon. Lu Xing has not been discharged from the hospital yet, so Xiao Yang naturally has to keep an eye on him. By the time we arrived at the store, it was already afternoon. Zhang Shengzu and everyone else were there. And the self-service food store opened its doors the next day in a grand ceremony. At this moment, Xiao Yang also sent out a large red envelope in the employee group. Everyone, thank you for your hard work during this period. You all did a good job yesterday. This is a reward for you. They are all red envelopes of 100 yuan after they are distributed continuously. Even those with the worst luck can get a red envelope of around 100 yuan. Naturally, everyone was happy to welcome the boss, and then they became enthusiastic about their work. However, when Xiao Yang wanted to help, he was pushed aside. Zhang Shengzu also had a smile on her face, although she didn't care about the size of the red envelope or the amount of money in it. She liked this kind of atmosphere very much. It's time for dinner. Sure enough, there is still a lot of customer flow today. Although many people came here because of Jiangxi Kosui, they were quickly conquered by the barbecue here. Just like yesterday, there were more and more tables and chairs. And because it is a self-service restaurant, customers like to do it themselves. They even have to go to the food freezer to select the ingredients themselves, for fear that the chicken legs selected by the waiter will be too small. This way, everyone's workload is reduced a lot. Seeing this, Xiao Yang felt like he had nothing to do. After watching for a while, he sat aside and began to think about the Fang family's affairs. At this point, although Feng Jingyang was not stabbed by him personally, in the final analysis, the Fang family will always put the blame on him. Even without going to Beidou, Xiao Yang could basically get a general idea of the Fang family's strength. Xiao Yang basically understood a lot about the attitude of the police station and the information he got from Zhang Yichen. Now it seems that there is no room for maneuver for both sides. This is always a trouble for Xiao Yang. Business tycoons and aristocratic families. Xiao Yang shook his head. With his current strength, it is obviously unwise to go against the Fang family. But since he has already offended him, Xiao Yang has nothing to regret. Maybe he still believed in justice in the past, but with the incident at the police station and the events of the past 2 days, his state of mind has quietly changed, and even he himself did not realize it. If it were in the past, perhaps he really would not have been able to scheme against others. And now that the Fang family has not attacked me openly, I'm afraid they simply look down on me. After all, it was just a fight. Xiao Yang understood this very well, but he also knew that it was not that the account would be settled, but that the Fang family had not taken it to heart yet. Therefore now I still have to make myself stronger. Xiao Yang rubbed his head and looked at the busy streets and the shops doing booming business. 5 million tasks have been completed, which is not too much, but not too little either. At least at this rate, he might not be able to wait for 3 months. Apart from anything else, after Fang Jingyang recovers from his injury, the first person he will seek to settle the score with will definitely be himself. He glanced at the system task interface. His eyes fell on the task. And then he held his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Women's clothing. What the hell? Lin Q, why is your train of thought so unique? After thinking about it, Xiao Yang put this task aside for the time being and opened the warehouse. There lay a golden card. 10 times cashback card. It's you. Xiao Yang pondered for a moment. Xiao Yang originally wanted to wait until he had more assets before using the tenfold cashback card. But now it seems that he still needs to use it quickly. He took a look at the funds he had on hand. There are still 14 million. It seems I have to give Shuoi a hint and let her confess her feelings tomorrow. This way the effect of the tenfold cashback card can be maximized. Xiao Yang murmured. At thinking of this, he suddenly felt a little amused and helpless. I'm obviously not that kind of person. He was still led astray by Lin Q. No, it was the system that corrupted me. The reward for confessing love is so sweet. For a moment, Xiao Yang was looking forward to tomorrow's confession. Counting it up, tomorrow will be Lin Qiu's 6th confession. The first 3 times were all 5 million, the 4th time was the quality enhancement pill, and the 5th time was Wing Chun. If I were to say who is the biggest contributor to all this that I have now, it would definitely be Lin Qiu. Actually, I really don't want to be a scumbag, but the Fang family is going too far. Xiao Yang found a good excuse for himself in his mind, then opened his mobile phone and found Lin Qiu's WeChat. Fairy Lin, are you there? As soon as the message was sent, Lin Qiu's message came back instantly. An emoticon. The sun rises from the west. Yes, yes. As he said this, he added a cute expression. Xiao Yang was suddenly at a loss whether to laugh or cry. If you count it up, the number of WeChat chats between me and Lin Qiu can't be said to be few. They can only be said to be almost none. Chapter 89 Zhang Shangzu's Talent. At this moment, Lin Qiu was leaning lazily on the chair, like a little lazy cat. Too lazy to even lift his eyelids. But the moment Xiao Yang sent the message, the next second, Lin Qiu turned over and stood up, full of energy. Xiao Yang sent me a message. Unsolicited message. This is the first time. Lin Qiu's face was immediately filled with smiles, and she almost laughed out loud while holding the phone. But after thinking about it, Xiao Yang finally remembered to look for her on WeChat after adding her for so long. Lin Qiu pouted again and looked a little annoyed. At this time, in the dormitory, several girls saw Lin Qiu's reaction and immediately came over. Xiao Yu, what's going on? Ah, no, Lin Qiu turned her head and hugged the phone. It looks like he's chatting with Xiao Yang. As they talked, everyone suddenly became interested. By the way, Shuoi, how is your progress with Xiao Yang now? Very good. Lin Qiu suddenly remembered what happened in the hotel. And the next moment, her face flushed. TSK. This little girl, my god, is this still our aloof goddess? Look at you, I wonder if Xiao Yang has fed you enough. Li Shaikan immediately raised her eyebrows with a hint of unusual interest. What do you mean by feeding? Lin Qiu looked confused. Li Shaikan leaned over and whispered something in Lin Qiu's ear. The next second, Lin Qiu's face turned hot and her ears turned red. What are you thinking? We are not well yet. Yeah? Of course, it's only been a short time, Lin Qiu hummed. Remembering what his father said. Take safety measures. For a moment, the scene of herself flying on Xiao Yang emerged in her mind. This is a very personal matter, please stop asking. We are just that old. How old? Several sisters laughed immediately. Li Shaikan raised her head and said slowly, I already had it in high school. After I finished speaking, everyone understood what was going on. Do you know that people of our age would be considered advanced maternal age in ancient times? Li Shaikan laughed. Li Shaikan, what are you thinking about? Lin Qiu reached out and poked Li Shaikan's head, saying shyly, what's the big deal? Men just like to waver. Look, that girl from the medical school named King Xuantong seems to be quite attached to Xiao Yang. I also think I saw another girl in the video, she's also very pretty. Yes, she seemed to have called Xiao Yang's name. No, Xiao Yang doesn't like King Xuantong. Lin Qiu rejected it with one vote. It's mainly because Xiao Yang is too good today. I found out in the dormitory next door that Li Imi also saved the video of Xiao Yang fighting. I heard that she licks the screen every day. Lin Qiu was not too surprised. Licking the screen, you have good taste. It's not normal for a guy as handsome and secure as Xiao Yang to be liked by girls. Li Imi. TSK. Do you know what school means? Lin Qiu is still very confident about her appearance. Li Shaikan, who was standing by, seemed to have not gotten rid of the unhealthy thoughts in her head yet. She leaned over and said, young people all have needs. If Xiao Yang brings it up, Shuo, what are you going to do? Yes, my ex-boyfriend was like that, damn it, he went out with those questionable women. Someone frowned. Suddenly, Lin Qiu also frowned. Okay, stop talking so much, Xiao Yang is not that kind of person. Lin Qiu smiled and sent everyone away. But I have a lot of thoughts in my mind. Although Xiao Yang didn't like King Xuantong, Lin Qiu had to admit that King Xuantong was also very beautiful. If Xiao Yang really has any needs, what should I do? If I refuse, will Xiao Yang go to find King Xuantong? Lin Qiu suddenly felt conflicted. And the other side. At this time, Xiao Yang moved a chair and sat outside the store, crossing his legs and holding his mobile phone. If I smoke that cigarette now, I'll be almost as bad as the school security guard. However, Xiao Yang didn't care about his image. Many people coming and going were students from the University of Finance and Economics, and they all greeted Xiao Yang. At this moment, Xiao Yang felt a little strange. Lin Qiu hasn't replied to my message for more than 10 minutes. Fortunately, this was just an episode and Lin Qiu recovered quickly. Xiao Yang, I just chatted with my roommates for a while. Are you busy now? Xiao Yang didn't know how to flirt with girls, so he could only strike up a conversation. No, I'm not busy, Lin Qiu said with a cute expression. By the way, why did you go to the medical school that day? Is King Xuantong okay? Lin Qiu suddenly asked. Xiao Yang didn't expect Lin Qiu to bring up this matter, but he still responded truthfully. It has nothing to do with King Xuantong. It was just a coincidence that man be Lu Xing and he's in the hospital. As a good brother, I have to help him out, so that's how it is. Is Lu Xing okay? It's okay, he has unpaid leave now. He should be happy about it. So that's how it is. Lin Qiu nodded, a smile on her face. It turns out that it really has nothing to do with King Xuantong. It's just a coincidence. I told you, how could Xiao Yang fall for King Xuantong? Xiao Yang, what are you doing now? I'm busy. What are you busy with? Lin Qiu asked. After thinking for a while, she added, oh, I heard that scumbags like to say this. Are you in love with someone else? I'm really busy. I opened a barbecue restaurant near the school. Xiao Yang didn't care about this sentence and ignored it. Really? Yes, Xiao Yang took a photo and sent it over. There were people coming and going, and the place was bustling. So it was quite a large event. Wow, what a big store. Lin Qiu was a little surprised. She had been to Xiao Yang's home and knew what the situation was like there. To open such a big store, the rent alone would cost a lot of money. She suddenly became a little nervous and said, Xiao Yang, you didn't drop out of school and then take out a loan to start a business, did you? Is it a formal channel? Is the interest high? Xiao Yang was at a loss for words. I just dropped out of school today. Oh, yes, the time doesn't match either. Lin Qiu blinked and said thoughtfully. Where do you get so much money? Don't worry, I earned it through my own hard work, Xiao Yang said with a smile. Xiao Yang, if you run out of money, just tell me. I'm really rich. Lin Qiu was still a little worried. Just a few days ago, the school launched a boycott campaign against campus loans, but there are still many students who participate in it for material enjoyment. She didn't want Xiao Yang to go astray because of this. It would be better to let Xiao Yang use his own money, since it's just the change given by his father anyway. After chatting for a while, Xiao Yang finally made Lin Qiu laugh. The two of them were chatting happily, and Xiao Yang could even imagine Lin Qiu's smiling face. By the way, Xiao Yang, where do you live now? Lin Qiu suddenly asked. How can I confess my feelings to him if I don't know where Xiao Yang lives? After thinking about it, Xiao Yang told Lin Qiu the address of Xingfu Community. I think the house should be almost tittied up now, although some of the furniture is damaged and cannot be repaired. There will definitely be no problem living in it. Until late at night, Xiao Yang and Lin Qiu's chat ended. Xiao Yang counted today's income. A day's customer flow is obviously greater than yesterday, and the profit is also frighteningly high. If it were normal times, Xiao Yang would naturally be very happy. But thinking about the progress of the task, it is still too slow. This is equivalent to 1% progress per day. 3 months. He can't wait. Xiao Zhu. At this time, Xiao Yang and Zhang Shengzu were strolling on their way back to the business school. Telly, what can we do to quickly obtain a huge amount of funds for our barbecue restaurant? In other words, how can we make the restaurant bigger and stronger? Xiao Yang asked casually. After all, he is a person with growth potential chosen by the system. Maybe this is Zhang Shengzu's specialty. Zhang Shengzu looked at Xiao Yang thoughtfully. Do you need money? That's not the case. Xiao Yang quickly denied it. Thought for a moment, and continued, if. No, I should say, have a small goal. This small goal is to quickly increase the profit to 5 million through the barbecue restaurant. In other words, to make 5 million yuan, what do you think I should do? He looked at Zhang Shangzu. Seeing Xiao Yang asking this, Zhang Shangzu immediately hugged his chest and began to think. If you want to quickly make so much profit through a barbecue restaurant, it is difficult to do it with just one store. Although our business is booming, it's not like this every day. Although business is getting better day by day. Students always have holidays, go out to play on weekends, and there are various other factors. Doing business cannot guarantee that you will always make a profit. 5 million, it will still take a long time. Zhang Shangzu's words touched Xiao Yang's heart, and he nodded, agreeing with Zhang Shangzu's point of view. So, if we want to make more money through the barbecue restaurant, there is only one way, and that is to build up our reputation and make Xingyang the #1 food brand in Jiangdu. Building a brand is the most critical step. Then what? Xiao Yang looked at Zhang Shangzu. Think about it. If you saw his store on the street that was full every day and there was a long queue, what would you think? Zhang Shangzu looked at Xiao Yang and asked. I think this store is very profitable, and I want to open one too. Xiao Yang said subconsciously. That's right, Zhang Shangzu raised the corners of his mouth. So, if we want to build a brand, we can't just rely on ourselves. We can get more people involved. The teacher said that when it comes to running an industry, one person or one team cannot handle it all. Only by bringing more people on board can everyone work together to prevent the big ship from capsizing into the river. So, we can do a brand franchise, and those who want to participate need to pay a certain franchise fee. We only need to provide them with some secret ingredients that we have prepared and charge them per serving. They can raise a huge amount of funds just from the cost of ingredients. And this money, along with the franchise fees, can also help our brand grow rapidly in a short period of time. As Zhang Shangzu spoke, a strategic plan seemed to have emerged in his mind. She talked non-stop, and even gave a reasonable franchise fee and ingredient fee. Xiao Yang also widened his eyes at this moment. Zhang Shangzu, do you still have this ability? No wonder the system would arrange such a person with growth potential. He is a capable person. I've observed that the secret of our barbecue restaurant lies in the ingredients. We don't even have a chef in our restaurant. Customers grill the food themselves. Therefore, we only need to provide the ingredients, and there is almost no risk of brand leakage. Xiao Yang looked at Zhang Shangzu in surprise. Turtle. According to her, the franchise fee is 200,000 yuan, and the ingredients are 5 yuan each. Xiao Yang knew that the cost of the ingredients was actually less than $1. So the profit was enormous. There is also a fixed franchise fee of 200,000 yuan. This will not only bring huge wealth in a short period of time, but also continue to expand brand awareness with the help of recovered funds. Yes, QQ is a barbecue ingredient. We can make this store bigger and bigger. I can open and manage several stores by myself. It would be better to let every investor join in, so that the ship becomes bigger and bigger, and more people come on board. Xiaozu, how did you come up with this idea? Xiao Yang was a little surprised. He just asked casually, but Zhang Shangzu could explain it so clearly. If it was something he thought of directly, then his talent for business would be too exaggerated. Zhang Shangzu was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, it's like this, the business in the store has been so hot these past 2 days. In fact, many people have asked me about the news about our store. So when I have free time, I will think about what we should do if we want our store to grow and develop. Since you asked, I just had the same idea. Zhang Shangzu is not very big and looks weak, but this little brain is not simple. Xiao Yang was filled with emotion and had an urge to rub the other person's little head. But I still managed to control myself. Oh shit. It's all Lin Q's fault. Her head is so easy to touch, we're used to it. Xiao Yang threw the strange thoughts out of his mind and thought carefully about Zhang Shangzu's words. This is definitely feasible, judging by how popular the store is right now. It is also the fastest way to complete the task by yourself. I understand, Xiaozu, you should pay attention in the next few days. If someone asks again, you can ask to join. Also, I will find someone to take over the cashier duties in the store. If you are free, please help me with these things, Xiao Yang said slowly. Zhang Shangzu's expression suddenly brightened. She has been particularly interested in business since she was a child, and came to work in Xiao Yang's store just to experience life. As for the cashier, she was a little tired of it these past 2 days. If she could put her ideas into practice now, there would be absolutely no problem for her. Okay, Zhang Shangzu agreed immediately. Chapter 90. Lin Q wants a baby. After Xiao Yang sent Zhang Shangzu back to school, he took a taxi back. Someone has already cleaned the villa, and it is spotlessly clean. Even though there were so many people coming and going before, it is now completely quiet. Lying on the bed, Xiao Yang did not fall asleep immediately. I thought carefully about what to do next. The first is Zhang Shengzu's brand building franchise plan. Regardless of what happens in the future, at least the initial franchise fee is real and can be added to the profit to complete the task. Secondly, it's the money in hand. 14 million. And an expected confession. Although it was such a huge amount of money, Xiaoyang knew very well that this amount of money was nothing in the eyes of the Fang family. Hundreds of millions in compensation seemed a bit boring to Fang Jingyang, who felt it was nothing at all. This shows the strength of the Fang family. 10 times cash back. If all of these 14 million could be given out in cash back, that would be 140 million. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh. 140 million, what a huge fortune. But when you count it all, it's still not enough. Forget it. There is still time, let's take it one step at a time. At this moment, Xiaoyang was looking forward to Lin Qiu's confession. I don't know what will be given this time, even if it is 5 million. But the effect of the tenfold cashback card, it can become 50 million, which is a considerable amount. It would be best if King Xuantong could also come and confess her feelings. Xiaoyang thought to himself. Then he called himself a scumbag and put the idea out of his mind. Lin Qiu alone already made him feel guilty. King Xuantong. Let's just forget it. The next day, Xiaoyang got up and first received a message from Zhang Shengzu. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Zhang Shengzu didn't rest immediately after returning, but directly made a plan and sent it to Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang took a look. Not because he couldn't understand, but he felt, well, what Zhang Shengzu said makes sense, she is right. And Zhang Shengzu was given full authority to handle it. As for the salary, Xiaoyang forgot about it, and Zhang Shengzu herself didn't mention it at all. Then came the news about Zhang Yichen. Under the influence of 2 bottles of red wine, Zhang Yichen has already begun his role. In addition to his outstanding professional abilities, he also has a strong legal team. The indictment has now been drafted and submitted. It is estimated that in 2 days, the Fang Group will receive a court summons. Not only that, it also includes Happy Community, film crew, and so on. Not one left behind. It would be great if the compensation could be paid now. Xiaoyang was filled with emotion. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. At this moment, Lin Qiu asked Xiaoyang to stay at home, saying that there was a surprise. Xiaoyang didn't quite understand what the surprise was, but he knew in his heart that Lin Qiu's 6th confession should be on the way. After dealing with these things, Xiaoyang waited for Lin Qiu's arrival at home. While waiting, I casually browsed the short videos. At this time, Lin Qiu wrapped herself up like a dumpling and wore a mask on her face. Even if Xiaoyang was here, he probably wouldn't be able to tell that this was Lin Qiu. Everyone loves beauty, not to mention girls. Although it is winter and the weather is cold, many girls are still shaking their long white legs to attract male attention. Lin Qiu was wearing a blue jacket and was curled up as if afraid of being recognized. She looked around, then crouched down and walked carefully into a pharmacy. Hello, miss, do you need to buy medicine? Lin Qiu was stunned for a moment, scratching his head, feeling a little at a loss. She glanced around and then said softly, that is, the one that is usually placed at the cash register. As he spoke, Lin Qiu's face had already become mature. You mean Fang Yujing? The shopping guide was stunned for a moment and didn't understand. Lin Qiu was so anxious that she waved her hands and said, No, it's the supermarket, the convenience store, the one at the checkout counter. Looking at Lin Qiu again, her face was already red all the way to her ears. The young lady finally reacted. The next second, Lin Qiu nodded his head repeatedly like a chicken pecking at rice. Right? What's there to be embarrassed about? Just say it directly. The young lady smiled and didn't feel embarrassed at all. Lin Qiu was still quite embarrassed and could only follow the young lady to a place in the pharmacy. Lin Qiu was stunned. She took a look, her face turned red. She grabbed a box at random, and then slapped $100 bill on the table. By the time the young lady reacted, Lin Qiu had already disappeared in an instant like a frightened rabbit. Run out of the drugstore. Only then did Lin Qiu begin to breathe heavily. Never mind if it's not suitable, then forget it. The worst that can happen is I can just give birth to a baby. Lin Qiu murmured with a rosy face. Well, I can't afford it anyway. Lin Qiu is still very confident about his wealth. In fact, she thought about what her best friend said, including her father, for a long time last night. What if Xiaoyang makes a request? Reject? After thinking about it, if he rejected Xiaoyang, would he go to King Xuantong, or would he go to someone else? Forget it, this day will come sooner or later anyway. Thinking of this, Lin Qiu covered her hot little face. Lin Qiu, when did you become so shameless? No, modesty is the stepping stone for human reproduction. Lin Qiu bit her lips lightly. If I hadn't rejected Xiaoyang so many times, I would have been with Xiaoyang now. and I won't refuse him if he has any request. Lin Qiyu muttered to himself. If Xiao Yang knew what Lin Qiyu was thinking at this moment, he would probably be paralyzed. Of course, whether it is just for fun or for real is unknown. That's why Lin Qiyu ran to the pharmacy early in the morning. Anyway, just prepare the things first and come back when you need them. After coming out of the pharmacy, Lin Qiyu went to the vegetable market again. The last time I went to Xiao Yang's house, I didn't bring anything with me, and ended up being defeated by King Xuantong. This time, she planned to buy some good things and make a delicious meal for Xiao Yang. Lin Qiyu didn't know what the price of vegetables in the market should be, but she just took whatever people said it was and bought some meat, vegetables, and some seafood. I took a taxi and headed towards Xingfu community. After asking someone for directions, Lin Qiyu finally found Villa B23. Xiao Yang actually lives here. This place looks almost as big as my house. I didn't expect he was so rich. I thought he was borrowing money from a loan shark to do business. Lin Qiyu called himself an idiot. But I was secretly happy in my heart. Her father was easier to deal with, and since they were all caught in the hotel, her father didn't say anything. But her mother instilled in her the idea of marrying someone of equal social status since she was a child. I had been thinking about how to explain to my mother if I were with Xiao Yang, but now it seems that Xiao Yang is the most suitable one. They were in love with each other and were a good match. What else could the mother say? Lin Qiyu rang the doorbell. But after a while, Xiao Yang's voice came from inside. Here they come. Xiao Yang opened the door, but he didn't realize it was Lin Qiyu. Carrying vegetables and meat in both hands, apart from her attire, she looked like an old lady who had just returned from the market. Did you take the wrong path? Xiao Yang was a little confused. It's me. Lin Qiyu was unhappy. Xiao Yang was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect Lin Qiyu to be dressed like this. Why did you buy so many things? Xiao Yang took off Lin Qiyu's jumpsuit hood and rubbed her little head. Well, I have to say it. This is the thing that Xiao Yang is most satisfied with Lin Qiyu. Rubbing my head feels great, and I feel a sense of conquest inexplicably. Since we're at your house today, we can cook and eat together, Lin Qiyu said with a smile. Xiao Yang took the things from Lin Qiyu's hand and asked her to go into the house quickly. After coming in, Lin Qiyu finally breathed a sigh of relief, took off his coat and mask, leaving only a white gown on his body, breathing hot air and his face flushed. Is it so cold outside? Xiao Yang put his things away, hung up Lin Qiyu's clothes, and said with a smile, No, I just wear more clothes because I'm afraid of catching a cold. Lin Qiyu laughed. Seeing Xiao Yang was about to clean up, he hurried over. Xiao Yang, let me do it, I'm here to cook for you. Lin Qiyu rolled up his sleeves and said confidently. Oh, wow, you have this trick. You didn't expect that. Lin Qiyu held his head high, but felt a little uneasy in his heart. In fact, she was just holding on. Before coming, the image in her mind was that of herself wearing a beautiful cook's outfit, with Xiao Yang helping her beside her, and then they were very affectionate in the kitchen. And their feelings quickly heated up. And my mother said that to conquer a man, start from his stomach. Mom often cooks for stepdad. These are the images that Lin Qiyu had imagined in his mind before he came here. But when she carried the things and entered the kitchen, she was a little at a loss. How to use these furnitures? She took a look and found that the furniture were all new and smart furniture. They came with instructions and were not difficult to use. Lin Qiyu took a look, and at this moment, Xiao Yang's voice came from behind him. Fairy Lin, are you looking for this? Xiao Yang was holding an apron. I don't know if it was intentional by the system or left by the crew, but he actually found a pink apron, which was quite suitable for Lin Qiyu. Lin Qiyu turned around. But then Xiao Yang put on an apron. Don't move. Xiao Yang knew that Lin Qiyu's little head was always in a daze, and was afraid that she would tie the apron into a knot. So he took the initiative to help her put it on. The latter immediately became as obedient as a kitten, smiling sweetly and not moving a muscle. Okay, Xiao Yang. You are so nice. Xiao Yang was stunned. Is this what you call good? However, after saying this, Lin Qiyu quickly pushed Xiao Yang out of the kitchen. Just wait and eat. Okay, Xiao Yang smiled. Only after Xiao Yang left did Lin Qiyu breathe a sigh of relief. Let's start with you. Lin Qiyu looked at the eggs and tomatoes on display. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes and some minced meat. Looking at the pictures on Baidu, Lin Qiyu's saliva was about to flow out. Thinking about bringing the dishes to Xiao Yang in a while, Lin Qiyu's face was suddenly filled with fighting spirit. Come on, Lin Qiyu, you can do it. Xiao Yang was quite obedient. Since Lin Qiyu was so confident, let her do it. Taking out his cell phone, Xiao Yang looked at the nearby shops. After thinking for a long time, he already knew how to get his money out quickly. The simplest method. Rent a shop. Find a large company and rent the shop. In this way, when the barbecue restaurant opens branches, or the brand effect spreads, After investors join, you can rent the store to them. And even at a cheaper price, to attract investors to join. So Xiao Yang already had a plan in mind for what to do in the afternoon. Just then, in the kitchen. That's not right. I have done it according to what Beidou said. Why is it sticking to the pan? Wow, it seems to be burnt. Lin Qiyu had a sad face at this moment. She didn't expect that when she wanted to make a simple tomato scrambled egg, the scrambled eggs would be burnt. A burning smell suddenly came from the kitchen. Xiao Yang naturally smelled it when he arrived at the kitchen. He saw Lin Qiyu's helpless expression and felt a little amused. Xiao Yang, Lin Qiyu bit her lips lightly. Okay, let me do it, Xiao Yang said with a smile. Just then, suddenly, there was a snap. The sound of frying. Lin Qiyu suddenly screamed. And then blew air on her little hands. It seemed that she was scalded by the oil. Xiao Yang hurried forward and turned off the fire. I took her to the bathroom, squeezed out some toothpaste and applied it to the burned area. Are you okay? Xiao Yang asked with concern. It's okay. Lin Qiyu pouted, her eyes were a little watery, and she blinked at Xiao Yang. Am I stupid? Seeing Lin Qiyu like this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but stand up and pinch Lin Qiyu's face. Yeah, so stupid. But it's also very cute. Xiao Yang rubbed Lin Qiyu's little head. Then turned and walked into the kitchen. Ew. Turn on the range hood first. Xiao Yang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lin Qiyu on the side stuck out her tongue. And the gloom just now disappeared. Xiao Yang actually praised himself for being cute. Go and have a rest, Xiao Yang said to Lin Qiyu, who was staring at him blankly. Lin Qiyu shook her head. I want to watch you cook. Okay, Xiao Yang smiled and cleaned up the mess left by Lin Qiyu. If you want to scramble eggs without sticking to the pan, you have to do this. First, dry the pot. There must be no water stains. Turn down the heat, add oil. The oil has heated up. Shake it to spread the oil evenly over the pan, then add a little cold cooking oil. Put the eggs. This way it won't stick to the pan. Xiao Yang has been helping his mother cook at home since he was a child. So this is a piece of cake for him. But at this moment, what Xiao Yang didn't know was that Lin Qiyu on the side had already been filled up by Xiao Yang. And handsome. He is loyal and likes himself. He started his own business from scratch. Knew how to fight, and knew how to pamper himself. And also cook. The man who can handle both business and housework. That's Xiao Yang. Lin Qiyu's eyes were full of stars. Xiao Yang satisfied all her fantasies about boys. Chapter 91. Kissed again. At this moment, Lin Qiyu's attention was all on Xiao Yang. After a while, the scrambled eggs gave off a fragrant aroma. Xiao Yang picked them up first, cut the tomatoes, and scalded them. And then put the scrambled eggs in. See, this is scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Xiao Yang smiled and put the fried food into the plate. Lin Qiyu nodded repeatedly like a chick pecking at rice. But his eyes could not move away from Xiao Yang's figure. He only felt that Xiao Yang at this moment seemed to have 1,000-foot-long light on his body, shining brightly. She held onto the wall and slowly moved over. Then, 1 step, 2 steps. Slowly moved closer. His eyes were fixed on Xiao Yang. What? It's nothing, I'll give you an apron, Lin Qiyu said quickly. Okay. Lin Qiyu took off her apron. Xiao Yang was about to take it. But Lin Qiyu said sweetly, I'll help you tie it. Xiao Yang smiled and was very obedient. Lin Qiyu stood on tiptoe and put the apron on Xiao Yang. However, she did not tie the apron immediately. Suddenly, she opened her arms and hugged Xiao Yang from behind. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment, then chuckled. What are you doing? Lin Qiyu said nothing, but hugged Xiao Yang tightly, leaning on Xiao Yang's back, and couldn't help rubbing her little head against him. Xiao Yang was suddenly at a loss whether to laugh or cry. At this moment, Lin Qiyu is more like a kitten, and a clingy kitten at that. Okay, stop being silly. Xiao Yang took Lin Qiyu's hand. Xiao Yang. Turn around. What? Turn around. Lin Qiyu said cockathiously while tapping her little feet. Xiao Yang had no choice but to turn around. At this moment, Lin Qiyu suddenly stood on tiptoe and raised her head. The next second, the delicate little face was imprinted directly on his own face. Xiao Yang was stunned. Lin Qiyu's cherry lips were imprinted directly on the corner of his mouth. For several seconds, Xiao Yang didn't react. Lin Qiyu's arms were around his neck. Her eyes were closed, and she didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. She moved her little head and kissed his red lips. 1, 2, 3. Lin Qiyu finally let go. Xiao Yang was slightly stunned. His eyes still full of surprise. But he soon reacted. I was kissed again. From King Xuantan to Zhang Yan. And then to Lin Qiyu, he was kissed by 3 girls in turn. Damn, you're bullying the honest people, right? Xiao Yang stared at Lin Qiyu blankly. She covered her eyes with her hands, as if by doing so she couldn't see Xiao Yang and wouldn't be shy anymore. A gap slowly opened between her fingers and she slowly opened her eyes. as if she was peeking at Xiao Yang's reaction. Xiao Yang was speechless. Is this operation of covering one's ears and stealing the bell serious? Sure enough, after seeing Xiao Yang staring at her intently, Lin Qiu's face suddenly turned red. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but found that she couldn't speak at all. Then suddenly, she stuck out her tongue and licked her lower lip, as if she was savoring the taste. Xiao Yang bent down and was about to speak, but the latter ran out of the kitchen in a flash. Xiao Yang was stunned for a long time, looking at the figure that disappeared in an instant. What is this? After forcibly kissing me, he absconded for fear of being punished. He also imitated Lin Qiu and secretly licked the corner of his lips, as if there was still a trace of Lin Qiu's warmth left. At this moment, Lin Qiu was lying on the sofa in the living room, with a look of nostalgia on her face. I kissed Xiao Yang. She waved her little fist, praising her own courage. If Xiao Yang saw this scene, he would probably faint. Is this loving yourself? This is lusting after your own body? Despicable. In the kitchen, Xiao Yang tied his apron helplessly and got back to preparing lunch. As for what happened just now, it occasionally appears in my mind. Xiao Yang's cooking skills are naturally impeccable. He has learned to cook since he was a child, so making lunch is a piece of cake for him. After a series of operations, a fragrant smell soon wafted from the kitchen. At this time, Lin Qiu was outside holding a mobile phone. Perhaps attracted by the fragrance, her stomach suddenly made a growling sound. After thinking about it, she crouched down, first looked at Xiao Yang who was copying vegetables, and then surveyed the terrain. And he secretly reached into the dish and grabbed it. A piece of braised pork was stuffed into her mouth. Filling it up instantly when she took a bite, the sweetness and gravy exploded in her mouth. Lin Qiu's eyes widened. It's delicious. She never expected Xiao Yang's cooking skills to be so good. Think about it. She held out her hand again. Another piece of braised pork fell into his mouth. Lin Qiu's face suddenly showed an expression of great satisfaction. Then reach out again. Bang! A crisp sound was heard. And Lin Qiu pouted and took back her hand that had been slapped. You've also learned to steal food, right? No, I'm just trying the taste. Lin Qiu stuck out her tongue. Still using your hands, have you washed your hands yet? I'll go right away. Lin Qiu put her hand in her mouth and sucked it, sucking out the juice that had been on it. Xiao Yang was at a loss whether to laugh or cry when he saw this. A wealthy woman with hundreds of millions of change actually ate secretly. Look at the way she sucked her fingers after eating secretly. She looked like an anime girl from the second dimension. So cute. After washing her hands, Lin Qiu walked obediently to Xiao Yang. Bring all the dishes to the dining table outside, Xiao Yang said. Yeah, Lin Qiu nodded obediently, and looked at the plates of delicious dishes in front of her and drooled. Okay, hurry up. Once I finish frying this fish, we can start eating. Lin Qiu obediently served the dishes, and the process naturally included a food tasting session. Every time a dish fell into her mouth, she couldn't help but reveal a satisfied smile on her face. She was a real foodie. Xiao Yang walked out of the kitchen carrying the last dish he had made last night. The latter had been waiting impatiently, but when he heard Xiao Yang's footsteps, he immediately stopped chewing and turned his head away, trying to cover up his crime of stealing. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but pat Lin Qiu's little head. Lin Qiu, could you please not be so cute? Xiao Yang couldn't help himself. I didn't expect Lin Qiu to be such a foodie. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, Lin Qiu immediately responded with a sweet smile. Okay, stop using your hands. Perhaps she was used to it. Lin Qiu stretched out her little hand again, but was instantly slapped back by Xiao Yang. Lin Qiu felt a little embarrassed, but soon he turned into a diligent eater again. Okay, slow down. Xiao Yang was a little dazed when he saw the diligent eater. Is this what a wealthy woman with hundreds of millions in pocket money looks like? Xiao Yang, the food you cook is so delicious. Lin Qiu was eating something and did not forget to praise. If it tastes good, eat more. Chapter 90 to Lin Qiu. Can you have more positive energy in your mind? Xiao Yang originally thought that these dishes should be enough for the two of them. After all, Lin Qiu looked small and looked like the kind of girl who could be full after just 2 bites of food. But who knows, you can't judge a book by its cover. Compared with Xiao Yang, this little foodie is not at all inferior. The two of them ate while talking, and in a short while, the food was gone. Lin Qiu rubbed her slightly bulging belly and half collapsed in the chair with a look of satisfaction on her face. Xiao Yang, it's delicious. Am I delicious or is the food delicious? Xiao Yang couldn't help but joked. Lin Qiu looked at Xiao Yang, and the scene before the meal suddenly appeared in her mind. She blushed and said, they are all delicious. Xiao Yang was stunned. Everything is delicious, let me make it clear. You're not going to eat me too. Of course, if Xiao Yang knew that there was a small item just bought from the pharmacy in Lin Qiu's pocket, he would probably be scared to death. He smiled and said, "They are all delicious. You are not afraid of getting fat after eating so much." "Don't worry," Lin Qiu waved his hand. "I have been in the food industry for so many years and I have never been fat." Xiao Yang was immediately filled with envy. He knew that some people could never gain weight no matter how much they ate. But he didn't expect that Lin Qiu was like that. "Okay, now that we're done eating. Xiao Yu. Lin Qiu looked at Xiao Yang in confusion. "It's time to do some serious work." Xiao Yang covered half of his face, feeling a little embarrassed. Business. What Xiao Yang wanted to hear most today was Lin Qiu's confession. "After all, that's what I came here for. A tenfold cashback card will be used soon, so the more money the better at this moment." He looked at Lin Qiu, but was too embarrassed to say it out loud. "You can't just say, 'It's time to confess.' Hurry up, confess to me, and then I can reject you. No matter how you think about it, it doesn't seem right." There was no other way. Xiao Yang could only hint wildly. But at this moment Lin Qiu was a little at a loss. "Business?" "Yes, the inner one." Her hand was in her pocket, where a small box of vital supplies from the drugstore was. For a moment, Lin Qiu's face turned as red as an apple. "Well, Xiao Yang, wouldn't it be inappropriate to do this in broad daylight?" Lin Qiu said shyly. This made Xiao Yang stunned for a moment. "What's not good about doing it in broad daylight?" Lin Qiu bit her lips lightly and looked at Xiao Yang lovingly. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Xiao Yang's eyes were full of anticipation, while Lin Qiu's eyes were full of tenderness. On one side is, "Hurry up, confess to me." One side says, come on, kiss me." After waiting for almost half a minute, neither side saw the other side take the next step. Lin Qiu was stunned for a moment and looked at Xiao Yang with a bewildered look on his face. "Xiao Yu, don't you have anything to say to me?" After thinking about it, Xiao Yang decided to continue hinting. "No, this is equivalent to making it clear. Check in, my Miss Lin." And her ears turned red. Yes. "I like you, say it." Xiao Yang was ready to go and was already thinking about rejecting Lin Qiu's lines. Lin Qiu took a long breath, then took something out of his pocket and said seriously, "Xiao Yang, I know that boys always have some thoughts during puberty. That is..." Having said this, Lin Qiu had already turned her face away. Her face flushed and very adorable. It was Xiao Yang who was confused. What does it mean? What does this mean? Isn't it a confession? And he saw what was in Lin Qiu's hand. A void. The sound stopped abruptly. There was a strange atmosphere in the air. Xiao Yang blushed immediately. I'm going to. Well, what line should I say now? Lin Qiu, are you serious? How can you, a girl, carry such things on you? For a moment, the atmosphere became extremely awkward. Although Lin Qiu turned her face away, in fact, her dark eyes were always glancing at Xiao Yang. For a long time, Xiao Yang let out a long sigh. I have to say, for a moment, his heart was moved. After all, with such a peach right in front of you, who wouldn't want to pick it? But Xiao Yang finally held back. And the responsibilities on him were different. Lin Qiu, what are you thinking about? How can you carry this kind of thing on you? And you, have more positive energy and stop thinking about these weird things every day. Xiao Yang took it directly and threw it away casually. Lin Qiu's face suddenly flushed and her voice became as soft as a mosquito. I don't want a baby yet. You say it as if it's what I want. Xiao Yang rolled his eyes at Lin Qiu. Wrong. I don't want anything thing. Xiao Yang looked helpless. The latter bit her lips slightly, her face full of charm, and whispered, is it inappropriate? When the voice fell, Xiao Yang felt a few black lines on his face. I would like to say in return, you have a very good vision. It is just right. But he still quickly knocked on Lin Qiu's little head and said with a smile, am I that kind of person? Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Don't think too much about it. Oh, Lin Qiu pouted. What are you thinking about? Isn't it said that men think with their lower body? Forget it, I'm really impressed by your brain. Xiao Yang rubbed it again. Lin Qiu quickly stepped back, covering her head. Stop knocking, or I'll be even more stupid. Who told you to think about these nonsense all day long? Xiao Yang snorted. Okay, let's get down to business. Are you here to confess your feelings to me today? Xiao Yang finally spoke. Yes, confession. Lin Qiu finally reacted. My original idea was to conquer Xiao Yang's stomach, and then confess my feelings to him while the atmosphere was strong. As a result, he was conquered by Xiao Yang. No, it's conquering one's stomach. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh. He decided that he had to be clear with the little girl next time he spoke to her. Her misunderstanding was too great. At this time, Lin Qiu also took a deep breath and looked serious. Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang, I like you, let's go out. Although she had been rejected so many times, she still looked expectant, clasped her hands together, and looked at Xiao Yang lovingly. I'm sorry, Shuo, I can't promise you. Okay. Unexpectedly, Lin Qiyu immediately nodded and agreed with a smile on his face. Meow meow meow. Chao Yang was stunned. At once. Finished? I haven't said my lines yet. He glanced at the system in his mind. With a ding sound. No surprise this time, still 5 million. Chapter 93 Treasure Girl. Chao Yang, can I come to your house often for dinner in the future? The food you cook is so delicious. After sending Lin Qiu back to school, she continued chattering in the taxi. Sure, but I don't have time to cook every day. Chao Yang rubbed her little head. Lin Qiu didn't resist at all and was very well behaved. She was used to having her head rubbed by Xiao Yang. Alright. After arriving at school, Lin Qiu went back by herself. Xiao Yang gave some instructions to the employees in the group and asked them to take care of the store on their own. However, since Lu Xing has not been discharged from the hospital yet, all the matters concerning renting the store and the food restaurant fell on him. It seems like it won't work without Lu Xing. Only after taking charge of these matters did Xiao Yang realize how difficult it was for Lu Xing. After all, I still have too little experience. Then there is the matter of money. Xiao Yang still has 19 million on him. After using the tenfold cashback card, he had to spend the 19 million within an hour to maximize the utilization of the card. Xiao Yang's first thought was to rent a store. Firstly, having more stores will be beneficial for Xingyang Foods' expansion in the future. Secondly, it can attract investors to join the food stores. Yesterday, Xiao Yang had already thought about a lot of issues and also conducted research on various areas in Jiangdu. But Xiao Yang thought about it and decided to call Zhang Shangzhu over to go and see the store together. In this regard, I may not be as good as Zhang Shangzhu. Moreover, Zhang Shangzhu is the target of a special growth task appointed by the system, so this might be of some help to him. Zhang Shangzhu had classes in the afternoon, but he still chose to take a leave and come out. It's really inconvenient not having a car. After the two met, they hailed a taxi, and Xiao Yang said with some emotion, yes. Come to think of it, I want to beat up Feng Jingyuan again. This is my first car. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh. Then looked at Zhang Shangzhu. Why are you going to a rental company now? Zhang Shangzhu obviously knew all about this. She said directly. Master, go to Xianhu Road, Lingyu Building. After saying that, he began to explain to Xiao Yang. There is a real estate investment company here. It is a long-established real estate company in addition to some real estate. It also has a large number of store rental businesses. But this company was recently acquired by a foreign company. There are recent rumors that it will undergo a transformation and will require a large amount of capital. If we acquire enough stores now, we should be able to get the best in most stores at the lowest cost. Xiao Yang didn't expect that Zhang Shangzhu would also pay attention to things like this. When Xiao Yang thought about renting a shop, he didn't think too much about it. He just wanted to find a good location to investigate and then contact the person in charge. It was not as detailed as Zhang Shangzhu's plan. A treasure girl. Xiao Yang sighed. In fact, I have previously investigated the holidays, rents, and shops in various areas of Jiangdu City. As he spoke, Zhang Shangzhu actually took out a map of Jiangdu City from his bag. At the same time, a marker soon appeared in her hand and she began to scribble on the map. First of all, after joining, we should sign an agreement with the investors. For example, there cannot be two of our stores on the same street, and the distance between each store cannot be less than a certain distance. This way we can avoid some malicious price competition. To use today's vocabulary, it's called involution. Although involution may bring certain benefits to us in the short term due to competition, it may not be a good thing for the long-term development of the brand. We need to fix prices, unify prices, and then form an inspection team to conduct qualification inspections on franchise stores from time to time. Once there is a situation that damages the brand image, a franchise store should be immediately stopped from using the brand and be subject to certain penalties. These all require a charter, and I intend to. In the car, Zhang Shangzhu began to talk incessantly, and then took out a mini laptop from her bag, still talking vividly. Xiao Yang was also a little confused at this time. There were some words he could understand, and some words he could understand. But when they were connected together, he could hardly understand. Zhang Shangzhu seemed to have mastered all of these. In just a short while, she had the entire franchise plan, the brand building planning route for the next 2 years, and so on. She arranged it in perfect order. End of topic. Zhang Shangzhu looked at the stunned Xiao Yang and said with a smile, Xiao Yang, what do you think of my plan? Xiao Yang's mouth twitched and he gave a thumbs up. 2 words. Major. No wonder he is a specific growth-oriented character. Okay, stop talking, I'm a little confused. I didn't expect that you could come up with a barbecue recipe. Xiao Yang said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Now think about it, spending hundreds of thousands to buy Boss King's formula is simply making a ton of money. When we meet next time, I have to thank King Xuantong very much. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh and said, anyway, I don't really understand. I'll leave this matter to you if you need money, just ask me. Zhang Shangzu's eyes suddenly lit up. That's what she needed. Although she is a member of the Zhang family, she has no interest in the Zhang family's business. She prefers to be like this now, starting over and having the joy of growing up from scratch. She was even more excited because Xiao Yang chose to trust her and leave the matter to her. After so many years of study, I finally have the opportunity to show my talents. Xiao Yang was obviously very confident in Zhang Shangzu. In addition to the system relationship, Zhang Shangzu's attitude and professional knowledge alone were enough. We can't let Lu Xing come. Xiao Yang knew clearly that although Lu Xing was experienced, he had always been on the front line. Zhang Shangzu still had to take control of the general direction. Of course, Lu Xing didn't know